Yun Linshan's power is restored, and his designs for the profound spirit lake are taking shape. But in the Imperial City, a poison plot unfolds and old alliances shatter. Leave a like and subscribe to witness the final confrontation. Lin, can you design a building? In the library, Yun Linshan sat behind the counter with a piece of paper and pen in his hands. Yes, master, Lin responded. Yun Linshan was delighted and immediately explained his idea. Great. I want to build 7 pagodas at the center of Profound Spirit Lake. The highest one is in the middle, surrounded by 6 pagodas connecting each other with bridges, 6 directions to the shore. Along the bridges, I want to build a small pavilion every 100 meters. As for the pavilion's size, it should be able to support around 20 people at the same time. Also, I want to fill the gap between each bridge with a battle stage. Everyone can use them for a sparring match. Understood, master. What about the size of the 7 pagodas and the material? Lin took a note and asked. Yun Linshan drew a rough design on the paper while replying. The one in the middle will have 24 floors, while the other 6 pagodas will have 20 floors. The floor's size should be around 1,500 square meters. You can design the training rooms for me. I plan to make these pagodas a profound training place. As for materials, in addition to the heavenly sandalwood and the serene bamboo, we can use white marbles on the floor as for the other materials. I need your help with that. The overall design should be like this. He then showed the drawing to Lin. Understood, master. Please wait for a moment. Lin replied and fell silent. While waiting for Lin, Yun Linshan wrote a residence design on another paper. He had an idea to build a residence similar to a university's dormitory where 4 people could live together in one unit. There were 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1 kitchen, and 1 living room within a unit. He also applied a modern Earth's building design onto it. The primary material would be the heavenly sandalwood, as anyone who lives in this place would have a quality sleep every day. Please take a look, master. Lin's voice resounded along with a detailed 7 pagodas design displayed on the screen. Yun Linshan looked at the design and saw the design had everything he needed to know in detail, whether it was the complete pipeline's map or the number of required materials. He gave a satisfied smile. Thank you, Lin, this is perfect. Thank you for your compliment, master. Lin replied with a cheerful voice. Yun Linshan showed the residence's design to Lin and said, I'll have to trouble you about this as well. Also, you can design a cafeteria and a warehouse for me. The cafeteria should have a large kitchen area, and the dining area should be able to support 1,500 people at the same time. Yun Linshan didn't mind building it big. Anyway, there were plenty of unused lands in this place, and he had a hunch the size would increase in the future. He also considered recruiting more people when he went out later. Naturally, the criteria would be the same. He would recruit an orphan only. Leave it to me, master. Lin replied happily and started to calculate. Oh right, can you leave the library? I find it troublesome if I have to come here when I want to find you, Yun Linshan asked. He thought it would be great if Lin could appear anywhere in the villa like those smart homes AI. Yes, I can, master. However, I need your permission. Lin responded, and there was a hint of expectation in her voice. Really? All right, I agreed. The scope should be around this villa only. Yun Linshan was elated. Thank you, master, Lin answered cheerfully. Yun Linshan leaned on the chair comfortably, looking at Yun Lingwei, who was reading an infrastructure system-related book attentively. After this project starting, it was time for him to look into a suitable, profound art for himself and everyone. He closed his eyes, waiting for Lin to give him a design. A moment later, Yun Linshan woke up to Lin's voice. Master, I've finished everything. Please take a look. Yun Linshan turned to look at the screen and saw an exquisite residence design, along with a cafeteria design and a warehouse design. After carefully checking on them, Yun Linshan nodded with satisfaction. You've worked hard, Lin. Can you print them out for me? It's my pleasure to serve you, master. You can retrieve the designs from the printer over there, Lin responded. Yun Linshan walked to the end of the counter and took all the designs from a typical laser printer. He stored all of them in his interspatial ring and walked back to the chair. Can you find me a suitable profound art? Yun Linshan asked. Right away, master, Lin replied, and a list of profound arts appeared on the screen. Yun Linshan skimmed through the list and felt dizzy as there were too many for him to choose. He didn't know where to start first. At this moment, Yun Kaingsu walked into the library and arrived at Yun Linshan's side. What are you doing? Yun Linshan tilted his head to look at her and said, You're here. I'm looking for a suitable profound art for everyone. I don't think we need to practice the Misty Cloud profound art further. We can choose a primordial rank profound art directly. Although Yun Linshan understood practicing in profound ways could not be greedy, he believed it was good in the long term by choosing a primordial rank profound art. Even though it might be difficult for everyone to comprehend it, He didn't believe they could not achieve anything with a countless amount of resources within the land of beyond heaven. Lin, can you recommend a suitable primordial rank profound art for everyone? I want to use it as the main profound art. Since Yun Linchen didn't know what to choose, he decided to ask Lin directly. Lin didn't reply immediately and asked the question instead. Master, are you going to recruit a male disciple in the future? No, Yun Linchen answered right away without thinking. He would be an idiot by letting those smelly men join his sect when he could enjoy all the beauties alone. With the addition of a man, undoubtedly, the sect would fall into chaos sooner or later. More importantly, he didn't want to create a power struggle environment within the sect. Yun Kaingsu laughed slightly when she heard his answer. As his former godmother, she understood Yun Linchen's thoughts very well. Don't be fooled by his usual calmed appearance. He was actually a pervert deep down. It was just that he was too good at controlling his body and emotion. Then I would like to recommend the Chaos Goddess Sutra for Miss Kaingsu and the Goddess of the Nine Heavens scripture to all the sect's disciples. Lin replied and highlighted both profound arts names on the screen. Yun Linchen looked at the two profound arts and saw both of them were the primordial rank profound arts, but the Goddess of the Nine Heavens scripture was the sub-profound art under the Chaos Goddess Sutra. What is so special about these two? Yun Linchen asked. Lin explained. The Chaos Goddess Sutra was created by the Chaos Goddess of the Nine Heavens in the primordial time. She is the most powerful existence in the universe that the Earth is currently residing. The Chaos Goddess Sutra is exclusive to a female practitioner only. Anyone who has successfully practiced this to the highest level will gain the power to dominate the universe. Aside from that, there are three notable benefits. First, it will enhance the practitioner's appearance. The practitioner would become more beautiful as the practitioner making further progress in practice. Second, when the practitioner reached the spirit profound realm, instead of tempering the practitioner's soul, the practitioner would have 9 souls at the 10th level of the spirit profound realm. As long as the practitioner's soul is not destroyed completely, the practitioner will have 9 chances to be revived again. Lastly, when the practitioner reached the origin profound realm, any attempt to read the practitioner's memory will be futile. As for the Goddess of the Nine Heavens scripture, it is the profound art that Chaos Goddess has created for her subordinates. They share the same benefits, and whoever has practiced this will be controlled by the one who practiced the Chaos Goddess Sutra. Control. You mean slavery? Yun Linchen frowned upon hearing this. He didn't care if it helps everyone become beautiful. He cared the most about whether it would restrict them like a slave, as he hated slavery to the bones. You're misunderstanding, Master. It's not the slave and master kind of control, but rather a firm connection between them, similar to the misty cloud divine origin in your body, Master. Moreover, when they fight alongside, their battle prowess will increase tremendously. Lin explained. Yun Linchen's eyes lit up instantly. Just imagined a beautiful goddess army in his mind. Yun Linchen immediately became excited. Good. This is it, he made a decision right away. Yun Kaingsu rolled her eyes at him, but she was extremely shocked in her heart. Earlier, she was at a loss because she would never have a chance to practice the Misty Cloud profound art again. However, after listening to the Chaos Goddess Sutra's description, she knew she would be an idiot if she still chose the Misty Cloud profound art. Yun Kaingsu knew that Yun Linchen would undoubtedly become an influential figure in the future. If she didn't want to be left behind, she needed to become stronger. Hence, choosing the Chaos Goddess Sutra was the right decision. These two profound arts can prevent anyone from reading the practitioner's memory. This is too good, right? Said Yun Linchen. He asked further. However, how can I stop our sect's disciples from giving the profound art to others? Yun Linchen wasn't naive enough to believe there won't be any betrayal within the sect. When people had power in their hands, they would eventually want more, and it could lead them to do anything evil in order to gain more control. Yun Linchen wished to reduce this possibility as much as possible. It would be better if there was a profound technique that could prevent them from giving their knowledge away without permission. There is Master. It's called Enlightening Guide Technique. Master can use this technique to teach the target a profound art, and it will become a part of the target's subconscious mind. No matter how the target tries to recall the profound art, they won't be able to do it. Lin answered and showed the Enlightening Guide Technique book on the screen. Perfect. Yun Linchen's eyes lit up. This technique was the one he was looking for. Yun Linchen quickly went to get all the books and returned 10 minutes later. He gave the Chaos Goddess Sutra to Yun Kaingsu. Here you go, you can start practice anytime. Later, I will build a profound training place for everyone and you can practice over there. Yun Kaingsu received the book with a smile. Don't tire yourself. Yun Linchen gave her a reassuring smile in return. Don't worry, I know my limit. After sending Yun Kaingsu back to Yun Linchen's bedroom, Yun Linchen headed to the profound spirit lake and gathered the 12 elders. First elder, I'll have to trouble you bringing some people to cut the heavenly sandalwood tree for me. I need around 20,000. Remember to leave their roots behind. Second elder, I need you to cut 10,000 of the serene bamboo. You can bring some people with you. Yun Linshan quickly gave them a task. There were over 100,000 of the heavenly sandalwood trees and the serene bamboo in this place from his estimation. It won't bring any harm by cutting 20,000 of them. Understood, sect master. First elder and second elder accepted the tasks and left the place. Yun Linshan turned to the other 10 elders, and he took all the marbles and an enormous lump of copper within his interspatial ring out. He showed them a water pipe and a floor tile design as he said, I want all of you to cast these materials according to these designs. I've written everything on it, you only need to follow them. He then turned to look at a place nearby the fertile land. You can build a furnace over there. In the future, we will use this furnace to cast necessary tools. Yes, sect master. All the 10 elders started busy with their tasks. Yun Linshan headed toward a temporary rest area for the disciple and found everyone was chatting happily. The atmosphere was lively and peaceful, and this was what Yun Linshan wanted to see. Junior brother, oh no, sect master. Yun Jiajia spotted Yun Linshan and hurriedly greeted him. The arrival of Yun Linshan immediately attracted everyone's attention, and they hastily greeted him one by one. Yun Linshan raised his hand to stop them. All of you don't have to be nervous. Although I am currently a sect master, it doesn't affect our relationships much. You can call me as you want. I don't mind about it. Yun Chan, who stood nearby, shook her head. We can't do that, sect master. We have to follow the rules. The rules, Yun Linshan muttered to himself while pondering. He had a plan to change the sect's rules and system for a long time, but he didn't have a chance before. Now he had become a sect master. He naturally did as he planned. Fine, Yun Linshan said. He decided to tell them new rules tomorrow after he was mastering the enlightening guide technique. He looked at everyone and said, I am going to build a residence for everyone in the upcoming days. At that time, I'll have to trouble everyone to help me. You can count on us, sect master, everyone said in unison. After chatting with everyone for a while, Yun Linshan went back to the villa. When he walked into the living room, he saw Yun Huangxin watching a movie alone. Among the hall masters, Yun Huangxin was the one who didn't have a specific duty, and Yun Linshan didn't have any task for her at this moment. Is it fun? Yun Linshan sat on the sofa beside her and asked. Yun Huangxin replied excitedly and didn't even bother to look at Yun Linshan. Yun Linshan leaned on the sofa comfortably while pondering his next step. First of all, he needed to go out to buy furniture and other required materials. Secondly, he had to come up with new rules within this week. Lastly, he planned to set up an intelligence network. Undoubtedly, Yun Mailan would be the best choice for a team leader. Seeing Yun Linshan said nothing, Yun Huangxin asked, When are you going to transform my profound vein? Hearing this, Yun Linshan suddenly realized he had forgotten about this. He responded, What about now? Wait, your profound vein is different. I need to ask Lin first. I'm here, master. Lin's voice resounded within the living room. Can you check on her profound vein? I don't know if I should transform her, Yun Linshan asked. Yun Huangxin had the heavenly void profound vein, which was unique and powerful. She did not make further progress in her practice because she lacked a compatible profound art. After all, a space-related profound art was scarce. The TV screen suddenly changed from the movie to Yun Huangxin's profile. Lin said, Master, Miss Huangxin's heavenly void profound vein is the 40th third rank in the primordial profound vein ranking. However, it's still inferior compared to the full element profound vein. Primordial profound vein ranking. What is the rank of my beyond heaven profound vein? The ranking immediately piqued Yun Linshan's interest. Second rank, Master, Lin replied. What is the first rank? Yun Linshan asked curiously. He always thought his beyond heaven profound vein was the first rank because of its absurd power. The first rank is the creation god profound vein, Master, Lin answered. Creation god profound vein? Yun Linshan muttered. He now understood why his beyond heaven profound vein was the second. After all, nothing could be compared to the power of creation. Yun Linshan went back to the topic. So you mean I should transform her profound vein? Naturally, Master. Not only will she become stronger, but her understanding of the space element will increase as well. Lin responded and showed estimation data on the TV screen. Yun Linshan thought for a moment before he said to Yun Huangxin, I'll transform you later. I still need your power when we are going out later. He decided to leave Yun Huangxin for the time being, as it wouldn't be a good thing if everyone had lost their strength at the same time. Yun Huangxin replied with no concern. All right, I'll wait then. Yun Linshan left Yun Huangxin alone and went to the library. Currently, Yun Ruinyu and Yun Mailan were busy choosing a suitable profound art. There were many of them, and they couldn't make a final decision before they understood all of them thoroughly. Seeing them busy, Yun Linshan didn't interrupt them and continued to read the profound art list silently. Since he planned to establish an intelligence network, Yun Linshan began to search for a top concealment profound art. Among them, the Shadow God scripture had attracted him the most. It was the primordial rank profound art from the most terrifying assassin, Shadow God, in the primordial time. Anyone who practiced the Shadow God scripture would have the ability to conceal themselves in a shadow, and they could move from one shadow to another shadow. Undoubtedly, this would be an ideal profound art for Yun Linshan's intelligence network team. After reading the introduction, Yun Linshan decisively chose this profound art for Yun Meilan. He went to retrieve the book and called Yun Meilan over. "I've chosen this Shadow God scripture for you. I'm sure you will love it," said Yun Linshan while handing the book to Yun Meilan. Yun Meilan received the book and read it briefly. A rare excitement appeared on her face after she finished reading the introduction. "Thank you, I'll practice this one." Yun Linshan smiled and said, "I want to create an intelligence network, and you will be the leader of this group. You can choose 100 people to form a team. The members' criteria are intelligent, decisive, and good in socialization. In the future, I want all of them to spread to every corner of the Azure world." Yun Meilan was surprised slightly. For the past 16 years, Yun Linshan never showed his desire or ambition to anyone. This was the first time she felt Yun Linshan's ambition, and she was also looking forward to seeing the future he would bring everyone to. Yun Meilan replied firmly, "Understood, Sect Master. Is there a group name?" "Name, huh?" Yun Linshan raised his brows slightly. A nostalgia flashed across his eyes as he said, "Cloud Shadow, the name is Cloud Shadow." "Cloud Shadow," Yun Meilan repeated. Her curiosity was piqued when she saw Yun Linshan's current expression. He seems to recall something in the past. Is the name has something to do with him? Yun Meilan thought. Yun Linshan recollected his thoughts and changed the topic. "You can go. I'll continue to look for more profound arts. Come to me when you're done with the selection." Yun Meilan nodded and went out of the library with the Shadow God scripture in her hand. Yun Linshan continued to look at the profound art list and discovered familiar names. Record of Life, Myriad Formation Scripture. He was surprised when he saw these two profound arts. Previously, he always practiced a remnant version of them and already gave up on finding another piece to make them complete. He didn't expect to see a complete version here. Without further ado, Yun Linshan went to find both profound arts and came back to the counter. "Amazing. I never thought both of them are actually a primordial rank profound art." Yun Linshan flipped through page after page on Record of Life and was amazed by the content. He suddenly thought of something and muttered to himself, "How come the remnant version of them appeared in the Misty Cloud sect? Who exactly is the sect's founder?" Thinking of this, Yun Linshan called Lin and asked for a history book related to the Azure world. Unfortunately, there was no such book in the library. He suspected the Misty Cloud sect's founder had something to do with his old man. Otherwise, his old man wouldn't tell his subordinate to bring him here. Not to mention the Beyond Heaven King's crown was being kept within the sect. Yun Linshan did not linger on this topic further. He believed everything would automatically appear as his strength grows. All he needed to do at this moment was to practice and develop the sect well. "Linshan, I've already understood how the electricity works." Yun Lingwei arrived before Yun Linshan and said excitedly, "That's great. Have you figured out how to generate the electricity?" Yun Linshan was elated upon hearing this. With this, he could start the building project right away. Yun Lingwei put a drawing on the counter and explained, "Here, look at this. According to the Earth's technology, there are many ways to generate electricity, such as using natural gas, coal, oil, hydro, or nuclear. However, we can use profound energy to generate it directly by using an energy conversion formation. I've written everything on this paper, the rest is up to you." Yun Linshan looked at the drawing and found it was not difficult to create the formation. He pondered for a moment and said, "There are two ways. First, we can directly inscribe the formation on the devices, but this method is too troublesome and waste our time. Therefore, we will choose the second method. We will build a generator up and connect it with a power cable." Thankfully, Lin helped us with a complete building design. We don't have to burn our brains design the power layout by ourselves. "Let me see." Yun Lingwei's eyes lit up. She was eager to see the building design. After reading Earth's building infrastructure system, she was fascinated by its novel appearance. Compared to the typical ancient building in this world, it was more pleasant to the eyes. Yun Linshan took out all the designs and placed them on the counter. Yun Lingwei quickly skimmed through enthusiastically. "Beautiful, especially these 7 pagodas. They have a good proportion by mixing between ancient and modern styles. From the 22nd to the 24th floor is the treasury. Not bad, our chambers will be on the 21st floor." Yun Lingwei was engrossed in the design. Yun Linshan didn't interrupt her as he was thinking of the next step. Several materials were missing for the time being. He planned to go out and buy them with Yun Huangxin after he reached the essence profound realm. I'll transform your profound vein first. Can you call Kingru here? Yun Linshan said. Yun Lingwei reluctantly left the design and went to call Yun Kingru, who was on the outside as the transmission jade was useless in the library. After a while, Yun Lingwei came back with Yun Kingru. I'm going to transform both of you now. After this, you can study this. Yun Linshan handed the record of life and the myriad formation scripture to them. This is a complete version. Both Yun Lingwei and Yun Kingru were surprised and became excited. Yes, Lingwei, you come first. Yun Linshan beckoned Yun Lingwei to sit on the chair nearby and summoned the crown out. The transformation process was completed in the next 30 minutes, and Yun Linshan was lying limp on the ground, fainted. The next morning, Yun Linshan woke up and found himself in his bedroom. Rubbing his temples for a while, he sighed and decided to start practicing today. Otherwise, he would continue to faint like this every time he uses the power. You're awake, come drink some water. Yun Kaingsu walked into the room with a glass of water in her hand. Yun Linshan felt warmth and accepted the glass from her. Thank you. He drank all the water and asked, how's everyone doing? Yun Kaingsu replied, currently more than half of the required water pipes have been completed. Sister Lingwei has already done a quality check and found no problem. As for the heavenly sandalwood and the serene bamboo, it's already complete as well. They're waiting for your instruction. Yun Linshan was satisfied with the progress and said, can you gather everyone in front of the villa in 10 minutes? I've something to tell them. Yun Kaingsu accepted the task readily and went out. Yun Linshan followed her out after finishing washing his face. In front of the villa, almost 1,000 people had already gathered and discussed among themselves in a low voice. Yun Linshan found a microphone and amplifier and arrived at the scene. He set up everything and said with the microphone, hello test 1 2 3, okay it's good now. Everyone was immediately attracted by the amplifier as they were curious what was this black box. It could amplify Yun Linshan's voice without consuming profound energy. All right, today I have something to tell all of you. I hope everyone listens carefully to what I am going to say next. Yun Linshan stood calmly and looked at everyone. As all of you are aware, we are currently running away from the enemy. Because of what? Yun Linshan paused for a moment and said, that's right, because we are too weak, our sisters have to die. Because we are too weak, the Misty Cloud Peak was snatched away by the enemy. Because we are too weak, we have to run away like a loser. Yun Linshan's words were akin to sharp blades stabbed right through everyone's heart. They were clenching their fists and gritting their teeth with hatred when they recalled the scene where their sisters died in front of them and they were powerless to help them. You hate yourself for being a weakling, right? But what can you do about it? I think everyone knows the answer. If you want to change your fate, you need strength. Hence, from today onward, I will teach all of you a new profound art that is better than the Misty Cloud profound art. Yun Linshan's eyes swept on everyone as he continued. However, what I want in exchange is absolute loyalty. Are you willing? Everyone raised their head to look at Yun Linshan. No word came out. Their expression had already told him everything as he could see a firm determination and unwavering wills within their eyes. Yun Linshan nodded. Good. You have to remember no matter what, you cannot leak the secret of this place to anyone, even you have to lose your life. Understood? We understood, everyone said in unison. Yun Linshan continued, from now on, except for the Hall Masters and the 12 Elders, all of you will have equal status. You will be the sister of the same generation, regardless of your current profound strength. You will understand this in a while. Of course, we are still the Misty Cloud sect. However, the system will be changed entirely. The 12 Elders will become a teacher, and the Hall Masters will become a dean of the respective faculty. First, the Battle Faculty. Yun Runyu will be the dean of this faculty, and the first elder to the 4th elder will be the teacher under her. Second, the Alchemy Faculty. The dean is Yun Kingru, and the 5th elder to the 8th elder will be the teacher under her. Third, the Formation Faculty. Yun Lingwei will be the dean, and the 9th elder to the 12th elder is the teacher under her. Fourth, the Forgery Faculty. I will be the dean of this faculty until we find a suitable person in the future. Lastly, the Culinary Faculty. I will be in charge of this faculty too. Yun Kaingsu will be the principal and Yun Meilan will be the vice principal. As for Yun Huangxin, she will be the principal's secretary. Yun Linshan looked at everyone's confused expression and said further, confused, after we finishing all the buildings, everyone has to study under every faculty. There will be a class every day. I'll tell you the schedule again when the time comes. My ultimate goal is to produce an all-rounder practitioner. I hope you understand my intention. As his voice fell, everyone immediately reacted. We understood. They were excited and looking forward to the future. Yun Linshan nodded in satisfaction. Also, remember, I don't like people who are scheming against our fellow sisters. You can compete with each other fairly, but using the underhand method is not allowed. If you're that good, why don't you use it on the enemy instead? Your fellow sisters are not your competitor. The true competitor is yourself. It is yourself that you need to compete with. As you can see, this place has plenty of resources. I'll share with all of you equally. If you want more, you need to do a job in exchange. I'll place a notice in the main hall in the future. He looked at everyone, and his body exuded killing intent. If I found one, I will kill one. Is it clear? Everyone felt a chill running down their spine, facing Yun Linshan's killing intent. Even Yun Ruiniu, who had always been calmed in most of the situations, was no exception. It was another time she was curious about his background. What kind of monster was he before his reincarnation? Understood, sect master, everyone shouted in unison. Since they were young, they were always living in the Misty Cloud sect. Scheming against their own sisters had never appeared in their minds even once, let alone betrayed the sect. Don't call me sect master anymore. You can call me headmaster instead. For the other regulations, I will post a notice later. After this, all of you will help the 12 teachers in the building project, Yun Linshan said, and everyone expressed their understanding. This idea had been in Yun Linshan's mind for several years. He wanted to change the sect into a place similar to a university where people could find knowledge without discrimination. At the same time, he did not entirely let go of the traditional sect structure. Everyone had to contribute to the sect like before. In the future, he hoped to see the most powerful legion that could shake the entire world. Yun Linshan found Yun Chan and called her to the villa with Yun Xianxia and the rest. Arriving in the living room, Yun Chan looked around curiously. The furniture here had a strange appearance, and she could not figure out the use of them. Sit here, Yun Linshan pointed at the sofa, and Yun Chan obediently sat down. What I am going to do next is my utmost secret. I hope you can keep it well, Yun Linshan said. Of every disciple in the sect, he trusted Yun Chan the most as her personality was aligned with Yun Linshan in a way. She was decisive and cared for her comrades. Yun Chan nodded her head and said nothing. Yun Linshan summoned the crown and placed his hand above Yun Chan's head. He then activated the power. Yun Chan could feel an irresistible force invaded her body, and her profound veins started to transform. However, compared to the previous targets, Yun Chan did not feel much pain. 15 minutes later, Yun Linshan retracted his hand and wiped the sweat out of his forehead. He explained the benefits of the full-element profound vein to Yun Chan. Thank you, headmaster. Yun Chan bowed her head deeply at Yun Linshan after listening to his explanation. Yun Linshan waved his hand and said, I'll give you a profound art later. You don't have to practice during this time. You take a rest. Yun Chan nodded and walked out of the villa. Meanwhile, Yun Linshan headed to his bedroom and began to study the enlightening guide technique. 2 days later, Yun Linshan had fully comprehended the enlightening guide technique and was ready to use it. He first memorized the goddess of the 9 heavens scriptures content and called Yun Chan over. I am going to impart the profound art to you. Relax your mind, Yun Linshan said to Yun Chan, who sat opposite him. Yun Chan closed her eyes and relaxed her body. Yun Linshan pointed his finger on Yun Chan's forehead, and his body began to glow in white light. Yun Chan felt information poured into her mind a moment later, but she could not figure out the content. The process lasted for 5 minutes before Yun Linshan retracted his finger. He asked, Can you tell me what did I just send into your mind? Yun Chan opened her eyes with confusion. She tried to recall the information, but she failed in the end. I don't know, headmaster, however, I know how to practice. Following that, Yun Chan performed the goddess of the 9 heavens scripture. Instantaneously, profound every was drawn into her body at extremely high speed. It was at least 10 times faster than the Misty Cloud profound art. Unfortunately, even though Yun Chan could absorb profound energy faster than before, her full-element profound vein was 5 times larger than an average practitioner. It required profound energy 5 times more to break through the next level. Yun Linshan was satisfied with the result. He said, Stop, absorb first. You haven't entered the first level of the foundation profound realm. You can use this chance to temper your body by helping the construction. Yun Chan expressed her understanding and went out of the villa afterward. Is it work? Yun Xianxia walked into the living room with an omelette rice plate in her hand. Yun Linshan sniffed the fragrant aroma and replied, Yes, it worked perfectly fine. According to the enlightening guide technique, as long as Yun Chan made progress further in the goddess of the 9 heavens scripture, the information of the next level would automatically appear within her subconscious, and she only needed to comprehend it by herself. Yun Xianxia placed the omelette rice on the small table in front of him and sat beside him. You can try it. I did it according to the recipe book. During this period, besides practicing, Yun Kaingsu had wholeheartedly devoted her time to improve her culinary skill. She wanted to give Yun Linshan the most refined delicacy every day. Yun Linshan used a spoon to scoop a mouthful of omelet rice before sending it into his mouth. The egg's aroma immediately exploded in his mouth, causing him to smile involuntarily. He gave a thumb up to Yun Kaingsu and said, "It's delicious." Yun Kaingsu was overjoyed, and the nervousness in her heart had vanished instantly. "Really, I'll make it for you every day from now on." Yun Linshan accepted her proposal and continued to wolf down the food. After the meal, he went to the library to find an offensive profound art that could help him progress in the Foundation Profound realm. The Foundation Profound realm was aimed to refine the practitioner's body. During this realm, the practitioner would constantly discharge the impurities in their body to make it perfect as much as possible. The less impurity within their body, the more solid their foundation became. This was also why a practitioner with a good background is usually stronger than an ordinary practitioner. They could use more resources such as the bone-strengthening pill or the cutting marrow pill to help them. As long as they had a solid foundation in this realm, the path in their future would open wide. Yun Linshan skimmed through the offensive profound art list for a while, and he was attracted by the dragon fist and phoenix palm. Both of them were a divine rank profound art. Yun Linshan did not know if he could practice it. To his understanding, executing an offensive technique was similar to RPG games. If the skill needed 100 mana to use, but your maximum mana capacity was only 10, you won't be able to use it. After finding both of them, Yun Linshan spent several hours studying them. He was overjoyed when he saw the requirement was not harsh. Everyone could practice them with no problem. The Dragon Fist and Phoenix Palm are divided into 6 levels. When practitioners successfully entered the first level, they could manifest a virtual dragon and phoenix similar to the Luo clan's Golden Dragon Spear art. However, Yun Linshan knew it was not simply as that. Without further ado, Yun Linshan went to the backyard and started practicing the Dragon Fist. Roar! In the villa's backyard, Yun Linshan sent a punch out, and a virtual blue dragon immediately appeared from his fist. It went straight to the ground and created a fist-size hole in it. "So cool," Yun Linshan exclaimed excitedly. It had been half a month since he started practicing the Dragon Fist, and he finally entered the first level today. Currently, Yun Linshan's strength had grown to the 3rd level of the Foundation Profound realm. Compared to Yun Kaingsu and the others, his practice speed was far slower. It couldn't be helped since his Beyond Heaven Profound vein was 10 times larger than an average practitioner. Although he was at the 3rd level currently, his strength could already be compared to the 2nd level of Essence Profound Realms practitioners in terms of physical strength alone. Scree! Suddenly, a virtual red phoenix flying into the air before it disappeared in the next second. Yun Linshan turned to look and saw Yun Kaingsu retracted her palm. He walked toward her and said, "Congratulations." Yun Kaingsu smiled faintly. "You are faster than me. I can't compare to you." She was already in the 7th level of Foundation Profound Realm at this moment, and she could feel her physical strength was stronger than the 5th level of Essence Profound Realms practitioner. After taking a beauty preservation pill, Yun Kaingsu's appearance had returned to her early 20s, but her hair was still completely white. Even though Yun Linshan had seen her face almost every day for a decade, he never had enough of it. Seeing Yun Linshan looked at her with a bit of distraction, Yun Kaingsu was happy inwardly. At least her charm was still effective against him. She said, "Let's go back. I'll cook for you." Yun Linshan regained his composure and nodded his head. Both of them returned to the villa afterward. The construction was full swing nonstop for several days with the help of everyone. The first residence was already completed but still missing necessary furniture. Yun Linshan considered going out, but his current strength was too low. Even though Yun Huangxin could protect him, he did not want to take a risk. At least he should have entered the first level of Essence Profound Realm first before going out. After a meal, Yun Linshan and Yun Kaingsu went to the construction site to check the current progress. He looked at a 16-story modern Earth-style building and nodded his head with satisfaction before entering the building. This concrete building was the first residence for everyone. Its floor was laid with smooth heavenly sandalwoods, emitting a soothing fragrance, and there were glass windows along the corridor. On the ceiling, there were integrated light bulbs developed by him and Yun Lingwei, giving good lighting throughout the corridor. There were 10 rooms on each floor. Yun Linshan and Yun Kaingsu chose a random room and went in. When they stepped into the room, they immediately encountered the entryway for people to change their shoes. Walking along a short hallway, they arrived at a spacious living room that was currently empty, with no furniture. A simple kitchen room was located at the back of the room and connected with a balcony. There was a small marble kitchen island and a long counter connected to the wall with an integrated induction stove, plus a cooker hood and a large sink. Yun Kaingsu was not surprised by its modern appearance since she was already used to the villa's kitchen. She opened all the 4 bedrooms one by one and checked the 2 bathrooms before coming out. "It's better than I thought. This place has everything." Yun Kaingsu gave a compliment. She was sure there shouldn't be any sect in this world giving such a magnificent residence to their disciple. Just a bed made by combining the heavenly sandalwood and the serene bamboo alone could make even Monarch Profound Realms practitioner go mad for it. Not to mention the water was coming from the Profound Spirit Lake directly. Was there any place in the world allowing their disciple to use the Profound Spirit liquid to wash their butt? Even the Azure Palace might not have it. Yun Linshan was satisfied with the outcome after checking the electricity and water system. "Indeed, I didn't expect them to build this place to this extent. Sadly, we don't have enough material to make furniture. I'll have to go out as soon as possible." Yun Linshan had considered sending people out, but he didn't know how to communicate with them from the land of beyond heaven. He asked Lin about this, and apparently he needed to reach the spirit profound realm first to form a connection with the outside world by using his spiritual sense. Therefore, if he wanted to go out right now, he could only go by himself. "We can go out together later," Yun Kaingsu said. Deep down in her heart, she wished to journey along with Yun Linshan. Before this, her strength was far higher than him, and she certainly could not accompany him all the time since she was duty-bound as the sect master. Yun Linshan nodded his head and brought Yun Kaingsu to the Profound Spirit Lake. At this moment, all the foundations of the 7 pagodas had already been completed. The next step was to add each floor one by one. As for a bridge, it could leave for the last step after completing all the 7 pagodas. Headmaster Principal, Yun Chan, who was carried a block of marble, immediately greeted both of them. Her current strength had already reached the 4th level of Foundation Profound Realm by doing labor work solely for all this time. Yun Linshan gave her a nod. "Thanks for your hard work." Yun Chan smiled and walked past both of them. Yun Linshan looked at the waterfall at the end of the lake and said, "I'll go practice there from now on." Yun Kaingsu followed Yun Linshan's sight and she hurriedly said, "It's not good, right? I know you want to increase your speed, but it's unnecessary to use this extreme method." Yun Linshan shook his head and replied, "In fact, we should practice like this to begin with. Our current primary profound arts are different from the Misty Cloud profound art. We need to temper our body more, and using the waterfall's pressure is probably the best way to do it here." Yun Kaingsu was aware of this point, but she did not approve for fear Yun Linshan would get an injury. However, seeing him so determined, she decided to follow his wish and accompanied him in practice. 10 minutes later, both Yun Linshan and Yun Kaingsu arrived nearby the waterfall. This was the first time they saw it this close. The waterfall was around 200 meters high and covered 1 kilometer width. Beneath the waterfall was a flat and smooth boulder range, perfect for anyone to sit on. Seeing this scene, Yun Linshan found this place was too perfect for tempering one's body as if it had been built for this purpose. "I'll try first." Yun Linshan was eager to try and quickly jumped to a nearby boulder under the waterfall's curtain. Boom! The moment he landed on the boulder, a tremendous pressure immediately descended on his whole body, causing him to fly away in an instant. Linshan, Yun Kaingsu was frightened and jumped to catch Yun Linshan before she fell into the lake with him. "How are you?" Yun Kaingsu looked at Yun Linshan concernedly. Yun Linshan felt as if he was hit by a giant hammer all over the place. He shook his head as he replied, "I'm fine. This place is just perfect." His voice was full of excitement. The gigantic waterfall rushed down, constantly crashed into the lake below, causing the mist to rise into the air. The enormous deafening sound was like the rumbling of thunder, which traveled far and wide. Under this waterfall's curtain, a figure was blown away by the immense pressure that was capable of smashing one's body into pieces. However, the figure did not give up as he madly continued to jump in without caring for his own safety. This figure was no other than Yun Linshan, who had practiced under the waterfall for over 2 weeks. Up until now, he could not stand under the waterfall for more than 5 seconds. Moreover, it wasn't just him alone. Yun Kaingsu, Yun Lingwei, Yun Qingru, Yun Meilan, and Yun Runyu had joined this seemingly insane practice method as well. On the shore, a group of women sat behind a table, watching Yun Linshan's group while eating food. Every day when they took a rest from the construction work, they would always come to this spot to observe Yun Linshan's group practice. The scene where Yun Linshan and the others were blown away, jumping up and repeated the action, had become a daily routine in everyone's eyes. "Don't tell me we have to do this in the future as well," Yun Jiajia said while wolfing down a braised chicken. "Jiajia, you shouldn't talk while chewing," Yun Li reprimanded. Sorry, hee hee. Xianxia stuck her tongue out apologetically after drinking a mouthful of water. Naturally, we have to do this. Headmaster has already told us before, Yunting answered as she placed the spoon on her plate. Currently, she had already reached the 4th level of Foundation Profound Realm since Yun Linshan had transformed her profound vein 2 weeks ago. During this period, Yun Linshan's transformation power was known by everyone within the sect. At first, he wanted to hide this secret from them. Still, after consulting with Yun Runyu, he decided to use the enlightening guide technique to plant this secret in everyone's subconscious. Surprisingly, it worked perfectly fine as everyone was aware of the power, but they could not tell specifically when they want to. Yun Jiajia looked at Yun Ting enviously. Sister Ting, how do you feel after getting the full element profound vein? I don't know when Headmaster is going to bestow me. Yun Ting smiled faintly. It feels great as if you've reborn again. Yun Jiajia had a yearning look on her face and turned her head to look at Yun Linshan in the lake. She wished he could give her this new power as soon as possible. It wasn't because she was greedy, but rather she wanted to experience it by herself after listening to Yun Ting and other sisters talking about it. Let's go. The rest hour is over. Yun Chan, who had quietly observed Yun Linshan's group, said while taking her plate to clean up. Everyone immediately followed her afterward. Although they had worked hard the entire day and night without proper rest, they did not complain even once. How could they have the face to complain? In their eyes, living in the land of beyond heaven was akin to living in paradise. Not only was this place beautiful and serene beyond words, but it also possessed endless resources. Hence, doing labored works was nothing to them compared to the benefit they got in return. A week ago, they grew vegetables in the fertile land under Yun Qingru's guidance and discovered all the vegetables were growing up 10 times faster than their regular cycles. This had also applied to every medicinal plant. The first time when he heard about this, Yun Linshan thought the land of beyond heaven had a time accelerate ability, but there was no such a thing after he thoroughly investigated. The time flow within this place and the outside world was not different. This abnormal growth rate did not apply to the vegetables in the fertile area only, but it also happened everywhere in the land of beyond heaven. When Yun Linshan realized this, he did not forget to toss the celestial Buddha lotus into the profound spirit lake, letting it grow further. He believed he could duplicate it in the future. Boom. Yun Linshan managed to stand on a flat boulder without being blasted away as usual. In the next second, the impact of the enormous current collided ruthlessly into his body, breaking apart his weak defense instantly, and smashed him violently into the boulder under his feet before he had been washed away, rolling into the lake. Yun Kaingsu was frightened when she saw this and quickly found Yun Linshan, pulling him up to the lake's surface. Linshan, come here, Sister Qingru. Yun Kaingsu saw Yun Linshan's bloody appearance and anxiously shouted at Yun Qingru. She could clearly see several of his bones were broken. Yun Qingru arrived at their sides and examined Yun Linshan carefully. A while later, she said, there is no severe danger, but he should not continue further. Yun Kaingsu heaved a sigh of relief and prepared to bring him to the shore. However, Yun Linshan suddenly grabbed her arm and stubbornly said, stop, I can continue. Are you crazy? Look at your broken ribs. How can you possibly continue like this? Yun Kaingsu frowned and became angry. In her opinion, it was unnecessary for him to practice hastily like this. Even if his progress was slow, he could just stay in this place for several decades until he was strong enough. Yun Linshan stared at her. He understood her thought, but he could not accept it. I need to, he said weakly. I can wait, but you can't. I have to find the tree of life as soon as possible. Even though Yun Kaingsu's practice progress was fast, it was not fast enough in Yun Linshan's eyes. Following this rate, there was a high chance she could not break through to the ruler profound realm within 10 years. Therefore, Yun Linshan spent his free time reading many books, searching for a way to extend Yun Kaingsu's lifespan, and the legendary Tree of Life had become his ultimate goal. Of course, there were other options, but nothing could compare to the Tree of Life, as the latter had no side effect, while the rest could damage the target's foundation in the long term. Yun Kaingsu was moved and almost shed a tear. Yun Qingru had told her about the Tree of Life before, but she never hoped for it. After all, it was a legendary existence. Even if there was one, it's certainly not easy to obtain it. She was silent for a while before resolutely dragged Yun Linshan to the shore without caring about his protest. To her, Yun Linshan was everything. She could not bear to see him endangering himself, especially because of her. I forbid you from doing this. At least you have to wait until you've recovered. Yun Kaingsu said softly and placed Yun Linshan on an extended bench. Yun Linshan struggled to get up, but it was futile under Yun Kaingsu's strength. He looked at her for a while before letting out a soft sigh and accepted her request. Fine, I'll continue after my bones have recovered. Good. Yun Kaingsu stroked his face affectionately after feeding him a healing pill and went back to the lake with great determination. She wanted to erase Yun Linshan's worry by proving she was capable of breaking through to the ruler profound realm within 10 years. Boom! Yun Kaingsu jumped onto the boulder and resisted the tremendous impact of the waterfall with all her might. Instantaneously, a cracking sound could be heard from within her body as she felt her bones started to break apart. Despite being in great pain, she had forcefully managed to endure without moving an inch. Yun Linshan's heart was tightened seeing her current appearance. He blamed himself for being rash by telling her his motivation, and it directly forced her to do this as a result. In the end, Yun Kaingsu managed to withstand the waterfall's impact for half a minute before she was blasted away, falling into the lake. Seeing this, Yun Linshan forced himself to move toward her anxiously, while Yun Qingru and the others had arrived by Yun Kaingsu's side and quickly fed her a healing pill. From the look of it, Yun Kaingsu's bones from shoulders to her ribs were all broken. If she hadn't used all of her strength to protect her head, her skull might break along with them too. "How is she?" Yun Linshan asked when he saw Yun Kaingsu fainted. "Not life-threatening injury. Although she has fainted, she did not forget to run the profound art," Yun Qingru replied. She pointed at Yun Kaingsu's broken arm and said further, "Her flesh and bones are constantly transforming. At this rate, she will make a breakthrough within half an hour." Yun Linshan heaved a sigh of relief and checked on Yun Kaingsu's body briefly. Currently, Yun Kaingsu's body had gone through a bone and flesh reforging process and gradually recovered. Without a doubt, she would make another breakthrough soon. "All of you can continue," Yun Linshan said to everyone and calmly held Yun Kaingsu floating in the lake. He closed his eyes and followed the primordial Beyond Heaven scriptures first level to practice. With the help of profound spirit lake and the healing pill, his broken ribs slowly reconnected, and he could feel his bones had become stronger than before. 20 minutes later, Yun Linshan perceived a vigorous aura burst out from Yun Kaingsu. He knew she was about to break through and quickly distanced himself from her. Whoosh! The profound energy mist speedily formed around Yun Kaingsu, seeping into her flesh and forged her bones. A moment later, most of her injuries gradually healed up. All of her broken bones had reconnected and became stronger. Strands of profound energy constantly condensed in Yun Kaingsu's profound vein. With all her 64 profound entrances opened, the surrounding energy rushed into her body from 64 directions all at once. Its speed was as fast as one could imagine. From several strands had now become a single dense river, flushing to every corner of her body. Bang! Suddenly, a muffled bang rang within her body, and a moment later, Yun Kaingsu's aura surged to the peak state before she finally stepped into the 8th level of Foundation Profound Realm. Yun Kaingsu slowly opened her eyes and found herself had become more vital. She felt even if she was facing an enemy at the 6th level or even the 7th level of Essence Profound Realm, she could easily handle them with no problem. "Congratulations, Sister Kaingsu." Yun Runyu was the first to arrive on Yun Kaingsu's side and followed by Yun Qingru and the rest. One by one, congratulated her for successfully made a breakthrough. Yun Linshan swam toward her and examined her body up close. He said, "Congratulations." Yun Kaingsu was about to say something, but her stomach suddenly let out a rumbling sound, making her face turned red from embarrassment. Yun Linshan laughed slightly. This was the first time he saw the dignified Yun Kaingsu had an embarrassing moment, as usually she never showed this side to him even once for all these years. "I'll get some food for you," Yun Linshan said and swam toward the shore. "Oh, our sister Kaingsu has an embarrassing moment like a mortal too, hee. Yun Lingwei didn't forget to tease. Usually Yun Kaingsu would give off a feeling as though she was an unapproachable fairy in heaven. Seeing her become embarrassed was a rare sight. Yun Kaingsu glared at her and said, "Come here, let me clean you up." "Ah." Helped, Yun Lingwei knew she was not Yun Kaingsu's opponent. She quickly swam away with all her might while Yun Kaingsu gave a chase. Yun Qingru, Yun Ruinyu, and Yun Meilan shook their heads amusingly. It had been a long time since they had a lively moment like this. After the Grand Sect Master passed away, each of them had to carry a heavy responsibility and the hope of the sect. Even though they would occasionally make a joke among themselves, it could only serve as a temporary relief from the massive pressure on their shoulders. Perhaps it was because of how peaceful the land of Beyond Heaven was that could give birth to a sense of peace in their mind, making them put everything down and enjoy their life once again. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had already passed. During this period, another 6 residence buildings had been completed, along with a huge cafeteria and 5 warehouses. As for the 7 pagodas, they could not continue further as they lacked materials. Every day, Yun Linshan would use the transformation power once on the sect members. Until now, a total of 70 people had been entirely transformed. He also did not slack off in training, as his strength had already reached the 9th level of Foundation Profound Realm. Ha! Under the waterfall's curtain, Yun Linchen let out a loud cry before jumping onto the boulder. The moment his feet landed, an immense pressure immediately descended on him. Yun Linchen used every ounce of his strength to protect his head and managed to withstand for 40 seconds before he was ruthlessly smashed at the boulder and fell into the lake with several of his bones broken. It wasn't just him alone. At this moment, 70-odd people were doing the same action as Yun Linchen did, and they were also blasted away before floating limply in the lake, recovering their injuries. They would repeat the process again after they recovered. The longer they could withstand under the waterfall, the faster progress they could make. Other sect members that had nothing to do would come here to watch them doing this insane training. At first, they would feel sorry for those under the waterfall. Later, they had grown accustomed to it and even wanted to participate in the training when they saw the apparent change in these people. Not only would their body become stronger, but their appearance had become more refined too. Which woman did not wish to have a beautiful appearance? They could not simply resist such a temptation and hoped Yun Linchen could quickly transform their profound veins. After Yun Linchen had recovered, he didn't hesitate to jump onto the boulder once again. This time he managed to stay still for a full minute. The moment he was about to get blasted away, Yun Linchen used all of his strength to perform the first level of the dragon fist at the waterfall's current above his head. Roar! A virtual blue dragon appeared with a roar and rushed at the current above Yun Linchen's head, causing the waterfall's curtain to break apart for 2 seconds. During these 2 seconds, the previous enormous pressure had lowered, and Yun Linchen used this chance to send out another fist, but it didn't last long before he was ruthlessly smashed at the boulder once again. Plop. Yun Linchen fell into the lake before he slowly floated up onto the surface. He felt his body suddenly became vigorous a moment later, and he knew his chance had come. He was about to break through. Yun Linchen madly ran the practice according to the primordial beyond heaven scripture. The surrounding profound energy seeped through every pore on his body, spreading to every part. Yun Linchen could feel a burning sensation as his flesh and bones were constantly transforming. Crack, crack, his joints trembled vigorously, producing a clear cracking sound as they were reconnecting back to their original positions. With a bang, Yun Linchen felt as though he had set free from an invisible shackle and suddenly felt a sense of supremacy. It was at this moment he knew he had successfully broken through to the 10th level of Foundation Profound Realm. An hour later, Yun Linchen's injuries were all recovered. He clenched his fists, adapting to his newly gained power with excitement. Congratulations, Yun Qiangsu's voice rang out from behind. Currently, her strength had already reached the 6th level of Essence Profound Realm thanks to almost unlimited high-grade profound stones at the bottom of the Profound Spirit Lake. Yun Linchen smiled back at her. Thank you. I think I can go out now. We have delayed it for a month. Yun Qiangsu nodded her head. The 7 pagodas' construction had halted the process for 2 months now because of a material shortage. The food supply had also run out. There were only ordinary vegetables left. To body refining practitioners, they needed more nutrition from both spirit plant and profound beasts' meat as their appetite grew bigger along with their strength. Since an ordinary vegetable they had grown within the land of beyond heaven was useless for Yun Linchen and the rest, he decided to go out today. It had been almost 3 months since everyone secluded themselves within this place. They had no idea what was going on around the outside world. It was inevitable they needed more preparation before going out. In the villa's living room, Yun Linchen sat on the sofa with Yun Qiangsu, Yun Ruiniu, and Yun Huangxin on his side, while Yun Qingru, Yun Meilan, and Yun Lingwei sat separately on a smaller sofa. Except for Yun Linchen and Yun Huangxin, who hadn't transformed her profound vein, everyone had already reached the Essence Profound Realm. Right now, we are in the perimeter of the Skyfall Nation. Yun Ruiniu pointed at a simple map on a small table before everyone. She dragged her finger to the north direction and stopped at a town symbol as she said, "We need to travel around 2,000 kilometers north to reach this green leaf town. This town is one of the biggest food suppliers in the Skyfall Nation. We should be able to find a supply here." Skyfall Nation, Yun Linchen heard about this nation before. It was said the ruler was a woman with extremely high talent in both music sorcery and sword art. The Skyfall royal clan used to have a good relationship with our sect. However, as time passing by, our relationship gradually falling apart. In the past 100 years, they never interacted with us again, Yun Qiangsu explained. As a former sect master, she knew more than a newly appointed sect master like Yun Linchen. She did not surprise at the Skyfall royal clan's action of distancing themselves, since the Misty Cloud sect had significantly inclined. They simply viewed the sect as unworthy of befriending. Although Yun Kangsu understood this was common in the relationship between two forces, she still got angry whenever she thought about it. To her, this was a simply humiliation, and she could not accept it. It was just that even her strength at that time was useless to do anything. Yun Linshan perceived the boiling anger in Yun Kangsu. He reached out to hold her hand and said with a confident smile, "You don't have to be angry. We are different now. Given us another 5 years, they would become nothing in our eyes." Seeing his confident smile, Yun Kangsu's anger gradually subsided. She returned him with a faint smile and said, "You're right. We're now different from the past." Watching these two spreading their sweet moment, Yun Lingwei smirked and was about to tease them. Suddenly, she felt a chill running down her spine as she saw Yun Kangsu's sharp gaze swept at her, rendering her to shut her mouth tightly. Yun Runyu didn't bother about their small interaction. She said further, "It is currently a winter outside. People in Greenleaf Town naturally cannot grow a plant at the moment. If we want to buy a sizable amount of food in one go, it will undoubtedly attract unnecessary problems, but buying a seed should be fine." Yun Linshan nodded in agreement, and buying a spirit plant seed was his original intention. He said there are two major problems. First, we have to find a way to get a steady stream of profound beasts' meat. Of course, we can hunt them by ourselves, but it will increase the risk of exposing our secrets. Unless we can find a no-man land full with profound beast. Second problem, we need a tremendous amount of necessary items such as beds and clothes. I know everyone can sleep on a plain heavenly sandalwood bed or even a hard floor, but I want everyone to have the best living environment. Whether it is food or cloth, everyone should use the best of the best. Listening to Yun Linshan's words, everyone was moved. The Misty Cloud sect might be harmonious, but they could not deny that the higher talented one would get more resources than others. They could not simply divide everything equally to everyone as Yun Linshan did, even though Yun Linshan could achieve this ideal approach because of the land of beyond heaven. Yun Kangsu and the rest could not guarantee they could be as generous as Yun Linshan. We should cultivate a silkworm by ourselves too. However, finding a top silkworm like the snow wind silkworm around this place is rather difficult. Unless we are entering the Frozen Moon Palace's territory, Yun Kingru expressed her opinion. Aside from alchemy, she was interested in cloth designing. The current Misty Cloud sex uniform was the result of her design. "We should get the fragrant cow too. I want to make butter and cheese." Yun Lingwei chimed in and subconsciously licked her lips slightly as she thought of the delicious cheese she had experienced during these past months. Sadly, they had been long emptied by her. Yun Linshan chuckled amusingly. The Azure world was relatively backward in terms of culinary methods. Despite there were plenty of heavenly ingredients, the variety of dishes were too low. It was natural that the gluttonous Yun Lingwei would attract by the Earth's cuisine. "All right, we will get all of them." Yun Linshan accepted everyone's proposal. "So who wants to go out with Xianxia and me?" Everyone turned their head to Yun Kangsu. The answer was clear as day. Even they wanted to go, Yun Kangsu might disagree with them. A winter sky was a bit dark as the snow kept falling down, turning everything into a white world. Yun Linshan wrapped in thick clothes, appearing on a roadside along with Yun Xianxia and Yun Kangsu. They were currently heading toward Greenleaf Town by walking. Before coming out, Yun Linshan consulted with Lin about the disguise method, but he was disappointed as every effective disguise technique required him to reach the spirit profound realm first. Hence, he could only disguise himself by wrapping his head with the scarf, leaving the eyes area out. Meanwhile, Yun Xianxia and Yun Kangsu were wearing a white veil personally made by Yun Kingru. In order to hide the Misty Cloud sex identity, both of them had to change their attire into an azure robe. "It's been a while since I see snow," Yun Xianxia said while spreading her palm to catch the falling snow. As a member of the Misty Cloud sect, she was used to the environment on the Misty Cloud Peak that was full of snow year-round. Even though the land of beyond heaven was better in every aspect, she was still missing the Misty Cloud Peak a bit. Yun Linshan was silent. In the land of beyond heaven, there was no season. The weather there was warm, without wind or rain. Moreover, it only had a day without night. He discussed this matter with Lin and found out later he needed to collect the Beyond Heaven relic in order to complete the respective elements within the land of beyond heaven. The reason behind the awakening of the gate of beyond heaven was because he obtained the sun back then. Without it, Yun Linshan had no way to activate his plot armor. Once he obtained the moon, he was quite certain the night would appear within the land of beyond heaven, and it might give birth to a season. The problem was, he did not know if the moon had truly existed within the north direction. Suddenly, Yun Xianxia halted her step and said, "There are people ahead." She spread her spiritual sense out and said further, "It seems they are a group of bandit." A kilometer far away from Yun Linchen's group, there were a group of 15 men in black attires. Behind them was a group of helpless women and children that kept shivering because of the chilly wind. Their wrists were tightly bound with thick ropes, and they were dragging and urging to move forward by the group of men. At the front of the line were several carriages loaded with wheat and other crops. Evidently, this group of men had just plundered all of them from a village nearby. Move. A skinny man with a scar on his left cheek whipped a poor woman with a leather whip. The poor woman cried out in pain as blood seeping out from her back. Her eyes were filled with boundless fear and horror. "Brother, son, you shouldn't whip her like that. I still want to appreciate her smooth skins, though," said another man in black beside the skinny man. His lecherous eyes swept over the pitiful woman's body with a lustful grin. His mind had already drifted to a scene in a bedroom that was bound to happen tonight. The skinny man, Sun Qiang, gave a slight chuckle and replied jokingly, "Scram. All you know is playing with a woman. Why don't you practice more?" Hey, you can't blame me for this, brother, son. Aren't you the one who taught me this? Anyway, who makes the weather so cold this year? I just want her to warm my bed, all right, the man on the side replied with an innocent shrug. The pitiful woman was paled in fright after hearing this. She could see what kind of future awaited her. She wished she could kill herself right away. Unfortunately, she did not have the strength to do so and could only lower her head, resigning to fate. "What are you two chit-chatting about?" "Hurry up," shouted a bulky man who sat on the carriage in the front. His eyes were sharp like an eagle, and there was a hideous scar across his face, making him appear very scary. "Yes, leader," Sun Qiang and the man on his side said respectfully in unison. Their foreheads were full of sweat, appearing nervous when they looked at the bulky man who was their leader. Wu Zhuo, the Black Eagle Bandit group leader, snorted coldly and urged horses to move forward. He raised his head to glance at the sky and frowned with annoyance. This year's winter was quite strange. It was colder than the past year, causing their reserved supply to plummet as they needed to burn more wood and coal. Furthermore, all the crops they cultivated around their camp had suddenly wilted for no reason. When one of Wu Zhuo's men ate the wilted crops, his body immediately filled with poison and died 2 days later. Hence, Wu Zhuo had no choice but to bring his men out of the midst of the heavy snow to plunder the nearby village's reserved food. Beast, Yun Huangxin heard their conversation clearly and was furious. She turned to Yun Linchen and said, "I am going to kill them." Yun Linchen shook his head and said, "Hold on for a while. We will follow them first." Yun Huangxin frowned slightly, but she soon understood Yun Linchen's intention. She took a deep breath and led Yun Linchen and Yun Qiangsu in the bandit group's direction. Along the way, Yun Huangxin kept informing Yun Linchen and Yun Qiangsu about the conversation between the bandits. Something happened with the crops. Yun Linchen heard about the bizarre incident on the bandits' crops and was surprised slightly. Yun Huangxin nodded her head. That was, they said, those wilted crops somehow possess a poison. Anyone who ate it will die within 2 days. At this moment, Yun Qiangsu, who was silent for all this time, said, "The weather is strange. I remember it's usually warmer than this. Not to mention, there shouldn't be heavy snow during this month." Hearing this, Yun Linchen and Yun Huangxin looked at the sky and agreed with Yun Qiangsu's statement. At first, Yun Linchen thought it was typical weather in the Skyfall Nation, but it seemed not to be the case. From the bandits' words, this heavy snow was an unexpected event. At least, it did not happen in these past several years. "Poison, heavy snow," Yun Linchen muttered while pondering about the cause of the incident. When Yun Linchen thought about the poison, the first thing that came to his mind was the Poison Valley, but he had no proof. However, if it was truly the Poison Valley's deeds, he wouldn't be surprised at all. He understood how terrifying of them. The only thing he did not understand was their purpose by doing this in this barren place. Yun Linchen's group followed the Black Eagle Bandit group for 2 hours before arriving at a bandit camp. The camp is located on a small hill, surrounded by a forest. Strong iron fences were erected around the camp, could barely protect against a low-level, profound beast. Smoke rose, 20-odds men gathered around a massive fireplace, chatting and joking around to ease the coldness. When they heard a carriage's sound coming, they immediately looked toward the entrance and saw their leader had come back with a considerable amount of goods. "Leader," they shouted in unison and went to help Wu Zhuo pulling the carriage into the camp. Wu Zhuo jumped down from the carriage and asked a man with a crooked nose nearby him, "How's the situation?" The crooked-nosed man answered with a confident smile, "Everything is going smoothly. The second and third teams have already returned with a large amount of food. We can last for a year without a problem." He paused for a moment and continued with a lewd grin, "Of course, they've brought several high-graded women as well. I heard they are a former imperial city's courtesan." Wu Zhuo was surprised. He didn't understand. Why would these courtesans appear around here? Had they retired and chose to live peacefully in the countryside? He gave a slight nod and said, "Bring everything to the warehouse first." Following that, he headed back to his residence, planning to take a good sleep after a long journey. 200 meters away from the bandit camp, Yun Linchen's group sat calmly around a round wooden table, enjoying a sumptuous dinner under a large beach umbrella. Yun Huangxin moved her chopsticks, stuffing a roasted wild boar's meat into her mouth while using her spiritual sense to observe the bandit camp. Her moving hand suddenly halted, and a disgusting expression appeared on Yun Huangxin's face as she said, "Shameless. How could these women try to please these beasts who captured them to this place?" Yun Linchen looked at Yun Huangxin's expression, and he could guess more or less about the situation in the camp. Without a doubt, she had seen an unhealthy scene over there. He used his chopsticks to pick a piece of stir-fried chicken and put it in Yun Huangxin's bowl. He said with a smile, "It's simple. They just want to live." Yun Huangxin did not eat the stir-fried chicken right away. She responded with a frown, "How could they continue to live like this? Where is their dignity? I would rather die than living in such a manner." It wasn't that Yun Huangxin was naive, but she did not understand these women's choices. To her, there was no point in living further after going through all of this. She would try her best to end her life if it was her. Yun Linchen chuckled slightly. "You're underestimating humans' fear of death." He took a sip of hot tea and said further, "For a practitioner who is teetering between life and death, often like us, death is nothing but the end of the road. But to them, death is scarier than anything in this world, and the so-called dignity is useless in front of death. You can still live without it, and maybe you will have a chance to reverse your own fate one day. But it's impossible when you're dead." Yun Huangxin fell into deep thought. She understood Yun Linchen's words, but she could not convince herself to choose this choice if it was her. Perhaps she had forgotten that many people did not even have a chance to make a choice. Yun Kangsu glanced at Yun Linchen briefly and continued to eat. The more she listened to his words, the more curious she had become. She was wondering what kind of experience he had been through in his past life. Suddenly, Yun Huangxin's expression changed drastically. She hurriedly said, "They are going to do something on a group of newly brought women. I must stop them now." Yun Linchen nodded his head. Since that was the case, he could not simply observe further. The three of them quickly rushed to the bandit camp right away. At this moment, several women were standing in a row in the camp with their backs leaning on the cabin's wall. They looked at the hideous bandits in front of them with fear as they kept shivering in despair. At this moment, they were no different from goods awaited to be chosen. "Brother Sun, I will let you choose first," the crooked-nosed man said with a smirk. Sun Qiang laughed out loud and pointed at the pitiful woman that he whipped hours ago. Although her current appearance was unpleasant to his eyes because of dirt, it could not hide her beautiful face from him. The woman trembled in horror. Her face was pale as a white sheet. Even though she had mentally prepared for this beforehand, the reality was entirely different. Suppressing the fear in her heart, she looked at Sun Qiang and said pleadingly, "Can you let my daughter go? I promise I'll wholeheartedly serve you with no rejection." Sun Qiang was surprised by the woman's courage. When she raised her head, he could take a look at her beautiful face clearly for the first time. The woman had a good proportioned face. Whether it was her slender brows, thin lips like a petal, or a pair of stubborn eyes, without a doubt, she was the most beautiful woman among the group of women. "Damn, Brother Sun got the top quality one," a nearby bandit said enviously when he saw the woman's face. The other bandits also nodded their heads in agreement, especially the crooked-nosed bandit. He felt regret for giving Sun Qiang the first to choose. Sun Qiang laughed heartily and asked interestingly, "What's your name?" The woman's hands were shaken in fright, but she managed to answer, "My name is Yun Xi. Here is my daughter Yun Xian. Please don't hurt her. As long as you promise, I'll do as I said." She pointed at an 8-year-old girl with a ponytail among the group of children. Sun Qiang didn't bother to look at Yun Xian. His mouth crooked into a lustful grin as he said, "Sure." His answer brought Yun Xi relief, but his following sentence made her body turn cold instantly. Sun Qiang smiled mockingly and signaled the bandit beside him to get Yun Xian. He looked at Yun Xi and said, "If you're not obedient, I will kill your daughter." Bastard! Yun Huangxin was furious upon seeing this scene. She wanted to use her spatial jump if it wasn't because Yun Linchen stopped her first. "Calm down first. Check every corner up and see if there's any hidden passage." Contrasted to Yun Huangxin, Yun Linchen was calmer. It wasn't that he ignored those women's lives, but instead, he wanted to ensure no fish was slipping through the net. Yun Huangxin's spiritual sense swept through the entire camp, and a moment later, she was surprised to discover a hidden passage behind the bandit leader's residence. There is a hidden passage behind their leader's house. "Looks like it leads to that way." Yun Huangxin pointed to the east side of the hill that was covered by a dense forest. Yun Linchen immediately came with a plan. "Kangsu and I will go through the front gate. Xianxia, you go there to bring their leader here and don't forget to destroy his escape route. I want to ask him some questions. Xianxia hesitated for a moment. Although the strength of these bandits wasn't high, most of them were at the essence profound realm. She wasn't sure if both of them could handle it. Go, no need to worry, Yun Kaingsu said. Hearing this, Yun Huixin nodded her head and disappeared from the spot. Yun Kaingsu looked at Yun Linshan and asked, "Are you sure you can handle them?" Yun Linshan replied with a smile, "I want to know as well." Both of them sped up and rushed to the camp entrance. At this moment, one bandit went to the group of children and pulled Yun Xian out. "It hurts, mommy, help me." Yun Xian started crying when her hair was pulled by the bandit. Yun Xi's expression froze upon seeing her daughter got captured. She became desperate and pleaded, "Please don't hurt her." Sun Qiang laughed out loud when he saw Yun Xi's current appearance. He mocked, "I wonder if there's a hole in your brain. Aren't you too stupid? Do you think you are in the position to bargain with me? Tusk, people said a woman with big breasts is stupid. I believe it now," the crooked-nosed bandit chuckled. His eyes swept over Yun Xi's seductive body with desire. "Please, I'm begging you, let her go." Yun Xi cried anxiously as she could not bear to see her daughter getting hurt. Only now did she understand how stupid she was. "Sure, but you have to undress first." Sun Qiang licked his lips. What he loved the most was seeing a woman being desperate, especially a beautiful woman like Yun Xi. He wanted to humiliate her and turned her into his plaything. Yun Xi trembled in horror, but she bit her tongue to force herself to calm down. She looked at her tearful daughter, who was crying in pain, and finally made a decision. Bang. Just as she was about to undress, a loud bang could be heard from the entrance's direction. Everyone turned to look and saw the iron gate had been blown away, causing their expression to change drastically. "What's going on?" Sun Qiang's face turned serious. He gripped a long blade on his side tightly and told the bandit nearby him, "Go report the leader." All the present bandits stared at the entrance and saw a pair of men and women came to their sights. The man was quite tall, and the woman's figure was seductive enough to make the bandit unable to move their gazes away. Yun Linshan retracted his leg. Earlier, he used his physical strength purely to kick the iron gate and did not expect it to be this powerful. It seemed he needed to practice in a proper battle more to adjust his strength. He turned to Yun Kaingsu and said, "How about 50-50? I take the left side." Yun Kaingsu replied with a smile underneath her veil, "Sure." "Be careful," seeing both of them walked toward them casually, as if they came here to take a stroll after a meal. Sun Qiang carefully checked on them and discovered their strength was not high. The handsome man was only the 10th level of Foundation Profound Realm, and the seductive woman was the 6th level of Essence Profound Realm. Sun Qiang's body became relaxed upon discovering this. He stared at them and said loudly, "Who are you?" Yun Linshan ignored him and glanced at the captive women and children. First, he needed to make sure the bandits could not take them hostage. However, his current speed wasn't fast enough, hence he could only play with the idea of making the bandit underestimate him more. He turned to Sun Qiang and replied, "Of course, we are the ones who come to reap your life." Sun Qiang did not get angry. He looked at them with a disdain smile and said, "With just you, aren't you overestimate yourself?" Although Sun Qiang said this, he didn't dare to look down on Yun Linshan and Yun Kaingsu in the slightest. He believed they weren't stupid enough to provoke the Black Eagle bandit group with just the two of them. Sun Qiang said to several bandits on his side, "Go kill them." Whoosh. The bandits unsheathed their weapons and quickly charged at Yun Linshan and Yun Kaingsu. One of the bandits came closer and brandished his blade on Yun Linshan. The latter timely took a step back to avoid it and swiftly kicked at the bandit, sending him away. Sun Qiang was surprised slightly when he saw this because that bandit was the first level of Essence Profound Realm, but Yun Linshan could easily kick him away with a pure brute strength, sure enough. This man is not ordinary, he thought. However, just as Sun Qiang thought about this, he saw Yun Linshan was knocked away by another bandit in the second level of Essence Profound Realm, causing him to doubt his judgment. Sun Qiang frowned and shifted his gaze to Yun Kaingsu. He then discovered Yun Kaingsu had been suppressed by his comrades, unable to put up a fight. This scene made him confuse further. Sun Qiang then carefully looked around the place and did not see any of Yun Linshan's companions. Did I just meet two idiots? He couldn't help but think of this. "Brother, look at her body. She's definitely a top beauty," one bandit shouted as he swung his blade at Yun Kaingsu, causing the latter to retreat non-stop. "Everyone, work hard. We will have a good time tonight," another bandit yelled excitedly. His eyes were glued on Yun Kaingsu's seductive curves, unable to move away. Yun Kaingsu kept avoiding all the incoming attacks and occasionally fought back. Without discussing beforehand, Yun Kaingsu still knew Yun Linshan's thoughts and played along with his plan. Otherwise, these vulgar men would have been reduced to pieces already just by looking at her with that lecherous gaze. Sun Qiang observed the situation for a while before he concluded these two didn't have other companions. He rushed forward, locking on Yun Linshan. His aura surged and a flame lit on his long, sharp blade. Yun Linshan saw Sun Qiang coming for him, but he still didn't change his routine as he continued to act. He waited for the right moment to catch Sun Qiang off guard. Sun Qiang was relatively strong compared to other bandits. He had strength at the 9th level of Essence Profound Realm, only below Wu Xiu, the 1st level of Spirit Profound Realm. With Yun Linshan's current strength, he could fight Sun Qiang head-on, but in the premise, Sun Qiang didn't have any forbidden spell. Die 1,000 blades of flame, Sun Qiang shouted and brandished his flame sword at Yun Linshan. The flame blade in his hand produced 1,000 flame blade shadows charging at the target. Despite facing the scorching heat radiated from Sun Qiang's blade, Yun Linshan could feel a warm breeze instead. He was puzzled slightly, but understood it was related to his profound vein and the sun. Yun Linshan executed a newly learned movement technique, Shadow Step from the Shadow God scripture. Instantaneously, his figure blurred into a black mist and disappeared on the spot, causing Sun Qiang's blade shadows to miss the target. Boom! Sun Qiang's flame blade struck on the ground, instantly vaporized the surrounding snow into white mist. At this moment, he knew he had messed up. Yun Linshan had clearly baited him into action. He hid his strength for all this time. Roar. Before he could put up a defense, Sun Qiang heard a majestic dragon roar behind him as he felt a tremendous force struck on his back. Puff, blood splashed over the place. Sun Qiang saw a virtual blue dragon pass through his body, and that was the last scene he saw before his consciousness faded away completely. A large hole could be seen in his chest. All of his internal organs were wholly devoured by Yun Linshan's dragon fist. Brother Sun. The surrounding bandits had an unbelievable look as they stared at Sun Qiang's corpse. Fear crept into their hearts, making them shiver uncontrollably. Arg! When they were stunned by the fall of Sun Qiang, a misery scream rang out on the side, bringing them back to their sense. When they turned to look in the sound's direction, and their faces turned ghastly paled as they saw Yun Qiangsu beheaded her opponents one by one effortlessly. Only at this moment did they realize they had been toyed with all along. Puff, puff. Puff, whoever Yun Qiangsu pointed her finger at, their head was instantly pierced by a deep blue light shot out from her finger. Compared to the past, Yun Qiangsu's current strength was 10 times higher. Even when she was in the 10th level of Essence Profound Realm back then, it could not compare to her current 6th level at all. Yun Linshan seized this chance to make a move while the bandits were panicked. With their hearts occupied by overwhelming fear, the bandits could not fight back properly and were killed by Yun Linshan with little effort. 5 minutes later, not a single bandit was left behind. All the captive women looked at Yun Qiangsu and Yun Linshan in awe. When they came back to their sense, they started crying and knelt on the ground, expressing their gratitude toward Yun Linshan and Yun Qiangsu endlessly. Get up. Don't do this, take care of the children first. Yun Linshan quickly set up a fireplace, taking out food and hot water for them. Yun Qiangsu looked at the scene without saying anything. She was accustomed to this kind of event since she was young. Being a woman in this cruel world was considered a misfortune, especially with a beautiful appearance. If they didn't have the strength to protect themselves or were born with a weak background, their lives would be misery. Bang! Suddenly Wu Xiu's body fell from the sky and landed beside Yun Qiangsu, causing the captive women and children to shudder in fright. Yun Huangxin descended on the group and kicked Wu Xiu, who was barely alive, toward Yun Linshan and said plainly, "He's yours." Yun Linshan looked at Wu Xiu's miserable appearance. He immediately understood why it took Yun Huangxin so long to come back. It turned out she was busy torturing Wu Xiu for all this time. Spare me, Wu Xiu uttered weakly. Earlier, he was sleeping peacefully under the warm quilt. Who would have thought there was a woman who suddenly appeared out of nowhere and tortured him without giving him a chance to say anything? Yun Linshan used his feet to flip Wu Xiu's body. He stared into the latter's eyes and said, "I have a question for you. If your answer can satisfy me, I will spare you." Wu Xiu tried his best to nod his head, but his injury was too severe. He could only let out a low hum in reply. "When did you discover the abnormality on the crops?" Yun Linshan asked. Wu Xiu struggled to answer, but he could not say it out because of the injury. Yun Linshan looked at Yun Huangxin with a helpless expression, and the latter shrugged with an innocent expression as though she did nothing. Yun Linshan had no choice but to give Wu Xiu a healing pill. After a while, Wu Xiu had recovered a bit. He glanced at Yun Linshan, Yun Qiangsu, and Yun Huangxin, trying to figure out their identities. Yun Linshan slapped Wu Xiu's face and said coldly, "You don't have to waste your brain thinking. You will never know our identities, just answer my question." Wu Xiu wiped a trace of blood from his mouth and replied, It happened around 2 months ago along with the first snow. I don't know what happened exactly, but all the crops wilted immediately upon coming into contact with the snow. He took a deep breath and continued, it's not limited to this place. It happened everywhere around the Skyfall Nation. 2 months ago, poison in the snow. Yun Linshan touched his chin and pondered for a moment before he asked further, how did you know it happened throughout the entire nation? You have a backer, right? Wu Ziyu swallowed hard. He wanted to slap himself for slipping his tongue. He took a deep breath and glared at Yun Linshan fearlessly. Now you understood. My backer is not ordinary. I advise you to let me go immediately. Yun Linshan was speechless. He often complained about an author of those novels for making a stupid villain character. Now he encountered one by himself and did not know what to say for a moment. Seeing Yun Linshan went silent, Wu Ziyu thought he was scared and pretended to force, you should run away before my backer arrives here. Otherwise, he swept over Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huangxin with an evil grin. Smack. Yun Linshan ruthlessly slapped Wu Ziyu's face and said, are you stupid? When your backer comes, I would be long gone by then. Even I kill you here, they won't be able to find a single clue. You, Wu Ziyu roared angrily. He felt humiliated but powerless to fight back. Are you going to tell me or not? I don't want to waste my time here. Yun Linshan crossed his arms and asked. No, Wu Ziyu stubbornly refused to answer. However, he immediately regretted it. What was the point of acting tough when his life was in the opponent's hands? Very well, Yun Linshan let out a helpless sigh. He turned to Yun Huangxin and said, bring them into the building first. What I am going to do next is not suitable for children to see. Yun Huangxin nodded and led all the captive women and children into the building, leaving Yun Linshan and Yun Kaingsu behind. Yun Linshan took out a small knife and squatted down to Wu Ziyu's level as he lamented, why are you stubborn? I'm lazy to do this. Without warning, Yun Linshan stabbed Wu Ziyu's right thigh with the small knife, causing the latter to scream in pain. Yun Linshan then slowly twisted the knife, grinding the wound on Wu Ziyu's thigh. Ugh, Wu Ziyu groaned painfully. Without his profound strength, his body was no different from an ordinary mortal. On the side, a strange look appeared on Yun Kaingsu's face. She paid attention to Yun Linshan and discovered his heartbeat and expression were absolutely normal without the slightest fluctuation. It was as though he had been doing this for decades. Are you going to answer now? Yun Linshan asked coldly. Wu Ziyu gritted his teeth, unwilling to answer. However, when he saw Yun Linshan aim the knife at his crotch, he was scared witless and hurriedly said, I say. Yun Linshan said nothing and stared at Wu Ziyu coldly. Wu Ziyu took a deep breath and said, I am a servant of the Wang clan in the Imperial City. My master is the eldest son of the current patriarch Wang Jian. I would occasionally report the situation around this place to him. That's why I come to know about it. Wang clan, Yun Linshan took a note and asked further, what's the purpose of sending you here? Wu Ziyu hesitated for a moment before he answered truthfully. He wants me to rob a merchant caravan from Greenleaf Town along the way toward the Imperial City. Of course, we didn't dare to fight head-on with those official caravans. We only need to create trouble for them from time to time. Yun Linshan touched his chin, pondering over the matter. He did not quite understand why this young master Wang would do this. Seeing Yun Linshan fell into deep thought, Wu Ziyu started to move his hand, trying to get a transmission jade within his shoe. Suddenly, he felt a chill running down his spine and saw Yun Kaingsu stared at him with killing intent. At this moment, he ultimately gave up the idea. In any case, he wasn't their opponent. Naturally, Wu Ziyu's action didn't escape from Yun Linshan's eyes, but he did nothing. Instead, he asked, tell me about the general situation within the Imperial City. This time, Wu Ziyu didn't hesitate anymore. Excluding the Tian royal clan, there are 4 influential clans in the Imperial City, namely Wang, Yi, Qin, and Li clan. Among them, our Wang clan has the most influence in the city. Most of the food industry is in our hands. We also connect with the Tian royal clan as our eldest young mistress has married the current crown prince. As for other clans, they're engaging in various businesses, but their influences are not strong as our Wang clan. Talking to this point, Wu Ziyu had a proud expression on his face. Even though he was just a servant, he always treated the Wang clan as his own. Controlling food industry, daughter-in-law of the Tian royal clan, Yun Linshan seemed to figure out the conspiracy behind it, but it was just his own guess. He asked further, as far as I know, the current ruler of the nation hasn't married anyone. Where is this crown prince comes from? Wu Ziyu shook his head. I don't know about it as well. After all, I'm just a lowly servant. Yun Linshan nodded. He believed Wu Ziyu didn't dare to hide anything from him. All right, I'm done with the question. You can leave now, Yun Linshan said. Wu Ziyu hesitated and probed. Is it true? I can leave now? Yun Linshan nodded his head and then shook his head. Well, I need you to do something first. Wu Ziyu was elated and hurriedly asked, you can tell me, I will do it. Now, repeat what I said. My name is Wu Ziu. I am a lowly servant of the Wang clan. I love playing with women, Yun Linshan said with a faint smile. Wu Ziu was puzzled. Why would Yun Linshan want to do this? It wasn't only him. Yun Kangsu was confused as well. Wu Ziu quickly repeated what Yun Linshan had said earlier. When he finished his sentence, he looked at Yun Linshan with expectation. He couldn't wait to leave this place. Yun Linshan coughed slightly to adjust his voice and said, My name is Wu Ziu. I am a lowly servant of the Wang clan. I love playing with women. Both Yun Kangsu and Wu Ziu were instantly dumbfounded because Yun Linshan's current voice was exactly the same as Wu Ziu's. Why you? Wu Ziu was paled in fright. He knew what Yun Linshan going to do by imitating his voice was. Without a doubt, he had no chance to live further. Yun Linshan nodded his head in satisfaction and smiled at Wu Ziu. All right, you can go now. Following that, he swiftly cut Wu Ziu's throat with the small knife in his hand. Wu Ziu struggled to cover the wound on his neck, but it was futile as his life force gradually left his body. His bloodshot eyes stared at Yun Linshan with fear, horror, and hatred until his last breath. What a mess! Yun Linshan looked at the bloodstain on his clothes and said with annoyance. He then took the transmission jade out of Wu Ziu's shoe and stored it away. Yun Linshan didn't plan to meddle with the Wang clan's business, but it was no harm taking this. In case he could get some information in the near future. Yun Kangsu stared at Yun Linshan without blinking. Although voice imitation wasn't something out of the ordinary, the way Yun Linshan did it was too strange. He hadn't used any profound technique at all. Yun Linshan turned to her and was confused. He didn't understand why did Yun Kangsu look at him with that expression. What's wrong? Yun Linshan asked. As far as he knew, voice imitation should be something ordinary. Yun Kangsu shouldn't be surprised by this, right? How did you do that? Yun Kangsu asked back. You mean the voice imitation? Well, it's related to my past. Yun Linshan replied vaguely, as though he was unwilling to go through the detail. Yun Linshan said nothing on this matter further as she was aware of it. She changed the topic. What are we going to do now? Are you going to involve with this? Yun Linshan shook his head. I'm not going to meddle with whatever conspiracy behind it. I just prepare for it, in case we encounter the Wang clan in the future. He paused briefly and continued. I think this Wang clan is trying to overthrow the Tian royal clan. They probably want to cut the food supply within the imperial city. Coincidentally, well, maybe it's their deeds as well. This poison incident occurred very timely. Yun Kangsu followed. You mean this Wang clan wants to starve citizens to death and put the pressure on the Tian royal clan? At the same time, they can make a huge profit. Everyone will flock to them for food. Yun Linshan smiled. That's right, not to mention Wang clan's daughter has married into the royal clan. There's a high chance that the crown prince is the main conspirator. Anyway, it's just our guess, and this has nothing to do with us. Let's go. Yun Linshan brought Yun Kangsu into the building. At this moment, all the captive women and children were squeezed together around a fireplace in the middle. Done, Yun Huangxin asked when she saw both of them coming. Yun Linshan gave the nod in reply. How many people here? Yun Huangxin replied. There are a total of 63 adults and 22 children. None of them is a practitioner. Yun Linshan swept over all the captives and pondered what he should do with them. Seeing Yun Linshan went silent, the captives were nervous. Suddenly, Yun Ci stood up and said nervously, Young master, thank you for helping us. I don't know if young master has a plan for us. Everyone looked at Yun Linshan nervously. They knew if he wanted to do anything to them, they had no power to resist. They could only hope Yun Linshan will let them go. Yun Linshan looked at Yun Ci with surprise. She was brave enough to ask him the question, showing she didn't fear death. Yun Huangxin didn't tell him about Yun Ci's incident earlier. Otherwise, Yun Linshan would doubt if she was brave or stupid. He asked, What is your name? Yun Ci's tense body became relaxed. It seemed Yun Linshan wasn't a bad person. She replied, My name is Yun Ci from Clear River Village. Surname Yun? Yun Linshan was surprised slightly. He didn't expect to meet someone with the same surname as him here. He asked further, What are you going to do next? Going back to your village? Yun Ci shook her head sadly. There's no village anymore. Oh, sorry to hear that, Yun Linshan said apologetically. Thinking about it again, it was impossible for Wu Ziu and his gang to leave the villagers alive. What about all of you? Yun Linshan looked at other captives. I don't know, one of the captive women said and started sobbing. Everyone in her family was killed by Wu Ziu already. She didn't know what to do with her life from now on. One by one expressed the exact words. They simply had no idea what to do further. Seeing this, Yun Linshan gave an idea. How about this? I am currently heading to Green Leaf Town. If all of you didn't mind, you could live in the town afterward. Of course, I will give the money to you. There should be a lot of money left behind by the bandits. I know where to find it. Suddenly, a plump woman raised her hand. She was the one who interacted with the bandits. Yun Linshan nodded and asked everyone again, How about it? Yun Ci hesitated and pulled her daughter closer. She looked at Yun Linshan and thinking of something. At this moment, Yun Kaingsu walked toward Yun Ci and stared at her face for a while before she asked, "May I know what's your mother's name?" Yun Ci looked at Yun Kaingsu confusedly and could not see her expression underneath the veil. She answered truthfully, "My mother's name is Yun Zilu." Hearing Yun Ci's answer, Yun Kaingsu's expression underneath the veil abruptly changed into shock. "Yun Zilu, don't tell me, no wonder I find her face familiar," Yun Huangxin muttered while staring at Yun Ci's face in astonishment. Yun Kaingsu took a deep breath and asked, "Your father is Mu Weijai, right?" Yun Ci's eyes widened open. "Senior, you know my parents." Yun Kaingsu was silent for a moment before she replied, "Yes, I know them very well." Ci thoughtfully and wondered about the relationship between her mother and the Misty Cloud sect. "Senior, what do you mean?" Yun Ci asked with surprise. "This is not a place to talk about this," Yun Kaingsu said and brought Yun Ci and Yun Xian away to the side room, following by Yun Huangxin. Yun Linshan didn't follow in. He brought the plump woman to a treasury instead. Under the plump woman's guidance, they arrived in front of a room with a sturdy iron door. When Yun Linshan successfully broke the iron door, he was surprised by the number of valuable items in the room. There were around 10 million gold coins and various essence rank weapons. It was no wonder why these bandits all had essence rank weapons in their hands. The plump woman looked around the place with a bit of greed, but she didn't dare to do anything. She could only watch Yun Linshan magically stored everything away. Yun Linshan saw through her thoughts. He smiled at her and said, "Don't worry, I won't take anything for myself." The plump woman hurriedly waved her hand. No. Even if young master wants to take all of them, I have nothing to say. After all, it should be your reward in the first place. Yun Linshan chuckled and felt this woman was good at adaptation. He asked, "What's your name?" The plump woman replied, "My name is Feng Yu. I used to live in Greenleaf Town and I was captured by these beasts when I followed the merchant caravan out a month ago." "I see. Do you know what's the situation in the town back then?" Yun Linshan was slightly surprised by Feng Yu's background. He wanted to know the general situation in the Greenleaf Town before going, and now it was convenient to ask her. "Yes, young master, the situation is similar to this place. Everyone hadn't expected something like this to happen and had no time to harvest all the crops. Fortunately, the town has an enormous amount of supplies in reserve. Otherwise, everyone would be starved to death by now." Feng Yu took a breather and continued, "Everything was fine until a month ago. We got an imperial order from the crown prince to send an unreasonable amount of food to the imperial city. That's why I had to go out with the caravan." Hearing this, Yun Linshan's suspicions on the crown prince and the Wang clan grew further. Now he was 90% sure they had conspired together. "Thank you for telling me this," Yun Linshan said politely. Feng Yu shook her head. "I should be the one who says this. If young master hadn't come here, I don't know how long I have to endure it." After saying this, Feng Yu started to cry. Although she looked strong on the outside, she was fragile deep down. She managed to hold on until now because she wanted to see her parents again. Yun Linshan let her cry, giving no consolation. He understood any word was useless in this situation. It was the same as someone told a disorderly patient to stop thinking. It was impossible to stop it just by saying so. A while later, Feng Yu stopped crying, wiping all the tears away and bowed at Yun Linshan. "Thank you for saving me." Yun Linshan hurriedly helped her up. "I didn't do anything much." "You don't have to be like this." Truthfully, it wasn't his plan to begin with. Everything was Yun Huangxin's idea and he just followed, hence he didn't think he deserved this gratitude. "Let's go. I'll have to trouble you to take care of everyone when we reach the Greenleaf Town," Yun Linshan said with a smile and led Feng Yu out of the treasury. In the side room, Yun Huangxin set up an isolation barrier and went to sit on a chair beside Yun Kaingsu and Yun Ci. As for Yun Xian, she was obediently sat on Yun Ci's lap, looking at Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huangxin curiously. "Can you tell me now, senior, what's the relationship between you and my parents?" Yun Ci asked. She was eager to know about this. When she was young, her parents once told her about their past, but it was vague. She only knew that they originally lived in the Heavenly Fortune Nation and moved to this place for a particular reason. Yun Kaingsu was silent for a while before removing the veil, revealing her celestial countenance to Yun Ci. The latter was stunned and subconsciously uttered, "So beautiful." Even she was a woman, Yun Ci was still fascinated by Yun Kaingsu's beautiful appearance. She always thought her mother was the most beautiful woman she had ever seen, but Yun Kaingsu's beauty definitely surpassed her mother. Yun Kaingsu smiled slightly and said, "Your mother, Yun Zilu, is my senior sister. She used to be the Misty Cloud sect's disciple." Misty Cloud sect, Yun Ci had grown up in the Clear River village for her whole life. She never heard about the Misty Cloud sect before. Yun Kaingsu had a complicated complexion as she asked, "Is she still alive?" Yun Ci lowered her head and shook her head slightly. I don't know. My parents had gone missing 5 years ago when they went out to hunt. Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huingxin immediately frowned. They knew Yun Xilu and Mu Weizhai's strengths very well. Except for Skyfall Empress, they didn't think anyone could threaten them in the Skyfall Nation, but even so, they could easily escape if they wanted to. Then how could they go missing in such a barren place like this? Senior, can you tell me more about my parents? Yun Ci raised her head and asked earnestly. Yun Kaingsu didn't tell her immediately. She asked instead, before I tell you, can you tell me about your situation first? She looked at the adorable girl on Yun Ci's lap and said, where is your husband? Yun Ci lowered her head to look at her daughter and patted the girl's head lovingly. She replied, actually, Xioner is not my daughter. Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huingxin were surprised and then started to concern, as this matter shouldn't be said in front of Yun Xian. Surprisingly, Yun Xian suddenly spoke in a crisp voice, don't worry, aunties, Xioner knows this. What a sensible girl, Yun Huingxin exclaimed. She didn't expect this 8-year-old little girl to read the situation well, as both she and Yun Kaingsu didn't even show a trace of worry on their faces. Yun Ci said further, Xioner's parents had unfortunately passed away when she was 1 year old, and I've decided to take her as my daughter. The village head fears that she would have a knot when she grows up. He changed Xioner's surname to mine instead and prevent everyone from mentioning her parents again so that she could think I am her biological mother. But Xioner later heard people talking about the incident back then, and she came to me. I think it's unfair to her parents and she deserves to know the truth. So I told her everything and prepared for the worst. However, who would have thought Xioner is so sensible and understand worldly matters very well? Yun Ci smiled and gave Yun Xian a kiss on her cheek, making the girl giggle adorably. Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huingxin looked at this mother-daughter pair with a smile. The scene had brought people warmth and chased away the cold. Yun Kaingsu nodded her head, so that's how it is. Yun Ci stopped playing with her daughter and looked at Yun Kaingsu, waiting for her explanation. This time, Yun Kaingsu didn't delay it further. She narrated, around 30 years ago, your mother, senior sister Xilu, was a top talented disciple of the Misty Cloud sect. She was praised often by the Grand Sect Master, and everyone viewed her as the future sect master. It was until one day, she went out to do a mission and happened to meet your father, Mu Weizhai. At that time, your father had a fatal wound on his body and was on the verge of dying. Senior sister Xilu helped him out of kindness and stayed to protect him until he recovered. Later, both of them had journeyed together and somehow fell in love with each other. I don't know the detail during this period, but when senior sister Xilu returned to the sect, she immediately went to find Grand Sect Master and requested to leave the sect. She wanted to marry your father. Yun Ci was shocked upon hearing this. She didn't expect her mother to be a profound practitioner and a talented one on top of it. Several questions appeared in her mind. She didn't understand why her mother didn't teach her how to practice and always told her to live an ordinary life. Yun Kaingsu continued, although the Misty Cloud sect didn't forbid disciple to fall in love, it doesn't mean we will let the matter go as though nothing happened. Grand Sect Master didn't give her permission because she thought senior sister Xilu was confused at the moment and hadn't thought it through yet. Since then, Grand Sect Master had forbidden senior sister Xilu from stepping out of the sect. When everyone thought senior sister Xilu has completely forgotten Mu Weizhai, he suddenly appeared and barged into the sect with all his might. He demanded us to let senior sister Xilu leave the sect. Even though Mu Weizhai was strong, he still wasn't the sect elder's opponent and got beaten until he couldn't move. When senior sister Xilu knew this, she came out protecting him and tried to use her life in exchange for Mu Weizhai's life. Of course, Grand Sect Master wasn't an unreasonable person. She could see the feelings between them were genuine and decide to let them leave, but they have to leave the Heavenly Fortune Nation in the condition. Since then, I never saw senior sister Xilu again. Yun Kaingsu let out a long sigh and said, who would have thought she chooses to live nearby the border? It seems she still has a feeling for the sect. Back then, Yun Kaingsu admired Yun Xilu the most. It could be said Yun Xilu was her idol, and even though everyone deemed her a once-in-a-century talent, Yun Kaingsu never thought she was better than Yun Xilu. When Yun Xilu left the sect, Yun Kaingsu didn't understand why did she choose this way. Only when she met Yun Linshan did she understand Yun Xilu's decision back then. Everyone pursued profound strength and possessed a power that surpassed mortal, but they had forgotten they were still human. They would never be able to get rid of the thing called emotion. Even a divine being might not be able to. Yun Ci was fascinated by the story of her parents. Both of them had gone through a lot before they finally got together and gave birth to her as a symbol of love. Sadly, she didn't know where they were now. Yun Kaingsu saw Yun Ci's sad expression. She comforted, don't worry. With their strength, few people can harm them. There must be a reason behind this. We will help you find them. Yun Xiai raised her head to look at Yun Kaingsu and gave her a bow. Thank you, senior. Yun Kaingsu waved her hand and said, your senior sister Xilu's daughter. That means you're also my niece. You can call me better call me elder sister Kaingsu. Yun Huangxin was rendered speechless by Yun Kaingsu's shamelessness. Ah. Sorry, elder sister Kaingsu. Yun Xiai burst into laughter first and realized she was a bit rude. Since you called me elder sister, I'll forgive you. Yun Kaingsu was amused. Knock, knock. Suddenly, a knocking sound rang out, and Yun Huangxin quickly removed the isolation barrier. When the door opened, Yun Linshan walked into the room and looked at them in puzzlement as he saw they were in a good mood. Did I miss something? Yun Linshan asked with a smile. Yun Kaingsu turned to Yun Xiai and said, I'll introduce you first. This is our current sect master, Yun Linshan. She then introduced Yun Xiai to Yun Linshan. After listening to Yun Kaingsu's narration, Yun Linshan was amazed. There's such a love story. As a man who lived on Earth where many people believing there was no true love in the world, encountering this kind of true love story by himself was quite novel. Yun Linshan had read many romantic plots in Xianxia novels before. The story between Yun Xilu and Mu Weizhai wasn't anything new, but he was genuinely admired them. Thinking of this, a memory of a particular figure appeared in Yun Linshan's mind. I wonder how she is now, Yun Linshan thought. When Yun Kaingsu saw his longing expression, she suddenly felt lost in her heart. She didn't know who that person was in his mind, but that person was definitely important to him. Perhaps he already has someone in his heart, she thought. Yun Linshan came back to his sense and asked, what's the plan now? Yun Kaingsu put her messy thoughts aside and replied, I want to take them in. What do you think? Yun Linshan pondered for a moment and gave an answer, no problem. He then turned to Yun Xiai and said, welcome to the Misty Cloud sect. Naturally, Yun Linshan won't reveal the land of beyond heaven to her yet. Even though she was the daughter of Yun Xilu, he still needed to observe her personality first. Yun Kaingsu understood this point and did not say anything further. She admitted this decision was a bit selfish, but she couldn't simply leave Yun Xiai and her daughter alone. After all, she was the daughter of her idol. Yun Xiai was elated and hurriedly brought Yun Xian to kowtow at Yun Linshan. Disciple Yun Xiai greets sect master. The little girl Yun Xian was smartly imitated her mother's action and said, Disciple Yun Xian greets sect master. As a man from Earth, Yun Linshan felt uncomfortable every time seeing people kneeling. He helped both of them up and said, we will talk about the sect's rules later. Yun Linshan turned to Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huangxin. We will rest here tonight. I'll trouble you to help everyone clean up. He was a man, after all. It was inconvenient for him to prepare a bath for them. Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huangxin accepted the task and went out of the room, along with Yun Xiai and Yun Xian. Yun Linshan sat on the chair, pondering his next move. If he guessed correctly, the situation in Greenleaf Town was not optimistic. There was a high chance he would be dragged into a conspiracy. Even so, he still needed to go there. Greenleaf Town undoubtedly remained the best choice to find spirit plant seeds, and he couldn't just bring these captives to other places. After Yun Linshan made his decision, he stood up, setting an isolation formation before calling the gate of beyond heaven and going in. A moment later, he arrived in the library and said, Lin, can you find heaven-ranked profound arts that are suitable with a woman in general for me? Wait for a moment, master. Lin replied and went to search for the profound arts. Here they are, master, Lin said, and several heaven-ranked profound arts appeared on the screen. Yun Linshan skimmed through for a while and chose some of them. These profound arts were suitable for any profound vein. Even the practitioners had no talent, they could still reach the heaven profound realm in their lifetimes. He intended to give these profound arts to the captive women and children so that they could have a better life. This was the only thing he could do for them. Even though Yun Linshan could bring them to live in the land of beyond heaven forever, he wouldn't expose his secret just because he sympathized with them. He wasn't a saint. He couldn't help everyone in the world. Yun Linshan flipped through the profound arts and memorized them one by one. He would use the enlightening guide technique on the captives later. Unknowingly, an hour passed by. Yun Linshan had memorized all the 5 profound arts and went out of the land of beyond heaven. His figure appeared in the side room, and he quickly dispersed the isolation formation before he went to the main hall. At this moment, all the captives had changed into new thick clothes as they sat around the fireplace, chatting with each other. When they saw Yun Linshan appeared in the hall, they abruptly stood up and greeted him. You're here, young master. Yun Linshan greeted back with a nod and called Yun Huangxin. What is it? Yun Huangxin asked. I want you to check everyone's profound vein and group them together. I'll give them a profound art, Yun Linshan explained. Yun Huangxin smiled and spread her spiritual sense to check everyone. Isn't it a bit risky? Yun Kaingsu arrived beside Yun Linshan and asked. In her opinion, giving a profound art away like this was a risky move. After all, she didn't know their personality well. What if they betrayed his kindness later? Yun Linshan gave her a reassuring smile. Don't worry, with the enlightening guide technique, they could only tell our identity at most. At that time, we would be long gone. Yun Kaiengsu said nothing further. She knew Yun Linshan was the type who proceeded with caution in his every move. Hence, she believed he had thought it through already. 10 minutes later, Yun Huangxin completely grouped the women and children according to element affinity. Yun Linshan stood in front of everyone and said, I am going to give all of you something. I hope you can have a good life from now on. Following that, Yun Linshan's body glowed in white light. When he pointed his finger at the group of women on the leftmost, their bodies were immediately shrouded with white light. They could feel information poured into their minds like a torrent, causing them to shut their eyes involuntarily. When the white light had disappeared, they suddenly opened their eyes and felt they could enter the profound ways. At this moment, they immediately understood what was Yun Linshan gave to them. They stood up and bowed at Yun Linshan while saying in unison, Thank you, young master. Yun Linshan accepted their gratitude and proceeded to do the same with the rest. Now all of you can practice. I hope you won't use your power in a wrong way, Yun Linshan said to everyone after finishing the process. All the women and children expressed their understanding. They gave Yun Linshan a promise and couldn't wait to start practice right away. For ordinary people like them, even though they were qualified to practice, they couldn't get a hand on a profound art anyway. What Yun Linshan gave to them was akin to giving them a new lease on life. They would remember this gratitude in their hearts forever. Amidst heavy snow, several horse carriages moved along with the main road, heading toward north. At the leading carriage, Yun Linshan controlling the horse while Yun Huangxin had occasionally thrown a fireball to melt the snow on the path ahead. Don't you think it's a bit strange? There are too many profound beasts here, said Yun Kaiengsu, who sat beside Yun Linshan. Yun Linshan also thought the same, but I found nothing. These profound beasts didn't seem to get any stimulation as I thought. It had been 3 days since they left the Black Eagle bandit camp. Along the way, they had encountered several essence and spirit profound beasts. It was understandable if the profound beast was desperately trying to find food, but Yun Linshan later found their stomachs were full. This showed that they weren't blindly attacking Yun Linshan's group out of hunger. Furthermore, from Feng Yu's words, a profound beast rarely appeared near the main road, even during the winter. Yun Linshan tried to figure out the cause behind all of this, but even with his medical skill couldn't find anything out of the profound beast. It was the same as he couldn't find any trace of poison within the wilted crops. I think we've bumped into a continent-level conspiracy now, Yun Linshan said with a trace of worry. He wasn't an alarmist, but everything he encountered so far had pointed in this direction. Of course, he could hide in the land of beyond heaven if something really happened, but could he hide for the rest of his life? The answer was no. Yun Kaiengsu and Yun Huangxin were also agreed with Yun Linshan. They had lived for many years, and this was the first time they had witnessed something like this. They couldn't imagine how terrifying the person behind all of this was. Time passed by, the row of carriages gradually entering the Green Leaf Town's territory. Yun Linshan looked ahead through the heavy snow and saw a silhouette of stone walls 100 meters away. He urged the horse to speed up and arrived in front of a huge stone gate with the words "Welcome to Green Leaf Town" carved on it. Before the gate, 4 people in thick fur clothes stood around a fireplace. When they saw Yun Linshan's carriage approaching them, one of them took a step forward and raised his hand to stop Yun Linshan. Stop, I am the guard leader. Please tell me your name and your purpose for visiting our Green Leaf Town, the guard leader said. Yun Linshan got off the carriage with Yun Kaiengsu and Yun Huangxin. He cupped his fists and said, Hello, big brother. My name is Yizu, and this is my sisters, Yizu and Yizin. We happened to meet a bandit group along the way, and we've eliminated them. He then pointed to several carriages behind him. I've rescued all the captive women and children, and I plan to send them here. After all, their villages have been destroyed already. The guard leader stared at Yun Linshan for a while and signaled his comrades to check every carriage. Are you Miss Feng? Suddenly, one of the guards exclaimed in surprise when he saw Feng Yu stepped out of the carriage. It's me, Feng Yu nodded her head. Yun Linshan was surprised slightly. He thought Feng Yu was an ordinary merchant and didn't expect her to be this influential. Even the guard could recognize her, which means her identity was not ordinary as she told him. Feng Yu strode forward to Yun Linshan's side and said to the man, I am Feng Yu, the eldest daughter of Feng Trading Hall. She then showed a small jade token with the word Feng engraved on it to the guard. The guard leader carefully checked the token and respectfully returned it to Feng Yu. He said with a smile, It turned out to be Miss Feng, but I wonder how did you appear here along with them? Feng Yu explained, It's a long story. In short, I was robbed by the bandit, and this young Master Yi saved me. Can we go in now? There are many children here. I am worried they might catch a cold. Ah, yes, please enter. The guard leader hastily stepped aside and made an inviting gesture. Feng Yu smiled slightly and turned to Yun Linshan. Young Master Yi, you can follow me to my house. I will arrange a residence for everyone. What do you think? There was a trace of excitement in her voice. It seemed she couldn't wait to see her parents again. Yun Linshan looked at this plump woman in front of him and admired her inwardly. After going through all the pain, she could still hold herself together and didn't lose her mind. This showed her mentality was extremely strong. Then I'll have to trouble Miss Feng. Yun Linshan accepted her invitation. Since Feng Yu's family was operating the trading hall, finding spirit plant seeds would be more convenient with her helps. Yun Linshan and the rest went back to the carriage and entered through the town's gate. What came to Yun Linshan first was a tidied gravel street full of people. Some were talking and walking, and some were clearing snow out of the streets. There were several stores and inns on both sides, bustling with customers. Is this place really a town? Yun Huingxin looked around in surprise because this town was no different from a small city at all. Yun Linshan and Yun Kaiangsu were also thought the same. The scale of this town was on par with those small cities. They didn't seem to have a food shortage. Yun Linshan was puzzled when he saw many stalls were selling food in full swing, as though they never suffered from the poisoning incident. Feng Yu, who sat inside Yun Linshan's carriage, was confused as well. Before she left this place 1 month ago, everyone was still discussed how to lower food consumption. However, the scene in front of her says otherwise. What's going on? Feng Yu muttered in puzzlement. She then told Yun Linshan, Young Master Yi, please turn left ahead. For this matter, I will ask my parents about it. Yun Linshan nodded and controlled the carriage, heading toward Feng Yu's residence. The carriages moved along the streets and arrived in front of a large manor. Feng Yu was so excited. She jumped off the carriage and arrived in front of the manor. Before she could enter the manor, 2 guards quickly came forward and stopped her. Who are you? Feng Yu was taken aback and carefully looked at the guards. When she found they were unfamiliar, she took out the token and showed them. I am Feng Yu. 2 guards received the token and examined it for a while before they returned to Feng Yu and said respectfully, Sorry, miss. We are new here. Feng Yu didn't hold them on the account and asked, Are my parents here? The guard nodded. Yes, miss, do you want me to report master? Feng Yu waved her hand and said, I'll go by myself. Oh right, let these carriages in. They're my friend. 2 guards looked at the row of carriages and said, Understood. Miss Feng Yu returned to Yun Linshan and said, Young Master Yi, I'll go report my parents first. I'll prepare a courtyard for everyone. You can rest there for the time being. Yun Linshan nodded. Thank you. Feng Yu smiled and entered the manor. The 2 guards came to Yun Linshan and brought all the carriages into the manor. Feng Manor was vast enough to contain 1,000 people with no problem. Several separated courtyards were located on the east side, and Yun Linshan's group was arranged to be here. After settling everyone, Yun Linshan, Yun Kaiangsu, and Yun Huingxin sat around a table in the living room. As for Yun Xiai and Yun Xian, both of them had slept soundly in the bedroom. The strongest person in this town has strength at the 7th level of Earth Profound Realm. As for this manor, there are 2 people in the early level of Origin Profound Realm, Yun Huingxin said. Since she entered the town, she spread her spiritual sense to every corner and got this information. Did you find out the content between Feng Yu and her parents? Yun Linshan asked. Yun Huingxin shook her head. It's weird. There is a powerful isolation barrier there. This level of the barrier shouldn't exist in this place. Oh, Yun Linshan was surprised slightly. He knew an ordinary Earth-level isolation formation could not block Yun Huingxin's powerful spiritual sense, which meant there was a heaven-level formation in this manner. Then there should be a hidden character in this town. We will leave right away after we get the items. Yun Linshan concluded. Suddenly, Yun Huingxin abruptly said, Someone's coming. Following that, a knocking sound rang out from the door's direction, along with a female voice. Young Master Yi, Miss Feng has invited you to the main hall. Please come with me. All right, please wait for a minute. Yun Linshan replied and turned to Yun Huingxin. Can you secretly bring those women and children out of the town? Yun Huingxin was confused. Why? Yun Linshan answered, I think there will be something happen soon. This is purely based on my intuition. He always felt something was amiss since entering the town. His intuition told him to get out of this place, coupled with the guards' behavior earlier. Even if they were new, they should have known about Feng Yu's missing incident, but their action was too normal. It was as though Feng Yu had never gone missing. Yun Huingxin nodded. I can, but where to put them? Yun Linshan asked Yun Huingxin to guard the surroundings and summoned the gate of Beyond Heaven. He went in for a minute and came out with Yun Meilan and Yun Lingwei. Are we in the Green Leaf Town? Yun Lingwei looked around curiously. Yun Linshan shook his head. There's no time. Xianxia, you bring Lingwei out of the town and find a suitable place to build a temporary shelter for everyone. And Meilin, I know this is a dangerous task, but I have no choice. I'll have to trouble you gathering information around the town as much as you can. Yun Meilin replied, no problem. Yun Linshan looked at Yun Xianxia and said, we can slowly transfer them away in a group of 3 and leave some of them behind, just in case. After sending Lingwei and Meilin out, you come back here directly. Yun Xianxia expressed her understanding and quickly brought Yun Meilin and Yun Lingwei out of the Feng Manor with her spatial power. Why are you so sure? Yun Xianxia asked. She didn't understand why Yun Linshan had to deploy this extreme measure. Yun Linshan smiled. There's no harm in preparing for the worst, right? And I think you will know soon. Let's go. Following that, Yun Linshan and Yun Xianxia followed the female servant to the main hall. Along the way, Yun Linshan observed everything and found the heaven-level formation that covering the entire manor. Sure enough, there is a heaven profound formation master here, and there is a killing formation as well, he thought. He exchanged a glance with Yun Xianxia, and the latter understood his meaning. The two of them stepped into the spacious main hall and saw several people sitting around a long, luxurious table full of delicacies. Their arrival attracted everyone's attention, especially Yun Xianxia, as her hair was uncommon white. Not to mention her seductive figure that could easily arouse men's desires. Big sis, who is she? Said a handsome young man in a blue robe who sat beside Feng Yu. A trace of envy flashed across Feng Yu's eyes as she replied, she is his sister. Her name is Yi Zhu. She glanced at her younger brother and asked, what, you have an idea about her? The young man, Feng Yi, scratched his head in embarrassment, but a desire in his eyes was evident. If it was possible, he had undoubtedly wanted this charming woman. You must be young Master Yi and young Miss Yi, said a dignified middle-aged man who sat on the head seat. He was Feng Yu's father, Feng Qi. Yun Linshan cupped his fists and greeted politely. This junior is Yi Zhu, and this is my sister, Yi Zhu. We greet Feng Patriarch. Feng Qi waved his hands dismissively. Nephew Yi, can I call you this? You don't have to be polite to me, just call me Uncle Feng. Seeing Yun Linshan nodded, suddenly Feng Qi stood up and bowed at Yun Linshan. Thank you, Nephew Yi, for saving my daughter. If you desire anything, please feel free to tell me. I will definitely fulfill it. Feng Qi's voice and actions were extremely sincere. Anyone who saw this would unquestionably believe him. Unfortunately, if it wasn't because Yun Linshan detected a trace of poison within the food, he would believe him too. Yun Linshan laughed coldly in his heart. It looked like his intuition was on point. He hurriedly got into an act as he said anxiously, please don't do this, Uncle Feng. Helping Miss Feng is just a matter of raising my hand. I never expect any rewards in return. Feng Qi straightened his body and smiled. Good young man. Father, why don't we let young Master Yi sit first? Feng Yu grabbed her father's sleeves and whispered. Feng Qi slapped his forehead and said with laughter, ah, look at how rude I am. Please take a seat, young Master Yi and young Miss Yi. Yun Linshan smiled faintly and grabbed Yun Xianxia's hand before bringing her to the arranged seats. He secretly scratched her hand, sending her a signal. Yun Xianxia turned to him and gave him a smile, showing she understood the situation. Hello, young Master Yi and young Miss Yi. My name is Feng Yi. I am Big Sis Yu's younger brother. I'm here to give you a toast for saving my sister. Feng Yi stood up and drained a cup of wine in one go. His face was flushed slightly, and his eyes swept over Yun Xianxia in a flash before he said, I heard young Master Yi's heroic deeds from my sister. She keeps praising you nonstop since she returned. He chuckled and looked at Feng Yu, who was blushed shyly. Yun Linshan smiled faintly. He took a cup of wine in front of him and said, as I said before, this is nothing. You don't have to be polite. I'll return you a toast. Following that, he emptied the cup directly under Yun Xianxia's worried gaze. A trace of surprise flashed across Feng Yi's eyes and then replaced with contempt. He thought Yun Linshan was clever, as Feng Yu said, but it seemed he had overestimated him. The reason Yun Linshan dared to drink the poisoned wine was that he recognized it. This poison was called the mindless poison. Whoever had taken this poison in would feel as though they were drunk and could not maintain their consciousness properly. However, Feng Yi and the rest didn't know that Yun Linshan was a body-refining practitioner. This type of inferior poison could not harm him in the slightest. Plus, they had underestimated him greatly just because he was only the 10th level of Foundation Profound Realm. Had it been a more potent poison, he wouldn't dare to take a risk. That was why he didn't feel anxious upon discovering the poison. Seeing Yun Linshan had taken poison, Feng Qi disregarded Yun Xianxia, who was only the Essence Profound Realm, and asked, I don't know where his young Master Yi come from. Yun Linshan acted as if the poison had kicked in. He shook his head to regain the clarity and answered, my sister and I come from the Yi clan of the Imperial City. Feng Qi's eyes widened open and he asked, can you prove your identity? What do you mean? Are you suspecting us? Yi Xianxia suddenly raised her voice. Feng Qi didn't get angry and said with a smile, "Please pardon my rudeness, young Miss Yi. I have no ill intention. I just want to make sure if both of you are truly the member of the Yi clan." He then changed his tone. "I've done business with patriarchy in the past. I wonder if he is your father?" Crack. All of a sudden, Yun Linshan squeezed the wine cup into pieces and yelled angrily, "Don't talk about that heartless man." His expression was distorted in a fury. His actions shocked everyone and they looked at Yun Linshan, waiting for his explanation. Yun Linshan took a breath and said, "We, brother and sisters, are his illegitimate children. Except for the surname, he never gives anything to us." Feng Qi was surprised upon hearing this. When he thought of patriarchy's personality, he was quite convinced, but there were still some doubts in his heart. Just as he was about to ask further, Yun Linshan glared at him and yelled, "I've rescued your daughter, and you are treating me as though I am a prisoner. Is this the way you treat your benefactor?" Feng Qi was choked back his word. Indeed, Yun Linshan had saved his daughter, but what Yun Linshan didn't know was everything was an act. In fact, the Feng clan had colluded with the Wang clan a long time ago. Therefore, the so-called saving Feng Yu had actually interrupted their plans. However, even though Yun Linshan was poisoned and would likely spill more information if Feng Qi pressed further, Feng Qi had no choice but to act according to the situation in case they were indeed patriarchy's illegitimate children. Thinking of this, Feng Qi smiled apologetically. "Please forgive my rudeness, young Master Yi. I'll punish myself with this cup." He then drained the cup of wine in one go. HMPH, Yun Linshan snorted coldly and used his chopsticks to stuff food into his mouth, appearing hungry. Meanwhile, Feng Yu sent an eyes signal to her father before saying to Yun Linshan, "I heard young Master Yi is looking for the spirit plant seeds. If you didn't mind, why don't you take them from us? Is that right, father?" Feng Qi nodded his head with a smile and signaled a female servant nearby. "Of course, little Mew, go fetch them." Seeing the female servant went out, Yun Linshan said, "I thank Uncle Feng then." Feng Qi waved his hand dismissively. "What's there to be polite? Let's eat, shall we?" Yun Linshan nodded and continued to eat. The atmosphere was gradually improved as time passed by. After Yun Linshan receiving various spirit plant seeds from the female servant, he immediately looked for a way to get out of this hall. He placed his hand on his forehead and said dizzily, "Not good, I can't drink anymore." Hearing this, Feng Qi beckoned Feng Yu and said to Yun Linshan, "Why don't you let Yu send you back?" "No need." Before Feng Yu could say anything, Yun Kaingsu interrupted and held the drunk Yun Linshan out of the hall under everyone's cold gaze. "Tusk, did she think she is a real young miss of Yi clan?" Feng Yi said in dissatisfaction. Feng Yu frowned and turned to Feng Qi. "Father, why are you so rude? Young Master Yi is my benefactor. Why did you treat him like this?" Feng Qi replied with a smile, "Sorry, Yuer, it's my fault. I'll make up for him later, is that all right?" Feng Yu nodded her head and stood up. "I'll go check him out. In case he needs something." After finishing her sentence, she went out of the hall, heading toward Yun Linshan's courtyard. Feng Yi glanced at the disappearing Feng Yu and smirked disdainfully. "Ah, my poor sister. You don't know anything." Seeing his daughter walked out of the hall, a smile on Feng Qi's face disappeared and was replaced with a frown. "What do you think?" Feng Yi retracted his gaze and said with a serious expression, "It's simple, father. Whether they're Yi Zhenshan's kids or not, we just capture them. If it turned out to be true, we could use them against the Yi clan. Either way, we won't lose anything." Feng Qi pondered. From this Yi Zhu's reaction, I don't think Yi Zhenshan care much about them. "I'm afraid they're not that valuable." Feng Yi narrowed his eyes and said, "It doesn't matter, father, just leave it to me." Feng Qi looked at his beloved son and burst into laughter. "I know what you think. You want that girl, right?" Feng Yi smiled without saying a word. Feng Qi said further, "She's indeed special. I never saw anyone who has this kind of ethereal temperament, and that figure Tusk. You will never get bored playing with her." During these months, Yun Kaingsu's body had gone through an incredible transformation. Her temperament had changed tremendously. She looked ethereal, as though she didn't belong to this world. All this was a benefit from practicing the Chaos Goddess Sutra. Feng Yi grinned evilly. "From my dear sister's words, there is another beauty in the group. We shall see later." Feng Qi chuckled and didn't want to continue this topic. "All right, do what you've to do. I'll contact the Wang clan first." Feng Yi nodded and walked out of the hall with his eyes filled with desires. He had already imagined the scene in the bedroom with Yun Kaingsu. In Yun Linshan's courtyard, Yun Kaingsu sat opposite Yun Linshan and asked, "Who taught you this acting skill?" Yun Linshan poured her a cup of tea and replied with a chuckle, "I taught myself this in the past." When it came to Yun Linshan's past, Yun Kaingsu didn't ask further, fearing the gap between them would grow wider. Yun Linshan saw through her thoughts and said with a gentle smile, "I promise. I'll tell you one day." A smile was blooming on Yun Kaingsu's beautiful face as she responded, You don't have to force yourself if you don't want to, I can wait." Knock, knock. "Young Master Yi, it's me, Feng Yu. May I know if there's anything young Master Yi needs?" Feng Yu voiced rang from the outside of the courtyard. What do you think about her? Yun Kaingsu asked. Unless she's an expert in acting. I think she's innocent for now, Yun Linshan said. He trusted his own judgment. Please come in, Miss Feng. Yun Linshan said loudly and started to act as if he was drunk. Feng Yu opened the door and walked into the room. She looked at Yun Linshan, who was drinking the tea with his face flushed, and gave him a bow. I'm sorry for my father's rudeness. I don't know why he behaves like that. He wasn't like this in the past. Yun Linshan looked at her with a meaningful smile and said, maybe he's indeed changed. He then waved his hand and said further, you don't have to apologize on his behalf. You're you and he is he. Even though you're a father and daughter, it doesn't mean you have to take responsibility for what he did. Feng Yu didn't understand what Yun Linshan tried to imply, but she still accepted his advice. Thank you, young Master Yi. I'll remember this. Yun Linshan nodded. You can go back. I'll take a rest now. Feng Yu smiled and said a few words before she left the courtyard. Do you want to help her? Yun Kaingsu asked. Yun Linshan shook his head. Even if I want to help her, she won't accept it. We can only leave her to fate. Whoosh, suddenly Yun Huangxin and reported, we're ready to move. What about Meilan? Yun Linshan responded. She's still in the town. I can take her away at any time. Yun Huangxin replied. Yun Linshan tapped on the table, pondering briefly before he said, we can start moving. He then paused and turned to Yun Huangxin. You will come with me first. I want to leave a big gift for them. How dare he look at Kaingsu with that lecherous gaze? Yun Huangxin turned to Yun Kaingsu questioningly. She didn't know the episode in the main hall earlier. Yun Kaingsu's felt sweet in her heart. She stared at Yun Linshan affectionately and said softly, you don't have to waste time on this matter. Yun Linshan shook his head. It's a must. No need to say further. Following that, he took out several formation stones and started inscribing ancient runes on them. Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huangxin glanced at each other and said nothing. They knew this time the Feng clan was destined to suffer under Yun Linshan's hands. An hour later, Yun Linshan finished inscribed everything on the formation stones. He grinned with satisfaction. During these months, he didn't slack on a formation profound art in the slightest, and his progress could be described as terrifying. His current level was on par with ruler profound formation master. Yun Linshan wiped the sweat out of his forehead and said to Yun Huangxin, let's go. According to his guidance, Yun Huangxin manipulated the space element and brought Yun Linshan to the killing formation's eyes in the Feng manner. Yun Linshan quickly set up a conceal formation around his body and looked at the killing formation's eyes with an evil grin. Help me put this letter in Feng Yu's room. After finished replacing the formation, Yun Linshan handed a letter to Yun Huangxin. Yun Huangxin had a weird expression when she heard this, but she asked nothing. Yun Linshan explained, if she's truly innocent, her life is too pitiful. I can only help her this much. Yun Huangxin nodded and her figure disappeared from the spot. A moment later, she appeared in Feng Yu's room silently and saw Feng Yu was sleeping soundly. Looking at Feng Yu for a while, Yun Huangxin felt Feng Yu was indeed a pitiful woman if Yun Linshan's conjecture was correct. Yun Huangxin gently placed the letter beside Feng Yu's head and left the room, returning to Yun Linshan's courtyard. Done, Yun Linshan asked upon seeing Yun Huangxin appeared in the room. Yun Huangxin nodded and said, I'm going to move those women and children out first. Yun Linshan approved and let her busy with the task. Meanwhile, he took out a rough northern continent's map, spreading it on the table, and carefully looked for his next destination with Yun Kaingsu. Just as both of them pondered, Yun Ci walked out of the side room and greeted them, Sect Master, Elder Sister Kaingsu. Yun Linshan greeted back with a nod and suddenly thought of something. He asked, you came at the right time. Can you help me locate your villager within this map? The map in Yun Linshan's hand had been written coarsely according to Yun Runyu's limited knowledge. There were only notable places within it. Yun Ci's eyes lit up and quickly arrived beside the table. She looked at the map for a while and pointed at a specific area far away from Greenleaf Town. I think Clear River Village should be around this area. Yun Linshan used a brush to mark on the map and asked Yun Kaingsu, are you sure you want to find Senior Xilu? Yun Kaingsu replied firmly, I know my request is too selfish, but I can't put my heart to rest if I didn't do it. Yun Ci looked at Yun Kaingsu, extremely moved. She recently joined the sect and didn't dare to raise a request to Yun Linshan. She didn't expect Yun Kaingsu was adamant about doing this on her behalf. Yun Linshan fell into silence. Truthfully, he didn't want to find Yun Xilu, as it would increase the risk. Not to mention, he had to bring all the captive women and children along with him. The best choice he should make right now was to leave Skyfall Nation as soon as possible. Yun Ci looked at Yun Linshan nervously, fearing he might refuse Yun Kaingsu's request. As Yun Kaingsu was about to give up, Yun Linshan raised his head and looked at her. We will do it. Yun Kaingsu smiled brightly and said, thank you, Meanwhile, Yun Xi's face was flushed with excitement. She bowed deeply at Yun Linchen and said, "Thank you, sect master." Yun Linchen waved his hand dismissively. "Before that, we have to solve the captive's problem first." Yun Xi was confused. After arriving here, she slept soundly and didn't know the current situation. She asked uncertainly, "Are we bringing them with us?" Yun Linchen explained the situation to Yun Xi and asked, "Do you know a suitable place to let them live?" Yun Xi racked her brain hard but couldn't think of anything. Seeing this, Yun Linchen interrupted her. "Forget it. I forgot you never leave the village before. You can read the map is already a miracle." Yun Xi felt wronged and thought she was useless. She lowered her head. "Sorry, sect master." "I am useless," Yun Linchen apologized. "Sorry, I didn't mean it." He realized his words were rude and tried to correct them. Yun Xi raised her head and smiled brightly. "You don't have to apologize, sect master. I am indeed useless. I'll work hard from now on." Yun Linchen acknowledged and back to the topic. "I guess we have no choice but to look for a place along the way." He was helpless against the lack of information. It seemed he needed to send the Cloud Shadow team out as soon as possible. Suddenly, Yun Huingxin appeared in the room and said, "We can leave now." Yun Linchen told Yun Xi to get her daughter and let Yun Huingxin brought them out first. Knock, knock. While Yun Linchen and Yun Kaingsu were waiting for Yun Huingxin, suddenly someone knocked on the door, causing them to glance at each other. "Young Master Yi, this is Feng Yi. Sorry for troubling young Master Yi this late. I have an urgent matter to discuss with you." Feng Yi's voice rang out from the outside. The corner of Yun Linchen's mouth curved into a grin and said to Yun Kaingsu, "Isn't he too impatient?" Yun Kaingsu smiled faintly, but her eyes were brimming with murderous intent. Yun Linchen beckoned Yun Kaingsu. "You stay in the bedroom first, let me handle this." Yun Kaingsu hesitated slightly and complied in the end. "Young Master Yi," Feng Yi's voice rang out once again. Yun Linchen shook his head and muttered, "This guy couldn't wait to die, huh?" He made himself look as though he just woke up before he opened the door. "Can't you look at the time?" "Hurry and say it," Yun Linchen yawned and said with dissatisfaction. Feng Yi was immediately angry, but he managed to suppress it as he put up a hypocrite smile and said apologetically, "Pardon my rudeness, young Master Yi." Feng Yi looked over Yun Linchen's shoulders into the room and didn't see Yun Kaingsu's shadow. "Did you come here just to say this? If it's the case, you should scram back quickly." Yun Linchen flared up and prepared to close the door. Feng Yi's fury increased drastically upon hearing this. He couldn't wait to cripple this bastard in front of him and let this bastard watch him humiliated Yun Kaingsu. He took a deep breath and said, "Can we talk in the room?" Yun Linchen frowned and clicked his tongue, appearing annoyed as he responded, "Sure. Come in, don't forget to close the door." "Bastard, do I look like a servant?" Feng Yi cursed in his heart and followed Yun Linchen into the room. "What's the matter? Just say it." Yun Linchen sat on the chair and yawned. He looked at Feng Yi opposite him impatiently. Feng Yi poured himself a cup of tea and said with a smile, "I'll be frank then. Since young Master Yi is considered a member of the Yi clan, I wonder if we can cooperate in business." Yun Linchen frowned and spoke coldly. "Are you mocking me? You've known that I'm just a mere illegitimate son of that man. Do you think I have the authority?" He narrowed his eyes and said slowly, "If I'm not mistaken, your Feng clan is engaging in the food industry. Why don't you find the Wang clan instead? They're clearly the better choice." Feng Yi's heart skipped a beat and thought, this bastard shouldn't have known about it, right? He forced a smile and appeared pitiful. "It's not that we didn't try before. As you know, they're considering as a giant in this circle. Do you think they would lower themselves to cooperate with a puny clan like us?" Before Yun Linchen could talk, Feng Yi said further, "Young Master, you should know about the crops problem recently, right?" Seeing Yun Linchen nodded. He continued, "To tell you the truth, my father wants to divide the cake from the Wang clan. And your Yi clan's restaurant business is the best choice in his opinion." Yun Linchen pretended to have a bit of interest in this matter as he fell into silence, weighing his choices. Believing Yun Linchen was convinced, Feng Yi tried to hit the nail. "Are you going to let the Wang clan devour everything? Why don't you use this chance to prove yourself to Patriarch Yi?" Yun Linchen breathed heavily as he finally convinced and replied, "You're right, Brother Feng. Let's say, how are you going to cooperate?" Feng Yi snickered in his heart and thought this bastard in front of him was an idiot. He smiled faintly and explained, "I presume, Brother, you didn't know much about the Imperial City's current situation, because the food shortages are happening everywhere throughout the entire Skyfall nation. The Wang clan is planning to use this chance to sweep everyone out of the board and monopolizing the food supplies by themselves." Feng Yi said this because he believed Yun Linchen had interrogated Wu Zhu before and presumed Yun Linchen knew about the Wang clan's needs. Hence, he revealed a bit of the Wang clan's conspiracy to gain Yun Linchen's trust. Apparently, Yun Linchen was convinced as he said, "This Wang clan is so despicable. You're right, Brother Feng, we can't let them do this. If Brother Feng has a suggestion, please tell me quickly." Seeing Yun Linshan became polite, Feng Yi laughed coldly inwardly. Without a doubt, this bastard in front of him was an idiot. Feng Yi wore a heavy expression. May I know if Brother Yi has a way to contact your clan? Yun Linshan replied hurriedly. Of course I do have, however it's inconvenient right now. He squinted his eyes and asked coldly, why? You don't trust me? Feng Yi quickly waved his hand. No, you get me wrong, Brother Yi. I asked this because my plan needs to execute at a precise moment on both sides. Oh. Why don't you tell me then? Yun Linshan asked and volunteered to pour tea for Feng Yi. Feng Yi received the cup and said, Brother Yi, what is the best way to deal a huge blow on the Wang clan in your opinion? Yun Linshan's brows creased together and pondered over the matter for a while before he answered uncertainly, cutting their supply maybe. Feng Yi cursed in his heart, isn't it obvious? Even a 3-year-old kid can think of this. He shook his head and said, You're right, but see, I am right. Before Feng Yi could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by Yun Linshan's loud exclamation. Looking at Yun Linshan's silly smirk as though he was proud of his cleverness, Feng Yi was uncertain and complained in his heart, Why am I wasting my time scheming against this idiot? If I know about this, I would have captured him directly without going through this kind of meaningless conversation. Swoosh, just as Feng Yi was about to say further, he saw Yun Huangxin suddenly appeared in the room out of nowhere, making him startled, unable to think of anything. Feng Yi uttered in confusion as he tried to figure out the identity of this young girl before him. Did I come at the wrong time? Yun Huangxin looked at Yun Linshan and Feng Yi with her big rounded eyes appearing cute. Yun Linshan put his silly smirk away, returning to his usual calm and said, You are late, Huangxin. You don't know what torments I have gone through during this period. Feng Yi was even more confused. His eyes kept darting between Yun Linshan and Yun Huangxin as a bad premonition appeared in his heart. Oh, what makes our sect master suffering? Yun Huangxin inquired playfully while covering the entire courtyard with an isolation barrier. Yun Linshan spread his arms helplessly. You see, I have to listen to this smart-ass nonsenses for several minutes. Ah, what a pain. Yun Huangxin chuckled at Yun Linshan's act as though he was suffered aggrievedly. Feng Yi knew something terrible was about to happen. He circulated his profound energy and tried to rush out of the courtyard, but how could Yun Huangxin let him escape? Yun Huangxin waved her hand gently, and Feng Yi immediately felt the surrounding space became solid all of a sudden, restricting his entire beings on the spot. Yun Kaiangsu, who paid her attention to Yun Linshan for all this time, came out of the bedroom without wearing the veil and walked to Yun Linshan's side. At this moment, Feng Yi could only move his eyes. When he saw Yun Kaiangsu's celestial countenance, his breath became erratic. For all his life, he never saw anyone who could surpass Yun Kaiangsu in terms of beauty. Tusk. Even at this moment, you still have an unhealthy idea. I am totally convinced, Yun Linshan said sarcastically when he saw lustful desires in Feng Yi's eyes. Yun Linshan always wondered why all those young masters in the novels were stupid, waiting for the protagonist to face slapping them. However, as time passed by, he slowly understood the reason behind this. In the cultivation-oriented world, everyone was limited to one way. Unless you didn't have a qualification to practice, whether you were a chef or a tailor, in the end, the profound way was your everything. However, the majority of people didn't seem to realize that individual strength was the most important thing. Taking Feng Yi as an example, instead of strengthening himself, he relied on his background to suppress others. Time after time, he became addicted to the taste of being above others, and subconsciously thought this was the way to go. Why would he need to practice further when he could cover the entire town with one palm using his background alone? Feng Yi was gradually blinded by this idea and became more arrogant. He was blindly confident everything was always in his hands, but the truth wasn't. That was why he had underestimated Yun Linshan greatly. Those young masters in the novels were the same. They thought with their strong background, handling the protagonist was as easy as breathing. Thus, they kept underestimating the protagonist and let the protagonist become stronger by sending their weak lackeys to hunt him down. In the end, those lackeys had become the protagonist's tools for practice and even gave him free resources. Hearing Yun Linshan's remark, Feng Yi came back to his sense and quickly said, What do you mean by doing this to me, Brother Yi? We're not an enemy, aren't we? Yun Linshan smiled playfully and responded, Yes, we're not an enemy, but why did you try to run earlier? Could it be you want to go toilet? Cold sweat appeared on Feng Yi's forehead. He knew this time he had kicked an iron plate. The bastard he regarded as an idiot had toyed with him for all this time. It turned out the real idiot was himself. Even though Feng Yi knew it had a low chance of success, he still wanted to try and continued his act further. You're misunderstanding me, young Master Yi. He looked at Yun Huangxin and said, I thought she's an assassin who came to kill me. That's why I tried to run earlier, since she is Brother Yi's acquaintance. I can feel at ease now. Yun Linshan chuckled and said, Nice try. His eyes turned sharp as he stared into Feng Yi's eyes. Do you really think I will believe this nonsense of yours? Feng Yi put a confused expression on and asked, What are you talking about, Brother Yi? Of course you can believe me. Why would I lie to you? Yun Linshan shook his head and said, Let's end this boring nonsense. Why don't you tell me your conspiracy with the Wang clan? Feng Yi's pupils shrank slightly, just as he'd expected. Yun Linshan did know he had colluded with the Wang clan, but how could he admit readily, What are you talking, Brother Yi? The Wang clan and I are enemies. How could I be together with them? Aren't you a bit too much? Feng Yi growled, appearing as though he was suffered injustice. All right, since that's the case, I don't want to know any more, Yun Linshan said and signaled Yun Huangxin to kill Feng Yi. Perceiving a murderous intent, Feng Yi felt as if he had been thrown into an ice cave. His face was pale, void of blood. He hurriedly pleaded, I will say it, don't kill me. Yun Linshan shrugged, Tell me then. Just as Feng Yi was about to say something, Yun Huangxin perceived danger and quickly shielded Yun Linshan and Yun Kaiangsu with her profound energy barrier. Bang! All of a sudden, Feng Yi's body burst out with a powerful force, and he was directly shredded into pieces along with the courtyard. The powerful force instantly collided with Yun Huangxin's barrier, causing cracks to appear on it. However, Yun Huangxin managed to resist it until the end. Under the courtyard's debris, Yun Linshan's face was ghastly pale. The sudden turn was too fast before he could put up any defense. If Yun Huangxin was not here, he and Yun Kaiangsu would be blasted into smithereens by now. What the hell is this? Yun Linshan spoke in shock. Yun Huangxin's brows knitted together. This was the first time she encountered something like this. From the earlier impact, she could perceive the force was at least on the ruler profound realms level, but it was limited to the early level. Otherwise, she won't be able to repel it. This is not the time to think about it. We should go now, Yun Kaiangsu reminded. A huge commotion like this would definitely alarm everyone within the town. Yun Linshan's gaze swept over Feng Yi's earlier position and found nothing. He then let Yun Huangxin brought him and Yun Kaiangsu away. A moment later, Feng Qi arrived at the scene with several of his guards. He looked at the courtyard's remains and frowned. What's going on here? The guards glanced at each other, did not know how to answer. From the look of it, whoever within this courtyard undoubtedly had been reduced to nothingness by now. Master, isn't this courtyard belong to young Master Yi? One of the guards said. Feng Qi frowned deeply for a while before his expression abruptly changed. He roared at the guards. Go check your young master's courtyard now. The guards were startled by Feng Qi's roar and were able to react in the next second. Feng Qi rushed toward Feng Yi's courtyard anxiously. He prayed in his heart Feng Yi must be there. However, when he arrived at the courtyard, not a shadow of Feng Yi could be seen. Feng Qi was petrified on the spot. At this moment, he knew in his heart his son had definitely resided within Yun Linshan's courtyard earlier. No, this is not true. Feng Qi stagnated and almost fell onto the ground if it wasn't because of the guard's support. Master? The guard asked uncertainly. Feng Qi snapped back to his sense and yelled out, Hurry up. Activate the formation. Feng Yu groaned in pain as her eyes snapped open, waking up from the nightmare. The painful memory she'd experienced haunted her every time she closed her eyes, and she had no way to get rid of it. Feng Yu stared at familiar yet unfamiliar ceilings for a while before she slowly changed her posture into sitting with her head leaning on the headboard. How long do I have to go through this before I can forget it? She muttered to herself. A while later, Feng Yu felt uncomfortable as her entire body was drenched in sweat. The moment she lifted the quilt up, preparing to get out of the bed, she caught a glimpse of a letter beside her pillow. A letter? Feng Yu picked the letter up, looking at it with confusion, and decided to open it. To Miss Feng, if you're reading this letter, it means I have already left. The reason behind my sudden departure is related to your father and brother. As for what exactly it is, I think a smart woman like you will learn about it soon by yourself. Feng Yu's brows immediately creased together upon reading this. Without a doubt, the person who wrote this letter was Yun Linshan, but she didn't understand the meaning behind his words. My father and brother. What's going on? She thought and continued to read. Have you noticed something is not right with your father? Don't you think he didn't seem to be happy with your return? After knowing you've suffered for all this time, he didn't seem to get anxious or angry. In my opinion, he should have a better reaction to this situation as a father, unless he didn't really love you. Not to mention the way your father treated me is not what people did with their benefactor. Feng Yu frowned deeply and recalled the moment Feng Qi knew about her return. He was indeed didn't get angry or showing relief. It was as though he didn't care about her at all. At that time, Feng Yu thought her father was disgusted with her after knowing what she had gone through, but it didn't seem to be the case when she thought about it again. I know I have no proof of everything I said above, but I always believed in my intuition. If I guessed correctly, there is something going on with your father. Remember, you've said before. You went out a month ago and the situation within the Green Leaf Town is not good at that time. But now, it's entirely different from what you said. Writing this letter is considered taking a risk to me because I don't know if you're in cahoots with your father from the beginning, but I decided to do so because I trusted my own judgment that you're a good woman. Anyway, if you've turned out to be a person as I thought, please leave this place as soon as possible. The world is vast. There are many things for you to discover. Good luck, Yi Ziu. Feng Yu slowly put the letter down on her lap and contemplated over the matters. Although Yun Linshen's baseless guess was unreliable, her intuition had also told her the same when she thought of this. Boom, all of a sudden, a loud explosion occurred in Yun Linshen's courtyard direction, causing Feng Yu to jolt awake from her contemplation. What's going on? She uttered in confusion and rushed out of her courtyard. When Feng Yu was about to arrive at Yun Linshen's courtyard, she saw her father stood before the debris, looking at the courtyard's remains with a frown. For some reason, Feng Yu subconsciously hid behind the wall, observing Feng Qi silently. Feng Qi was occupied by anxiousness within his heart and failed to notice Feng Yu's presence as he rushed into Feng Yu's courtyard. Feng Yu followed him in the distance and later heard Feng Qi's angry roar, causing her to step back involuntarily. "Hurry up, activate the formation," Feng Qi roared. "Yes, master," the guards quickly replied and went to the formation's eyes. Although they didn't know much about the formation, opening it according to the instruction was not a problem. Hong. A moment later, the Feng Manor was entirely covered with a red translucent barrier, making the nearby neighbors look at it in shock. "Go find that bastard, he killed my son," Feng Qi shouted angrily at the guards. The guards didn't dare to delay further and spread throughout the entire manor hastily. "Did young Master Yi kill Feng Yi?" Feng Yu's heart was in turmoil. She didn't understand why did Yun Linshen kill her younger brother. She calmed herself down and a plan formed in her mind as she approached Feng Qi. "Father, what happened?" Feng Yu asked worriedly. Snap. As Feng Yu's words fell, Feng Qi immediately slapped her face fiercely and cursed, "It's because of you, bitch. If you didn't come back, Yi wouldn't have to die." Feng Yu was stunned as she fell to the ground. She touched her cheek and looked at her father with an unbelievable expression. Everything happened too fast. It completely caught her off guard. Before Feng Yu could say anything, Feng Qi kicked on her chest, sending her flying away like a broken kite before she landed on the ground several meters away. "You deserve to die," Feng Qi roared and chased after Feng Yu. Lying on the ground, Feng Yu coughed up blood, clutching her chest in pain. When she saw Feng Qi rushed at her with murderous intent, she realized everything Yun Linshen had said was true. Feng Qi didn't care about her at all from the beginning. "Father," Feng Yu struggled to stand up, but she was too weak. Despair crept into her heart. A bunch of memories of when she endured the torture back in the bandit camp resurfaced in her mind. In order to see her parents again, she even allowed herself to be humiliated by the bandits. But now, everything she wished for turned out to be fake. Familial love, it was nothing but a mere delusion of her own. 100 meters away from the Greenleaf town, Yun Linshen stood beside Yun Huangxin, Yun Kaiangsu, and Yun Meilan, looking at the red, translucent barrier that appeared above the Feng Manor. "What's next?" Yun Huangxin turned to Yun Linshen. Yun Linshen frowned slightly. His mind was still lingering on the earlier sudden attack. When he heard Yun Huangxin's question, he stared briefly in the Feng Manor's direction and took out a white talisman from his interspatial ring. "What is this?" asked Yun Huangxin. "It's a remote control," Yun Linshen replied. The talisman in his hand served as a long-range remote control of the killing formation within the Feng Manor. He invented this with the help of the myriad formation scripture during these past months. "Remote control?" Yun Huangxin was puzzled. She then thought of something and said, "It's the same as the TV's remote control?" Yun Linshen nodded, "Yes. It has the same principles." Following that, Yun Linshen injected a trace of profound energy into the talisman and closed his eyes. A moment later, the scene within the Feng Manor appeared in his mind vividly, as though he stood there in the manor. Currently, Feng Yu looked at Feng Qi, who rushed at her as if he couldn't wait to kill her. When she knew her life was about to end soon, Yun Linshen's figure suddenly came to her mind, and she felt regret for not listening to his words, but everything was meaningless now. "Die, bitch!" Feng Qi circulated his profound energy and sent out a punch to Feng Yu's head. Seeing her father's gaze that was filled with boundless hatred, Feng Yu closed her eyes in despair, accepting her own fate. However, a minute later, the death she waited for did not come, causing her to open her eyes in confusion. The first thing that came to Feng Yu's vision was Feng Qi's headless body on the ground. As for his head, it was nowhere to be seen. Feng Yu was petrified on the spot like a statue. Her mind went blank, incapable of comprehending the situation before her. "Ah, master!" A shrill scream from the guard brought Feng Yu back to her sense, and she quickly stood up from the ground. Feng Yu turned to the guards and said solemnly, "Go chase after the assassin. He escaped in that direction." The guard jolted awake from the shock and hurriedly ran in the direction that Feng Yu pointed at. Seeing the guard went away, Feng Yu heaved a sigh of relief. She moved closer to Feng Qi's lifeless body. Feng Yu's emotions were jumped up and down as though riding a roller coaster. From the joy of seeing her parents once again to despair and now to this empty. If it were others, they would have been broken down by now. But Feng Yu had gone through the hellish experience before. Her mentality was far stronger than an average person. She could adapt to reality in a flash. Feng Qi's true thoughts had given her a huge blow earlier, but now, seeing his corpse, she suddenly felt her love for him had become a laughable thing. Was he genuinely deserve her love? The answer was obviously a big no. Feng Yu stared at him for a while before she said in a low voice, "Farewell, father. This will be the last time I called you this. From now on, Feng Yu is no longer the member of Feng clan." Feng Yu had made up her mind to leave this place. As Yun Linchen said in the letter, this world is too large and many things are waiting for her to discover. Why would she restrict herself with this unworthy family? Feng Yu raised her head to look at the falling snow and muttered, "Thank you." Although she didn't know who was the one that helped her, she had a hunch it had something to do with Yun Linchen. A while later, her eyes turned resolute, and she returned to her room, packing her belongings, and left the Feng Manor. Outside of the town, Yun Linchen opened his eyes, and the talisman in his hand slowly turned into ashes. A faint smile hung on his lips. He was truly happy for Feng Yu, as she could be free from now on. "Why are you smiling?" Yun Qiangsu asked curiously. She was only in the essence profound realm and had no spiritual sense to observe the situation. Thus, she didn't know what was happened within the Feng Manor. Yun Linchen laughed slightly. "It's nothing. I just feel good after killing that old man." Yun Huangxin had a strange expression while looking at Yun Linchen. Of course, she witnessed everything that happened in the Feng Manor with her spiritual sense. Yun Linchen's answer was not true at all. It was more like he was happy because Feng Yu had resolved her problem. Could it be Linchen like a plump woman? She couldn't help but think of this. If Yun Linchen knew Yun Huangxin's thoughts, he would cough up blood by now. He paid more attention to Feng Yu because he purely wanted to see the rise of the female protagonist. Back then, when he was on Earth, he had read the novel called The Rise of Phoenix, and the female protagonist of this novel had a similar experience as Feng Yu. That was why he was delighted when he saw Feng Yu made up her mind, and even looking forward to seeing her name spread throughout the entire northern continent one day. Yun Huangxin could never think of this. Her eyes swept over Yun Qiangsu and Yun Malan's body, then she looked at her own flat chest. Suddenly, she became dejected and snorted coldly at Yun Linchen. Yun Linchen was confused. What's wrong with her? Yun Qiangsu and Yun Malan were also puzzled by Yun Huangxin's sudden change in her mood. No matter how smart Yun Linchen was, he could never guess what caused Yun Huangxin to be dissatisfied. He scratched his head and said, let's go now, shall we?" Yun Huangxin glared at him and then brought everyone away with her spatial ability. Qiangsu and Yun Malan to meet with Yun Lingwei at the temporary shelter 10 kilometers away from the Green Leaf town. Upon seeing them, Yun Lingwei hurriedly welcomed and reported, "We have 10 carriages prepared, ready to move at any time." Yun Linchen looked at 62 women and 22 children and pondered for a moment. He felt moving with 10 carriages was too eye-catching. Coupled with the threat from the owner of the sudden attack a while ago, he wished to travel as low profile as possible. In case something happened midway, he could escape with no worry. Yun Qiangsu naturally understood this point too, but she could not come out with the solution. The only way she could come up with was bringing them into the land of beyond heaven. However, it was too risky to do it. Yun Lingwei looked at Yun Linchen and became puzzled. She then asked, "What's the matter? Are these carriages not enough?" Yun Huangxin took the initiate to explain the previous incident. After Yun Lingwei understanding the situation they were in, she turned to Yun Linchen and said, "Let's bring them in. We don't have alternative ways for this. Otherwise, they would become a burden, and with Huangxin's strength alone is not enough to protect everyone." Yun Lingwei paused for a moment and continued, "If I guess correctly, the person who put his power in Feng Yi's body should be at least the 10th level of ruler profound realm. The worst, he could be a saint." "How do you know?" Yun Linchen asked. Yun Lingwei took a deep breath and explained, "Grand Sect Master once told me about the ancient technique of the powerhouses in the past. They used this kind of technique to protect their descendant. However, in Feng Yi's case, it's more like that person used it to silence him from leaking the secret. As for why I can guess the person's strength is because normally the user of this technique cannot put over 10% of their strength into the target. And Huangxin said the attack is on the first level of ruler profound realm. You can roughly estimate the owner's true strength with this." "I see." Yun Linchen was surprised. This technique reminded him of those typical powerhouses in the novel where they often left their spiritual senses on their descendants. When the protagonist was about to kill their descendant, he would trigger these spiritual senses. Knowing this, Yun Linshan fell into deep thought. He considered hard weather to bring these women into the land of beyond heaven. If he chose to do so, he won't let them come out again for the rest of their life or until he could guarantee they won't leak his secret. Of course, there was another way. Yun Linshan could find an enslaved technique and used it on them. However, as a man from Earth, he was undoubtedly uncomfortable with slavery. If it was possible, he would never do it to anyone. "Why don't we ask Sister Ruinyu?" said Yun Malin, who was quiet for all this time. Yun Linshan finally made his mind and said, "No need to ask her, we don't have time now. Just put them to sleep." "Are you sure?" Yun Kangsu frowned slightly. Although she knew this was the best way to go, she didn't think it necessary to choose this way, considering the potential secret leaking. Yun Linshan took a deep breath and gave the nod in reply. Of course, he knew it was risky, but since he brought them out of the town, he had to take responsibility for his own decision to the end. Who would expect there was such a turn of event? At first, Yun Linshan thought he could leave a big gift to Feng Yi and depart from the Feng Manor silently, but all of his calculations went wrong in the end because of that power within Feng Yi's body. Yun Linshan noted this to his heart. He thought he was cautious enough, but the reality proved otherwise. From now on, he had to be more decisive. If he wanted to leave, he has to go right away. No more unnecessary action. Since Yun Linshan had already decided, Yun Huangxin quickly put all the women and children to sleep and brought them into the land of beyond heaven with the help of everyone. Skyfall Imperial City was built on flat land in the centermost area of the nation. Its size was at least 2 times larger than Heavenly Fortune capital city. On the west side of the Imperial City laid the most flourishing territory belonged to the Wang clan. In the luxurious hall, a handsome middle-aged man clad in a white robe, enjoying a cup of spirit tea with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he abruptly opened his eyes in surprise and said with a faint smile, "Where has this wild mouse come from?" Sitting opposite him was a good-looking man in his early 20s. He raised his head slightly and asked, "What is it, Elder Su?" The middle-aged man, Elder Su, laughed slightly and said, "Someone triggered the power I left behind in Feng Qi's son." A trace of surprise appeared on the man as he said, "Will it affect our plans?" Elder Sun shook his head. "Don't worry, young Master Wang, that person has turned into dust by now." Young Master Wang Jian, nodded his head and lowered his head to read a book further. Elder Su suddenly frowned when he perceived something. Wang Jian once again raised his head to look at Elder Su in puzzlement as he asked, "What is it again?" Elder Su was uncertain. He closed his eyes, trying to perceive something before he opened his eyes and exclaimed, "Someone has modified my formation within Feng Qi's place." Wang Jian's brows creased together and his expression turned serious. Elder Su in front of him was a heaven profound formation master. Since someone could successfully modify his formation, that person should be at least at the same level as him. Who could it be? Wang Jian frowned. Throughout the Skyfall Nation, there were only 2 heaven profound formation masters. One was the Tian royal clan's protector, and another was Elder Su in front of him. It shouldn't be that old man Tianzun. Considering his status, he won't do something like this. Elder Su touched his chin and pondered. Although the killing formation within the Feng Manor was not regarded as a high-level one, it was still difficult to destroy, let alone changing it to their own use. Unless that person was a ruler profound formation master. Thinking of this, Elder Su shook his head and thought it was impossible. He hailed from the White Feather sect, one of the top sects within the northern continent. Even in such a place could not find the ruler profound formation master easily. Hence, he didn't think this kind of top character would appear here in a tiny place and messed with his formation on a whim. Wang Jian naturally knew about this too. He pondered briefly and decided, "We should check it out." Elder Su thought the same and quickly brought Wang Jian flying out of the hall. If Yun Linshan was here, he would be shocked to the core because the aura that Elder Su had just released was on the first level of Saint Profound Realm. Where is this place? In the spacious hall, a 6-year-old little girl looked around curiously. She remembered she lived in the temporary shelter earlier and suddenly fell asleep. Waking up again, she already found herself in this gorgeous hall. "Ayer, come here." A middle-aged woman pulled the little girl into her embrace and looking around vigilantly. She just woke up earlier and had no idea about this place. Upon seeing there was no danger, she hurriedly woke women nearby her up one by one. "Have you woken already?" Suddenly, a gentle female voice resounded from the entrance, causing everyone to turn their heads and immediately stunned by the incoming woman's appearance. In their eyes, this woman was akin to a fairy in heaven. "Who are you?" The middle-aged woman did not relax her vigilance. The woman smiled. "My name is Yun Qingru." All of you were brought to this place by the man who saved you. The middle-aged woman frowned slightly and asked, "Where is this place? It's not cold at all." When she asked, she suddenly realized this place was warm, as though it was during spring. Yun Kingru patiently replied, "This place will be your new home from now on. All of you can live here with peace of mind." Before the middle-aged woman could ask further, Yun Kingru said, "Come with me. I'll introduce this place to you." The middle-aged woman hesitated and looked at other women before she mustered her courage and followed Yun Kingru out of the hall. Seeing this, everyone didn't hesitate anymore and brought their child to follow suit. When they stepped out of the hall, the first thing that came to their sights was the beautiful lake with unfinished constructing 7 pagodas at the center. This scenery was beautiful beyond words. They never saw any place like this before. If it wasn't because they could still feel the pain, they would have thought they were already dead, and this place was a paradise. Yun Kingru saw their current expression and couldn't help smiling because they were the same as her when she first came here. She introduced, "This profound spirit lake is called the Misty Lake. The water in the lake is the profound spirit liquid. It could help practitioners improve their bodies and aiding in their practice. You will learn about it later." Obviously, they had no clue about the usage of the profound spirit liquid, as they were ordinary people without qualification to enter the profound ways before. The middle-aged woman asked uncertainly, "This Miss Yun, where exactly is this place? I don't see any snow here." Yun Kingru smiled, "I can't tell you this for the time being, but you will eventually learn about this place later. Follow me. I will bring everyone to the residence area." The middle-aged woman didn't linger on this topic further, as she feared Yun Kingru would lose her patience. She hurriedly followed Yun Kingru behind with her daughter and the rest. Along the way, the group of women saw various exotic scenery such as heavenly sandalwood forest and serene bamboo forest. Everything looked ethereal, making them want to stay in this place forever. Yun Kingru brought them to the newly built residence near the fertile land that was now full of crops. When the women saw the building, they were curious as they never saw this kind of architecture design before. It looked simple yet pleasing to their eyes. "This is your residence. There are 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1 kitchen, and 1 living room within 1 unit. All of you have to divide into a group of 4, and you choose any unit as you please," Yun Kingru explained after bringing them to one of the nearby rooms. All the women were immediately attracted by the interior. Although it looked strange for them, this place was countless times better than their previous houses. Yun Kingru took this time to patiently explain the function of the faucet, toilet, and electricity to everyone. Everything in this room was novel to them, especially this water system. Normally, they would have to fetch the water from the river by themselves, but now they could have the water sending to their room directly by just opening the faucet. In the kitchen, they didn't have to light a fire at all. They could simply place the pan on this induction stove and the heat would come out a while later. It was too convenient, and the bathroom was a paradise. Which woman doesn't love bathing? With this spacious white marble bathtub, they swore they could lie in this tub for the entire day with no problem. "How is it?" Yun Kingru looked at everyone with a smile. The middle-aged woman had experienced many ups and downs throughout her life, making her cautious to the extreme. She knew there was no free lunch in this world. It was impossible Yun Linshin would give them this treatment simply out of kindness. She mustered her courage and asked, "What price do we have to pay?" Her question immediately brought everyone back from an ecstatic state as they looked at Yun Kingru nervously. That's right, how could they obtain all of this without paying? Price? The smile on Yun Kingru's face never faded away as she said, "Of course, all of you have to pay a certain price." Hearing this, all the women trembled in fright. Were they going to become a slave and work until dead here? The middle-aged woman's heart tightened and relaxed a moment later. There was no need to fear anymore since she could not escape from this place anyway. She swallowed and asked, "Can you elaborate it?" Yun Kingru looked at the middle-aged woman with admiration. Among them, she was the courageous one, daring to ask even though she was scared deep down. "What is your name?" asked Yun Kingru. "My name is Kang Zio. I used to be the village's head chef before," the middle-aged woman replied, and she added her previous profession in case Yun Kingru wanted her to work. Yun Kingru saw through her thoughts. She laughed slightly. "You've misunderstood something, Miss Kang. All of you are not going to do labor here. On the contrary, you will have all the freedom. You can do whatever you like. We won't restrict you." She paused for a moment and said, "The only price you have to pay is that all of you have to work hard practicing from today onwards." Practice? Kang Zio frowned slightly, and she immediately understood in the next moment. She remembered Yun Linshin had done something on her, and she suddenly knew how to practice. It was just that there were so many things going around in these few days. She didn't have time to try it. Seeing they were in doubt, Yun Kingru asked, "Do you remember the man who saved all of you from the bandits?" Kang Zio nodded her head. "Of course we remembered young Master Yi." Yun Kingru smiled. "In fact, Yi Ziu is not his real name. His actual name is Yun Linshan. He is the sect master of the Misty Cloud sect. Sect master, the Misty Cloud sect. All the women repeated in confusion. These words were foreign to them. Kang Zio seemed to understand something as she asked. From Miss Yun's words, this place is the Misty Cloud sect. Yun Kingru replied softly, "You're right. This place belongs to our Misty Cloud sect. From now on, you don't have to worry about dangers anymore. As long as you stay here in this place, no one can harm you." When everyone hearing this, they were overjoyed, and some of them even cried on the spot. In the past, they couldn't get a good sleep at night as they feared the village would become the bandits' target. Although they didn't understand much about the sect, they knew the Misty Cloud sect would shelter them from now on. Kang Zio heaved a sigh of relief and looked at her daughter in her embrace with a smile. When both of them were captured by the bandits, she was worried something would happen to her daughter, but now everything was better. Not only she and her daughter could live in peace from today onwards, but they also had a chance to become a profound practitioner. Was this the "every cloud has a silver lining," as people often said? Yun Kingru looked at the group of little girls and saw they were also looked at her timidly with hands placed on their stomachs. Yun Kingru realized they were probably hungry and said, "All of you must be hungry now. I will bring you to our cafeteria. You can eat whatever you like over there at any time from now on." All the girls became excited and they looked at their mothers with pleading eyes. Upon seeing their mothers gave permission, they smiled brightly and looked at Yun Kingru as though they could not wait anymore. Without delay further, Yun Kingru quickly brought them to the cafeteria and called the disciples in charge of today's meal to help these women. After settling them in the cafeteria, Yun Kingru returned to the villa to meet Yun Linshan and others. "Done?" asked Yun Linshan. Yun Kingru glanced at Yun Ci, who was currently walking around the living room while looking at here and there interestingly, and she said, "Everything is going well. Except I don't know how to explain this place doesn't have the night cycle." Yun Linshan thought it was indeed the problem. "It's fine. They will eventually learn about it sooner or later. Though I don't want to do this, we still have to observe them. I don't want them to create disharmony within our sect." Unlike the orphan the sect usually recruiting, these women were all adults. It was difficult to make them have a sense of belonging to the sect. Yun Linshan worried that they would do something behind his back one day when they were strong enough. However, if that day had truly come, Yun Linshan didn't mind killing them at all. "Let's go, we need to move now. I don't know if that person would come to check the situation in the town." Yun Linshan stood up, prepared to leave. "Sect master, do I have to go with you?" Yun Ci suddenly asked. She was still marveled by the land of beyond heaven. This place was simply a paradise in her opinion. Yun Linshan shook his head. "You should stay here first and try to practice as soon as possible." He then summoned the gate of beyond heaven and brought Yun Kangsu out. Both of them appeared in the temporary shelter and saw Yun Huingxin frown deeply. "What's the matter?" Yun Linshan asked while observing outside of the shelter. Yun Huingxin had no time to explain. She hurriedly said, "We need to go now." Following that, she brought Yun Linshan and Yun Kangsu away in a flash. At this moment, far away in the sky, Elder Su perceived something and quickly spreading his spiritual sense out. Soon he discovered the temporary shelter and shot straight at it with no hesitation. "What is it?" Wang Jian asked in puzzlement when he saw Elder Su suddenly change the direction. Elder Su answered, "I don't know as well. I just perceived a spatial fluctuation over there. We will take a look first." Both of them soon arrived above the temporary shelter, and Elder Su used his spiritual sense to examine everything cautiously. "There are people here earlier, they just left," Elder Su said and tried to determine the direction Yun Huingxin had gone to. Wang Jian looked at the shelter and pondered. This shelter was clearly built not a long time ago. What was the purpose of building this here? Elder Su had a hunch that the people here earlier might have something to do with the Feng Manors incident. "We should check the town first." Wang Jian expressed his opinion. Elder Su frowned slightly. In his opinion, they should chase after these people to find out. However, Wang Jian's status within the White Feather sect was higher than him, as he was the direct disciple of the current sect master. Therefore, even he was a saint, he had no choice but to obey him. A moment later, both of them appeared above Feng Manor and discovered this place had become deserted. Not a single shadow could be seen here. Elder Su didn't care about this. He went straight to the formation's eyes and carefully examined them. The more he looked at it, the more stunned he had become. He discovered the person who changed his formation was highly proficient in both rune inscription and formation profound art. Elder Su had studied formation profound art for his entire life, and this was the first time he saw these unrecognizable ancient runes. Without a doubt, this person hailed from one of the 9 palaces. Only a long heritage powerhouse like them could have this kind of ancient profound art. We might possibly encounter a disciple from one of the 9 palaces. Elder Su said in a trembling voice. Wang Jian was stunned. Of course he understood what this meant. In front of the 9 palaces, his white feather sect couldn't be counted as a thing. If this person was indeed a disciple from one of the 9 palaces and wanted to trace back to Wang Jian, even his master, the sect master of White Feather Sect, might not be able to keep him alive. Wang Jian was pale when he thought of this. He hurriedly asked, "Are you sure, Elder Su? Why would a disciple of the 9 palaces appear here?" Elder Su wiped cold sweat out of his forehead and nodded heavily. 99%. Except for them, I can't think of anyone who could inscribe these ancient runes. He took a deep breath to stabilize his nerves and said further, "But I think this person is not going to deal with us. We would be long gone by now if that was the case." Hearing Elder Su's words, Wang Jian's face was even paler. Thank God, we didn't chase after that person earlier. Elder Su's body trembled. He couldn't imagine the outcome if he insisted on chasing after them. Thinking of this, he felt gratitude for Wang Jian. "Let's leave here. We don't need to investigate further now," Wang Jian said weakly. He couldn't wait to leave this place as soon as possible. Elder Su agreed with him and hastily brought Wang Jian away. Far away from the Greenleaf town, Yun Linshan's group appeared in a dense forest. Yun Huangxin constantly used her spatial jump nonstop until she exhausted her profound energy. Yun Linshan took a chair out for Yun Huangxin and asked, "What's going on?" Yun Huangxin panted heavily as she answered, "I could feel a terrifying aura coming from the distance. So I think this should be the owner of that attack." She paused to take a breather and continued, "That person is definitely a saint." Yun Linshan breathed in cold air and apologized. "It was my fault. I was too careless." He blamed himself for being careless, as he should move as soon as possible after leaving the town. Yun Kaingsu's brows knitted together. How come a saint appears here? Is there any connection between the Wang clan and this person? Although they could not prove it, the 3 of them could guess more or less the backer of the Feng clan should be the Wang clan. However, they didn't expect the Wang clan would have this kind of character on their side. Should be. However, since they have a saint on their side, why would they bother scheming against the Tian royal clan when they could use force directly? Yun Huangxin said. Yun Kaingsu tried to recall the content in the Misty Cloud sect's history book and said, "If I'm not mistaken, one of the Tian royal clan's members has joined the Violent Gale sect in the past. Maybe because of this, the Violent Gale sect was one of the top sects within the northern continent. It was on the same level as the White Feather sect. Violent Gale sect, Yun Linshan never heard of this sect before. If that was the case, this saint of the Wang clan was probably hailing from the same level sect as the Violent Gale sect. This was clearly the battle between of whose backer was stronger. Yun Linshan put everything aside and said, "This matter has nothing to do with us now. We should leave the Sky Fall Nation as soon as possible." Yun Kaingsu also agreed with Yun Linshan's decision. As for finding Yun Xilu, they could come back later. After Yun Huangxin recovered her profound energy, she immediately brought Yun Linshan and Yun Kaingsu in the north direction. "So many people here," Yun Linshan exclaimed while looking at the bustling streets in front of him. It had been a week since Yun Linshan left the Sky Fall Nation and arrived at this medium-sized town called Snow Wind Town within the Warsong Nation. Yun Huangxin used her spiritual sense to check the surroundings and did not find any potential threat. This place is safe. Both sides of the streets were full of various stores, crowding with profound practitioners. With a glance, Yun Linshan knew these profound practitioners didn't belong to this town, as most of them dressed decently and were accompanied by their servants. Yun Linshan was curious about why this town could attract so many practitioners. He decided to go with the typical plan by finding a piece of news from a restaurant. The 3 of them arrived in front of a decent restaurant called Smoking House. Yun Linshan wondered why people in this world would love to use the word smoke as their restaurant's name often. He remembered the restaurant in the Heavenly Fortune capital city was called Smoky Fragrance. Looking inside, Yun Linshan saw the dining hall was crowded, which proved the food in this place was good. Without further ado, Yun Linshan brought Yun Huangxin and Yun Kaingsu into the restaurant. "Welcome to our restaurant. May I know if you want a private room?" Upon Yun Linshan's group stepped into the restaurant, a young female waitress immediately greeted them with an enthusiastic smile. Yun Linshan replied, "No, please arrange us a table here." The waitress led Yun Linshan's group to a vacant table not far away from the entrance. Yun Linshan felt this spot was good, as it was surrounded by other customers. The arrival of Yun Linshan's group attracted many people's attention, especially Yun Kaingsu's white hair, which was too eye-catching. Coupled with her incredible figure and ethereal temperament, most of the surrounding men could hardly resist the temptation. Although her face was covered by a veil, they were certain beneath the veil was a celestial countenance. Yun Linshan was naturally aware of this and sighed in his heart. He knew Yun Kaingsu would attract everyone's attention wherever she goes. He told her to stay and practice in the land of beyond heaven before, but she insisted on accompanying him. If she had read the novels before, she would know that most of the conflicts within the novels always started with Jade Beauty. After Yun Linshan casually ordering some food, he immediately pricked up his ears, listening to the various discussions among the crowd. Just as Yun Linshan was concentrated on the discussions, a handsome young man clad in a luxury golden robe approached his table with a smile and said, "This brother, can I sit with you?" His words caused everyone within the dining hall to look at Yun Linshan's table. They wanted to know how was Yun Linshan going to deal with this situation, as they knew Yun Linshan was only the 10th level of Foundation Profound Realm. Ah, here we go again. Yun Linshan lamented in his heart. Instead of telling the man to scram away like a typical protagonist, he smiled in a friendly manner, sure. The young man was taken aback as he thought Yun Linshan would refuse him. Since Yun Linshan had said, he unceremoniously sat opposite Yun Linshan, between Yun Huangxin and Yun Kaingsu. The young man glanced at Yun Kaingsu briefly and asked, "Miss, may I know your name?" Yun Kaingsu didn't reply. She treated the young man as heir and continued to pour a cup of water for Yun Linshan. The young man didn't get angry as he encountered this kind of situation all the time. The smile on his face did not fade in the slightest as he said, "Let me introduce myself first. My name is Yi Xiaolong from the Yi clan of Skyfall Imperial City. From the look of you, you have arrived here recently. Am I correct?" Puff, cough, cough. Yun Linshan suddenly choked on the water upon hearing Yi Xiaolong introduced himself. "Don't tell me, this guy is the real young Master Yi. What a coincidence." Yun Linshan had borrowed the young master of the Yi clan's identity when he was on the Skyfall Nation. He didn't expect to meet the real young Master Yi in this place. Yun Linshan's cough immediately attracted Yi Xiaolong's attention. When he first saw Yun Linshan's group enter the restaurant, he had identified them as country bumpkin because of their low-quality attires. That was why he dared to hit Yun Kaingsu without caring for Yun Linshan's background. "This brother, what's the matter?" Yi Xiaolong said in a polite tone, but a hint of displeasing could be seen in his eyes. When he saw Yun Kaingsu used her sleeve to wipe the water stain on Yun Linshan's face, he had already considered how to kill Yun Linshan. If Yun Linshan knew Yi Xiaolong's thoughts, he would laugh aloud as he finally encountered the classic young master, who was always courting death. Yun Linshan waved his hand. "It's nothing, young Master Yi. I was shocked by your esteemed name. You might not know this. I've been to the Skyfall Imperial City before, and I heard your Yi clan is one of the most powerful clans over there. It's my honor to meet you here." Hearing this, Yi Xiaolong's mood became better. He put a proud expression and said, "You're wrong one thing. My Yi clan is not among the powerful clans, but we are the most powerful one in the Imperial City." After finishing his sentence, he took a glance at Yun Kaingsu and was disappointed by her lack of reaction. "Oh, is your Yi clan even more powerful than the Tian royal clan? That's amazing." Yun Linshan looked at Yi Xiaolong admiringly. Yi Xiaolong was taken aback and became embarrassed. "Ugh, I didn't mean that. How could we dare to compare with the royal clan? Ah, I thought your Yi clan is stronger than the Tian royal clan." Yun Linshan was disappointed. Yi Xiaolong suddenly felt as though he just made his clan losing face. Before he could find an excuse, Yun Linshan had already spoken first. "I don't know what brings young Master Yi here in the Warsong Nation." Yi Xiaolong was about to answer, but he was interrupted by Yun Linshan's enthusiastic exclaimed, "Don't tell me you're currently experiencing the hardship. This should be your clan's trial for you, right? Amazing." Yi Xiaolong choked back his words and coughed slightly. Under Yun Linshan's enthusiasm, he could not refuse and say otherwise, hence he pretended to admit it. "That's right. I come here to experience the hardship, as you said." Yun Huangxin and Yun Kaingsu tried their best not to laugh when they heard this. Obviously, this young Master Yi had been toyed with by Yun Linshan. He didn't seem to realize he always acted in the direction Yun Linshan gave him. Yun Linshan gave a thumb up to Yi Xiaolong and asked, "I wonder if young Master Yi know why there are so many people here. Is there any big event going on?" Yi Xiaolong was still immersed in acting lofty and didn't realize Yun Linshan tried to get free information from him. He replied without reserve, "Of course I know. You probably never heard of the Sky Throne Profound Academy, right?" Without waiting for Yun Linshan to reply, he said further, "The Sky Throne Profound Academy is the #1 academy of our northern continent. It's located in the Profound Sky Divine City within the Frozen Moon Palace's territory. Every 5 years, they will recruit a new batch of students, and the next recruitment is 7 months away." Yi Xiaolong looked around the dining hall and said further, "Everyone here is probably on their way to the Profound Sky Divine City. Whoever could enter the academy would surely become a prominent figure in the future." "Sky Throne Academy?" Yun Linchen exchanged a glance with Yun Kaingsu and Yun Huangxin. From Yun Huangxin's expression, it was apparent she never heard about this before. Yun Linchen smiled flattery, as expected from young Master Yi. I think there's nothing you don't know about. Yi Xiaolong waved his hand dismissively, pretending to be modest. You're flattering me, I am still young after all. This world is so vast, there are still many things for me to learn. He didn't forget to glance at Yun Kaingsu to see her reaction and found that Yun Kaingsu didn't react at all. He even started to think if she was deaf or something. Yun Linchen poured a cup of water to Yi Xiaolong and asked further, are you going to participate in the academy's recruitment too? Yi Xiaolong drank a mouthful of water and replied proudly, yes. I'm going to take part in it. I definitely qualify to enter the academy. Yun Linchen skipped Yi Xiaolong's boasting part and asked, can you tell me more about the recruitment, young Master Yi? For example, what is the requirement? Yi Xiaolong squinted his eyes and said, why do you want to go too? He looked at Yun Linchen up and down and said, I guess you're already 17 years old now. You are still the 10th level of Foundation Profound Realm despite being this old. I don't think you have a chance to pass the assessment. Why don't you tell me more about it, young Master Yi? This time, it was Yun Kaingsu who said this. Yi Xiaolong became excited. She finally could not hold it anymore. He cleared his throat and said with a serious expression that he thought he was so handsome. If Miss wants to know, of course, Yi Xiaolong will tell you. Yun Linchen almost laughed out loud by Yi Xiaolong's seriousness. Did he think a woman would be impressed by this? Yi Xiaolong began to explain. To be obliged to participate in the assessment, the participant's age must be below 20 and has strength at Spirit Profound Realm at a minimum. The Sky Throne Profound Academy has always maintained absolute fairness. No matter what your background is, you are allowed to apply for the assessment if you pass the initial requirement. The assessment has 3 parts altogether. The first one is, of course, a knowledge test. From what I heard, this part is not particularly difficult. They are merely testing our fundamental knowledge related to the profound ways. The second part is the survival test. You will have to survive in the wilderness for a week. I'm not sure about this one, but my father once told me they allow everyone to kill each other. So if the weak participants don't want to get killed, they could choose to give up at any time. As for the last one, it is the test of strength. Everyone who survived until this test will have to fight each other. Only the top 500 rankings could finally become the student. Yi Xiaolong looked at Yun Linchen and said further, with your current strength, you should forget about it. He then turned to Yun Kaingsu with a smile. However, if Miss is willing to work hard in these 7 months, I think you will certainly reach the Spirit Profound Realm in time. How about this? Why don't you travel with me? I can send you to the Profound Sky Divine City safely. Yun Kaingsu remained silent, wholly ignored Yi Xiaolong's invitation as she turned to Yun Linchen. Yun Linchen wanted to laugh. If Yi Xiaolong knew Yun Kaingsu's actual age, he wouldn't say this. He then asked, I wonder what's the benefit of becoming the student there? Yi Xiaolong was dissatisfied with how Yun Kaingsu seemed to care about Yun Linchen. He said, the place where you come from must be extremely remote to the point that you don't even know about this. It's simple, your fate would change entirely if you managed to enter the academy. Even my father has to be polite in front of their student. You can imagine about it by yourself. Yun Linchen touched his chin and pondered. He simply wanted to determine this Sky Throne Profound Academy's status in the northern continent. From Yi Xiaolong's words, he understood this academy might rank second under the Frozen Moon Palace. Certainly, Yun Linchen didn't intend to participate in this assessment. With the land of beyond heaven, he didn't need to enter a fraction to earn resources. Seeing Yun Linchen pretended to ponder, Yi Xiaolong smiled disdainfully. What's there to think about it? You don't even reach the essence profound realm. He thought, at this moment, various dishes had been served, and Yun Linchen immediately dug in without caring for Yi Xiaolong's contempt. Yi Xiaolong looked at the dishes on the table and frowned. He felt these low-class meals were beneath him. He looked at Yun Kaingsu and said, Miss, why don't you come with me to the private room? I can guarantee the foods there are 100 times better than this. Yun Kaingsu still didn't reply and continued to pick some vegetables for Yun Linchen. Yi Xiaolong's patience reached its limit. He had tolerated Yun Kaingsu many times now, and he didn't want to continue further. His face turned cold. Miss, have you ever heard this, to refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit? I have given you enough face already, but you didn't appreciate it. Don't blame me then. Following that, Yi Xiaolong waved his hand, and 2 strong men in the distance immediately arrived beside Yun Linchen's table. From the aura they had released, their strength should be at least the 10th level of Earth Profound Realm. Yun Linchen wanted to give Yi Xiaolong applause. What a classic. He even said that classic proverb, kill him. Yi Xiaolong pointed at Yun Linchen with a cold smile. He didn't believe Yun Kaingsu won't give in with Yun Linchen's life on the line. the two bodyguards released a powerful aura, enveloping the entire restaurant, causing everyone in the dining hall to suffocate. Yun Linshan sighed and said, "Now I understand the protagonist a bit. No matter how low-key you are, someone will eventually find you trouble. What a headache." Yizaya Along frowned upon hearing this. He didn't understand what Yun Linshan said, but could see Yun Linshan wasn't panicking at all. This caused him to wonder where was Yun Linshan's confidence came from. Just as the two bodyguards were about to grab Yun Linshan, they suddenly found their arms had been severed in a flash. They were stunned for a moment before groaning in pain. Yizaya Along was dumbfounded as he stared at Yun Linshan blankly. His strength had already reached the 10th level of Spirit Profound Realm, but he didn't even notice any movement from Yun Linshan at all. How? Yizaya Along's expression gradually turned horror. He knew he had kicked an iron plate this time. Yun Linshan looked at the several dishes on the table that were now stained with blood with a helpless expression. He sighed and turned to Yun Huangxin. "At least you should protect our food." Yun Huangxin stuck her tongue out and said, "Sorry, I forgot about it." Only this time did Yizaya Along turn to look at Yun Huangxin. He had always regarded her as a little girl for all this time, who would have thought she was an expert. What more, she was even stronger than his bodyguards. Everyone in the dining hall was silent as they were shocked by the sudden turn of events. When they saw Yizaya Along approached Yun Linshan's group, they had already deemed Yun Linshan a dead man. But now, it looked like Yizaya Along was about to become a dead man instead. Thinking of this, some of them who had an idea about Yun Kaiangsu earlier heaved a sigh of relief and felt their luck was too good. They could not imagine what their fate would be if they were to approach Yun Kaiangsu. "Why did you become silent, young Master Yi?" Yun Linshan wiped some bloodstains on the table and asked Yizaya Along with a harmless smile. Looking at Yun Linshan's smile, Yizaya Along felt a chill running down his spine. He realized this young man in front of him was not ordinary at all. Yizaya Along forced a smile as he replied, "I think we got some misunderstandings here. Misunderstanding?" Yun Linshan squinted his eyes. "I remembered you want to kill me earlier. You called this misunderstanding. Young Master, you surely know how to make a joke." Cold sweat appeared on Yizaya Along's forehead and did not know how to refute. His brains spun rapidly, trying to find a way out of this predicament created by himself. Suddenly, Yun Linshan laughed and poured a new cup of water for Yizaya Along. "Don't be nervous, young Master Yi. Since you've said it's a misunderstanding, then it's certainly a misunderstanding." Yizaya Along involuntarily received the cup of water from Yun Linshan with his hands shaking. When he heard Yun Linshan's words, he asked uncertainly, "Really?" Yun Linshan became displeased. "What do you mean by really? Aren't you the one who said this in the first place?" Yizaya Along laughed awkwardly, "Aha ha ha. You're right, brother, He suddenly realized he didn't even know Yun Linshan's name until now. "Yizu, my name is Yizu. See, we have the same surname here. I think we can be good brothers." "What do you think?" Yun Linshan's lips curled up. Yizaya Along was startled and quickly nodded his head. "You're right, brother Yi, I've decided it. You will be my brother from now on." "Good. Let's drink a cup of our sworn blood then." Yun Linshan took out another cup and poured water, mixing it with the two bodyguards' blood on the table, then handed it to Yizaya Along. Yizaya Along received the cup hesitantly and uttered, "You don't want to drink it?" Yun Linshan's face turned cold. "I drink." Yizaya Along didn't hesitate further and drained the cup in one go. Yun Linshan smiled with satisfaction and said, "Good brother." Yun Kaiangsu and Yun Huangxin watched the whole process with amusement. They never thought Yun Linshan could be this bad. This Yizaya Along was so unfortunate by messing with Yun Linshan. Yun Linshan suddenly stood and went to the two bodyguards' side before taking out several silver needles. "Since both of you are brother Yi's subordinates, I'll help you reconnect your arms then." Following that, Yun Linshan skillfully reconnected the two bodyguards' arms. It took him only 5 minutes before he successfully reconnected their arms back to their original positions. At this moment, Yizaya Along had forgotten his resentment entirely upon witnessing Yun Linshan's magical healing profound art. As a young master of the Yi clan, he naturally understood the meaning of having high attainment in healing profound art at such a young age. It was as he expected. Yun Linshan's background was no ordinary at all. Thinking of this, Yizaya Along wanted to slap himself. He shouldn't have coveted Yun Kaiangsu in the first place, and it resulted in offending such a character in the process. The two bodyguards moved their hands in disbelief. They felt as though their arms had never been severed before. "What are you two blanking for? Hurry, thank brother Yi." Yizaya Along roared angrily at his bodyguards. His action made everyone in the dining hall roll their eyes at him. Yizaya Along's roar brought the two bodyguards back to their senses, and they hurriedly bowed at Yun Linshan. "Thank you, young Master Yi." Yun Linshan waved his hand dismissively and returned to his seat. He looked at the food on the table and was about to call the waitress, but Yi Xiaolong had already shouted first, "Waitress, clear the table and give Brother Yi the best dish you have here. Ah, having a brother is surely convenient." Yun Linshan clicked his tongue and nodded his head with satisfaction. Yun Kaiengsu and Yun Huangxin rolled their eyes at him. "Are you sure he is your brother and not a servant?" Yi Xiaolong heard this. He smiled brightly and patted his chest. "You can eat what you like, Brother Yi. Today's meal is on me." Yun Linshan wasn't polite at all and ordered the most expensive dish and wine without reserve. A while later, the table was full of various delicacies, and Yun Linshan immediately dug in with joy. Yi Xiaolong watched the three of them eat and did not know what to say. To tell the truth, he did not have any resentment toward Yun Linshan anymore. Although he was forced to drink his bodyguard's blood, he felt it was justified as he offended Yun Linshan first. This small punishment was nothing at all compared to losing his life. "Oh right, Brother Yi, do you know where I can find good beddings in this town?" Yun Linshan drank a mouthful of fine wine and said, "Bedding?" Yi Xiaolong was puzzled. "Why would you want beddings?" Looking at Yun Linshan's frowning, Yi Xiaolong realized his question was inappropriate, and he hurriedly said, "I know where to find them. Brother, you might not know this. This town is actually famous for snow wind silk. They are raising the snow wind silkworm here. Most of the high-quality clothing throughout the entire northern continent mainly comes from this place. You can definitely find the highest quality bedding here." Snow wind silkworm. Yun Linshan remembered Yun Qingru once told him about this before. No wonder this town was called Snow Wind Town. His eyes lit up and he asked, "I wonder if Brother Yi can help me buy some beddings. Also, if it is possible, I want to buy snow wind silkworm too." Yi Xiaolong knew a chance to make amends had come. He patted his chest domineeringly. "Since Brother Yi wants it, Yi Xiaolong definitely help you buy it. You can leave this matter to me." Yun Linshan was speechless once again. This guy really loved saying in such a grandiose tone. "How many beddings Brother Yi wants?" Yi Xiaolong asked. Yun Linshan touched his chin, thinking briefly, and said, "I want around 2,000 of them. Can you buy it?" Yi Xiaolong was dumbfounded by the number Yun Linshan gave him. Was he going to open an inn or something? Yi Xiaolong didn't think about it further as he understood everyone had their own secret. He accepted the task readily. "No problem, Brother Yi can leave this matter to me." Yun Linshan nodded. "You can ask the price first and come to get money from me." Yi Xiaolong wanted to show his sincerity, but he forgot he couldn't afford the price of snow wind silk beddings. He swallowed his words back and said, "Do you have a place to stay, Brother Yi?" Seeing Yun Linshan shook his head, Yi Xiaolong said further, "Then why don't you come to my place? I have a manor here. It's absolutely private and convenient than staying in the inn." Yun Linshan thought for a moment and answered, "Then I'll have to trouble Brother Yi." Yi Xiaolong was elated. Since Yun Linshan accepted his goodwills, that meant he had already forgiven him. After all of them finished the meal, Yi Xiaolong led Yun Linshan's group to his private manor on the west side of the town. This manor was big enough to contain 100 people with no problem. "Brother Yi, you and sisters can rest here first. I'll send someone to ask about the bedding in a while," Yi Xiaolong said after settling Yun Linshan's group in one of the secluded courtyards. "Thank you," Yun Linshan said and looked around the courtyard in satisfaction. "Then I'll leave first. If you want anything, you can tell the servant directly." Yi Xiaolong said a few words and left the courtyard. Yun Huangxin carefully checked the surrounding before she set up an isolation barrier around the courtyard. "Why did you spare him?" Yun Kaiengsu sat on a chair in the middle of the room and asked. Yun Linshan took a kettle out and started brewing tea before he answered. "He's still useful. We can observe him first." Yun Kaiengsu went silent while Yun Huangxin was busy with her pastry. In another courtyard, Yi Xiaolong sat behind a long table and kept drinking fine wine to get rid of the taste of blood in his mouth. "Young master, are we going to let them go like this?" one of the two bodyguards said. He felt this wasn't Yi Xiaolong's style to let this matter rest. Yi Xiaolong glared at him and said, "Can you kill them?" The two bodyguards glanced at each other and shook their heads. What a joke. They didn't even know their hands were severed a while ago. How could they have the ability to kill them? Yi Xiaolong threw the wine cup at them angrily, "Then asking me this question for what?" The two bodyguards were embarrassed and lowered their heads, did not dare to say anything further. Yi Xiaolong panted angrily for a while before he calmed down and said, "Don't you see his medical profound art earlier?" The two bodyguards nodded. They had somewhat admired Yun Linshan and felt gratitude for helping them reconnected their hands. Otherwise, they would become a cripple for the rest of their life. "You've lived for many years. Have you ever seen a mere 17-year-old boy possess such superb medical skills?" Yi Xiaolong asked. The two bodyguards shook their heads. This was the first time they saw someone who possessed such a high-level medical skill at a young age. And he even has at least the Sky Profound Realms expert with him. "Do you think he's an ordinary person?" Yi Xiaolong asked again. Seeing the two bodyguards shook their heads once again, Yi Xiaolong continued, "That's right, he is not simple as he appears to be. There should be a terrifying force behind him. This time I've kicked an iron plate for real." Recalling the moment Yun Huixin severed his bodyguard's arms, a trace of fear appeared in Yi Xiaolong's heart again. He felt he was lucky enough to keep his life until now. How could he dare to retaliate against Yun Linchen after this? Although Yi Xiaolong was arrogant, he still knew when to stretch and when to bend. No matter what, from now on, he won't dare to offend Yun Linchen again. Yi Xiaolong waved his hand. "Go ask Master Kong for the bedding and snow wind silkworm for me. I want to rest for a while." The two bodyguards accepted the task and went out of the courtyard, leaving Yi Xiaolong behind alone. Yi Xiaolong stared blankly for a moment before he took a transmission jade out, appearing hesitant. After carefully considering, he shook his head and put the transmission jade away. Yun Linchen stayed in the Yi Xiaolong's manor for 2 days before the 2,000 beddings, and 10 snow wind silkworms had finally arrived. He looked at the thousands of luxury beddings in front of him and nodded in satisfaction. He was satisfied with the quality of these beddings. Not only would it help relieve the user's fatigue by just lying on it, but it also had the ability to calm the user's mind. Naturally, it wasn't as effective as the serene bamboo or heavenly sandalwood, but it was considered one of the best products that people could find in the Azure world. Yun Linchen turned to Yi Xiaolong and asked, "I wonder how did Brother Yi manage to get all of them?" At first, Yun Linchen thought he would have to wait for at least 1 month before these items arrived, but Yi Xiaolong surprised him by getting all of them in 2 days. Yi Xiaolong smiled proudly. "I've been in contact with Master Kong, who is the person in charge of Snow Wind Trading Firm since I was young, so asking him for this is not a big deal." Yun Linchen nodded his head. It was as he expected. Yi Xiaolong was indeed useful. He didn't think this Master Kong would sell all of these beddings to him if it was him. Not to mention the Snow Wind Silkworm was extremely rare. Even some powerful clans could not get a hand on it, but Yi Xiaolong could get 10. "Very well, how much?" Yun Linchen asked. Yi Xiaolong hesitated slightly before he raised 2 fingers. "It's 200 million gold coins." After finishing his sentence, Yi Xiaolong observed Yun Linchen's expression nervously for fearing Yun Linchen think he tried to scam him. Seeing Yun Linchen was silent, Yi Xiaolong hurriedly said, "I'll ask Master Kong for more discount. Brother Yi can wait for a moment." Yun Linchen suddenly laughed and stopped Yi Xiaolong. "No need, Brother Yi, I can afford it. I just can't believe it would be this cheap." It wasn't Yun Linchen boasting, but he did think like this. To him, these beddings plus 10 snow wind silkworms should be at least 1 billion gold coins, and he even prepared some middle-grade profound stones before this, in case his gold coins were not enough. Yun Linchen waved his hand, and several stacks of gold notes landed on the ground, along with small piles of gold coins. Yi Xiaolong and his 2 bodyguards stared at the mountain of gold notes and gold coins in front of them in shock. Even though they were the Yi clan members, they had never seen this enormous amount of wealth before. "This," Yi Xiaolong became stuttered. His eyes swept over Yun Linchen's hands and found nothing. Where the hell did he keep all of this money? Yun Linchen saw through his thought and smiled faintly, offering nothing for an explanation. It was his plan, deliberate, creating the mysteriousness around him. With this, Yi Xiaolong won't dare to have an ulterior motive for him again. Yi Xiaolong came back to his sense and hurriedly told his 2 bodyguards and some servants on the outside to carry all of the gold notes and gold coins away. "If Brother Yi still needs something, please don't hesitate to tell me. I'll try my best to find them for you." Yi Xiaolong put a flattering smile up. Now, Yi Xiaolong was certain Yun Linchen was hailed from one of the top fractions in the northern continent. Befriending this kind of character was definitely benefited him in the future. That was why he tried to get on Yun Linchen's good side. Yun Linchen smiled on the outside, but he was snickered inwardly because Yi Xiaolong had fallen entirely into the illusion he created as he expected. "All right, I'll certainly look for Brother Yi if I need anything else. You can go back first," Yun Linchen said. Yi Xiaolong was delighted. It seemed Yun Linchen had approved the relationship with him. He said, "Then I'll go first." Yun Linchen watched Yi Xiaolong left the courtyard and letting out a soft chuckle. "Why don't we just kill him? You've revealed too much information to him," Yun Huixin said while lying on one bedding comfortably. Yun Kaingsu was also thought the same. It would be best if they killed Yi Xiaolong right now. Yun Linchen shook his head and explained his thoughts. "We don't need to kill him because in his mind right now, there is a powerful force behind us. Aside from being arrogant, he is not entirely stupid. He won't dare to bet offending us by telling others our information. And if we killed him, I am certain his family would send someone after us. I know with Huixin here, they won't be able to get us easily. However, there's nothing such as absolutely safe in this world. Both of you know that. Therefore, instead of having someone trailing us, why don't we make them fear us and stop thinking how to come after us? Yun Xianxia and Yun Huangxin looked at Yun Linchen with admiration. They felt Yun Linchen's meticulous thinking was no different from Yun Runyu, or even better in reading people's minds. The more they witnessed this, the more curious they became. They honestly wanted to know what exactly his background was in his past life. In truth, Yun Linchen was merely preventing the cliché situation in those novels from happening. He knew once he killed Yi Xiaolong, his elder would come after him for revenge, and then his uncle would come. After that, it would be his father and his grandfather until everyone in his clan come. He just didn't want to experience that situation. Yun Linchen waved his hand and stored all the beddings in his interspatial ring. He moved to a large ice jar and saw 10 palm-sized white silkworms wriggling in it. So this is the snow-wind silkworm. What a cute little guy. Yun Linchen used his finger to poke the silkworm playfully, and the next moment, his finger suddenly started to freeze. Whoa, so fierce! Yun Linchen retracted his finger, and Yun Xianxia quickly used her profound energy to prevent his finger from freezing further. Yun Huangxin came to his side and looked at the snow-wind silkworm. You shouldn't have teased them. Do you know the fully grown-up snow-wind silkworm can easily freeze the ruler Profound Realms practitioner with no problem? Yun Linchen's jaw dropped in shock. He admitted he didn't know much about the snow-wind silkworm, but he didn't expect it to be this powerful. How could people raise them here? Yun Linchen asked in puzzlement. Yun Huangxin shook her head. You should ask Sister Kingru about it. Where to go next? After checking Yun Linchen's finger was fine, Yun Xianxia asked. Yun Linchen smiled and said, we will continue to head north for the time being. I want to find a secluded place with some low-level profound beasts and concentrate on practice. Yun Xianxia nodded. Leaving tonight? Yun Linchen touched his chin. No. We will leave in the morning. Yun Xianxia and Yun Huangxin didn't say anything further, and the three of them went back to their own room, continue to practice. Sitting on the bed, Yun Linchen let out a long breath and looked at the emptied profound stone in his hand. He had been trying to break through to the essence profound realm, but he discovered his beyond heaven profound vein was like a bottomless pit. He had wasted 20 high-grade profound stones until now, but his progress did not seem to improve at all. Yun Linchen frowned and pondered whether he missed something. To practice the primordial beyond heaven scripture, one's needed to improve 3 ways: body, essence, and soul altogether. However, Yun Linchen didn't think any one of them was inferior. What did he miss then? The following day, Yun Linchen called Yi Xiaolong and asked him to find materials such as iron, marble, and copper. Yi Xiaolong did not let him down and prepared everything within 2 hours. Thank you, Brother Yi, Yun Linchen said politely. Yi Xiaolong waved his hand. It's nothing, Brother Yi. He seemed to see Yun Linchen was about to leave. He asked, Are you leaving? Yun Linchen smiled. Yes, we're leaving. When are you going to leave for the profound sky divine city? Brother, you want to go too? Yi Xiaolong thought Yun Linchen asked this because he was also headed to the profound sky divine city. Yun Linchen shook his head. Perhaps one day, but not now. Yi Xiaolong was disappointed slightly. He wanted to get to know Yun Linchen more, but it seemed their fate would end here. He nodded his head. I'll leave tomorrow with my clan's juniors. They will arrive here today. Well, good luck on the assessment, Yun Linchen responded. He suddenly thought of something and asked, By the way, Brother Yi, do you know where I can find a place with a high amount of low-level profound beasts nearby here? Yi Xiaolong pondered for a while before he replied. I don't know if there is such a place here in the Warsong Nation. But if Brother Yi go further north and reach the Spring Wind Nation, you will find such a place almost everywhere. Spring Wind Nation? Yun Linchen remembered Spring Wind Nation was connected to the Frozen Moon Palace's territory. Why did such a place have so many profound beasts? Seeing Yun Linchen was in doubt, Yi Xiaolong said further, Brother, you might not know this. Recently, the Spring Wind Nation is encountering a profound beast tide. I heard my father said that it's happened at the same time as the snow poison incident in our Sky Fall Nation months ago, and the situation over there is not optimistic. Yun Linchen's brows raised up in surprise. I am indeed unaware of this incident. If I remember correctly, the Spring Wind Nation connects to the Frozen Moon Palace's territory. Shouldn't the Frozen Moon Palace send someone to deal with this profound beast tide? How come they let the Spring Wind Nation facing this alone? Naturally, Yun Linchen didn't know much about the Frozen Moon Palace's attitude, but he believed they definitely sent someone to check on the situation. After all, this incident was likely related to the Poison Valley. Yi Xiaolong smiled wryly. I don't know about this, Brother Yi. The Frozen Moon Palace is beyond my clan's reach. Even my father has never come into contact with them before. At the same time, Yi Xiaolong was convinced further as he thought Yun Linshan seemed familiar with the Frozen Moon Palace, which meant he was indeed hailed from the prominent fraction. If Yun Linshan knew this, he would laugh out loud at Yi Xiaolong's exaggerated imagination. "All right, thank you, Brother Yi, we will leave now," Yun Linshan said and prepared to leave. Yi Xiaolong said a few words before sending Yun Linshan's group out of the town. Watching Yun Linshan's group disappeared from his line of sight, Yi Xiaolong turned to his two bodyguards and said, "Don't tell anyone about Brother Yi." The two bodyguards nodded firmly. They understood that if someone followed Yun Linshan later, he might think Yi Xiaolong leaked his information. The atmosphere in the land of Beyond Heaven was lively with the addition of Kang Xiao's group. Currently, several children could be seen running around the place, while the construction of 7 pagodas was online once again with the newly brought materials. Kang Xiao was currently cooking in the cafeteria's spacious kitchen. After learning how to make food with the spirit ingredient for a week, she could now make proper spirit food and became the cafeteria's head chef. At this moment, 2 little girls poked their heads out from behind the kitchen door to look at Kang Xiao. More precisely, she looked at various delicacies on the long table behind Kang Xiao. "Looks delicious," the little girl with braids said while drooling. Another girl nodded her head in an agreed manner. "Zainer Ayer, what are you two doing here?" Suddenly, Yun Xiai's voice rang out behind the 2 little girls, causing them to shudder. "Mom," the girl with the braid, Yun Xian, turned around and put on a sweet smile, looking at her mother. "Aunt Xi," Li Ayer also hurriedly greeted Yun Xi. At this moment, Kang Xiao seemed to hear her daughter's voice as she turned to look at the door and saw her daughter and Yun Xian stood there. She shook her head helplessly and shouted, "Both of you, go to the dining area and wait for a while. The food will be ready soon." Yun Xi looked at Kang Xiao with a smile and quickly brought Yun Xian and Li Ayer away. "Mom, where's big brother Yun? I haven't seen him for a while now," Yun Xian asked. Although Yun Linshan would come back to the land of Beyond Heaven once in a while, she was particularly fond of him. Perhaps it was because Yun Linshan gave her an anime to watch. Yun Xi smiled and said, "He is busy with something." Yun Xian pouted. During these days, she was forced to practice to the point she didn't have time to watch anime. It was entirely different with Yun Linshan around. She didn't have to practice hard like this. That was why she wanted to know Yun Linshan's whereabouts. "Who is talking about me?" Suddenly, a familiar voice resounded from the cafeteria's entrance, and Yun Linshan's figure slowly appeared. Yun Xian and Li Ayer's eyes lit up and quickly rushed to Yun Linshan. "Big brother Yun," both little girls shouted sweetly and jumped into Yun Linshan's embrace. "Have you practiced diligently during these days?" Yun Linshan scooped them up and asked with a gentle smile. Both little girls nodded their heads and clenched their fists, showing their power to Yun Linshan. "Oh, both of you are already on the first level." Yun Linshan was surprised by their progress. It had been only a week, and they had already stepped into the first level of Foundation Profound Realm. This speed was considered abnormally fast for an ordinary person who started from zero without any profound knowledge beforehand like them. Looking at the 2 little girls' smug faces, Yun Linshan chuckled and placed them on a chair nearby. At this moment, Kang Xiao walked out of the kitchen with a cart full of delicacies. When she saw Yun Linshan, she was surprised, slightly bowed her head politely at him. Yun Linshan sniffed the aroma and said, "It seems head chef Kang's culinary skill has improved once again. You have overpraised me, headmaster." Kang Xiao was replied modestly and placed all the dishes on the table. Although the 2 little girls were greedy for food, they didn't lose the manner and looked at Yun Linshan for permission first. "Let's eat." Yun Linshan beckoned them and used chopsticks to pick up tomato salad into his mouth. Yun Linshan's eyes lit up after chewing a few times. Delicious. He didn't expect the spirit crop would be this much different from the usual crop. Now he understood why a practitioner would prefer spirit food over anything. Kang Xiao smiled from ear to ear. She was slightly nervous as she worried the food she made might not suit Yun Linshan's taste, but now, seeing Yun Linshan's happy expression, the heavy stone on her chest was lifted. "Come. Eat with us." Yun Linshan beckoned Kang Xiao to sit down, and the latter complied obediently. The meal went on with no one talking as they were busy devouring the food. Suddenly, Yun Linshan's body shook, and he felt he was about to make a breakthrough. Yun Linshan's eyes widened open in shock and hurriedly left the table, leaving Kang Xiao and others looking at him in a daze. Yun Linshan arrived at the Profound Spirit Lake, currently known as the Misty Lake, and jumped into it without hesitation. Yun Runyu, who was not far away, saw this and immediately arrived nearby Yun Linshan along. Yun Linshan closed his eyes, letting his body float on the surface, and circulated the profound energy according to the primordial Beyond Heaven scripture. Instantaneously, a powerful aura erupted from Yun Linshan's body, causing the lake's surface to ripple. The spiritual mist around the lake gradually gathered around Yun Linshan, forming into a mini cyclone a moment later. The commotion caused everyone around the lake to look at him, and they were immediately stunned when they saw the cyclone around Yun Linshan drawing the water nearby and formed into a giant water pillar. What's going on? Even the resourceful person like Yun Runyu was also shocked by the scene. She never heard anyone could cause this huge commotion during breaking through to the essence profound realm. Yun Kaingsu's Yun Huangxin, Yun Meilan, Yun Lingwei, and Yun Qingru arrived beside Yun Runyu, one by one, and stood dumbfounded there, looking at the water pillar. Is he okay? Yun Kaingsu turned to Yun Huangxin, as she was the most powerful person right now. Yun Huangxin used her spiritual sense to check on Yun Linshan, and a frown appeared on her face. This is not right. Why would his body constantly break and reconstructing? This is not the nature when people are breaking through to the essence profound realm. Hearing this, Yun Kaingsu was anxious, but she didn't know how to help Yun Linshan. She hurriedly went back to the villa and asked Lin about it. Don't worry, miss, this is a normal occurrence. Master will be safe and sound. Lin answered, but her answer failed to ease Yun Kaingsu's restlessness. Currently, Yun Linshan began to feel extreme pain all over his body, but it soon turned numb as his mind entered the state of emptiness. Nothing can escape from the eyes of heaven. Suddenly, an ancient voice echoed in Yun Linshan's mind. The voice was vague and faint to the point that Yun Linshan could not hear properly. The only thing he could hear clearly was the words eyes of heaven and nothing else. Eyes of heaven. What is that? Yun Linshan asked in his mind, but there was no answer as the ancient voice seemed to disappear completely. Boom! All of a sudden, a loud bang occurred in Yun Linshan's mind, and he felt as his eyes were stabbed by tens of thousands of blades before burning with scorching heat. Ugh! A wave of pain emanated from a force devouring Yun Linshan's eyes, making him let out a painful whine. His entire body started to shake tremendously, while the water pillar spun rapidly and crashed with him from time to time. Linshan, Yun Kaingsu was anxious when she heard his painful cry. She was about to rush at him, but Yun Huangxin held her back firmly. Let me go, Yun Kaingsu shouted angrily, but Yun Huangxin turned deaf as she had a clearer picture of Yun Linshan's situation than Yun Kaingsu. We shouldn't intervene in his process, just believe in him. Yun Runyu blocked Yun Kaingsu and said. Yun Kaingsu took a deep breath to calm herself down and stared attentively at the water pillar. She knew this was a crucial moment for Yun Linshan, and she should not let her emotion get over her. The surrounding profound energy flew toward Yun Linshan from all directions and was constantly absorbed by him. Every broken bone and wound within his body was gradually recovered at an abnormally high speed. The scorching pain in Yun Linshan's eyes was still going on for several minutes before it gradually subsided, wholly disappeared. At this moment, Yun Linshan could clearly feel he had already broken through to the first level of the essence profound realm, but his current strength was even surpassed the 10th level. While he was perceiving his new strength, the water pillar gradually dissipated along with the spiritual mist. When Yun Kaingsu and the rest saw Yun Linshan was safe and sound, they heaved a sigh of relief and began to approach him. Just as they were about to reach Yun Linshan's side, Yun Linshan suddenly opened his eyes, and a golden light burst out from his eyes, making everyone rooted on the spot and stared at him blankly. Yun Linshan's vision was blurry as he could only see the golden sheen. In the next moment, he seemed to see the flow of profound energy around him. After carefully checking and confirmed he had indeed seen the energy flow, he was dumbfounded for a second before he thought of something and mumbled. Eyes of heaven. Yun Kaingsu and the rest felt as though they were naked in front of Yun Linshan's golden eyes just by a mere glance from him. What is that? Yun Lingwei asked curiously. Yun Runyu turned to Yun Huangxin and said, How do you feel, Sister Huangxin? Comparing to others, Yun Huangxin was more sensitive. When Yun Linshan's gaze swept over her, she could feel a terrifying spiritual sense lock on her, as if everything could not be hidden from him. Yun Huangxin replied, This should be some kind of eyes sorcery. He clearly hasn't formed spiritual sense yet, but this technique allows him to have one, but I guess he could not use it often. It was true, as Yun Huangxin said. After staring at the surrounding energy for a little while, a wave of fatigue suddenly hit Yun Linshan, making him almost faint on the spot. Linshan, Yun Kaingsu hurriedly arrived at his side and lifted him up. Yun Linshan shook his head to gain some clarity and gave a reassuring smile to Yun Kaingsu. I'm fine, I have overdrawn my power. Yun Kaingsu quickly brought Yun Linshan to the villa and let him rest. Lying on the bed, Yun Linshan's mind was occupied by the ancient voice of earlier. For some reason, he felt familiar with this voice, but he could not think who the person was. Naturally, he thought of his father, but he denied it later as he always remembered his father's voice, and this ancient voice was entirely different. Eyes of Heaven, the first ability of the primordial beyond heaven scripture. It grants the user heaven's eyes that could see through any illusion and the world's energy. Yun Linshan recited the knowledge he just obtained after the eyes of heaven had awakened. The ability of the eyes of heaven was too overpowered, in Yun Linshan's opinion. Not only all the illusion would be useless in front of this ability, but he could also use it to detect any formation's eyes. The only flaw he could find it right now was probably his pupils would turn golden every time he used it. This would alarm an enemy during the battle. Maybe I can hide it later, Yun Linshan thought. He wasn't a man who loved doing something flashy like those protagonists in the novels. If possible, he would love to have all of his abilities conceal. However, he also understood sometimes it was almost impossible to conceal it. Taking the dragon fist as an example, the virtual dragon would be manifested every time he used it. Yun Linshan pondered for a while before he fell asleep unknowingly. The following day, Yun Linshan had a good breakfast and went to the waterfall, which was now filled with 100-odds people. During this period, he had never forgotten to transform his people's profound vein every day. When he thought of this, Yun Linshan wanted to know whether his transformation ability had improved after he stepped into the essence profound realm. Without further ado, he called 3 random girls nearby the shore and started transforming their profound veins. As expected, I can now use it 3 times a day with no problem. Yun Linshan wiped the sweat out of his forehead while muttering to himself. He had discovered that using the transformation ability 3 times did not exhaust him completely like before, and he could feel 4 times should not be a problem. Your ability has improved. Yun Xianxia arrived by Yun Linshan's side with a cup of water. Yun Linshan received the cup of water and replied, "Yes, with this we can speed up the process so that everyone can start practice faster," he said further. "I plan to go out soon. I don't think I can make progress by staying here. When I was broke through yesterday, I found out that I need plenty of nutrition to advance. With only these spirit crops might not enough for me." Yun Xianxia agreed. "Then we will go out together." Yun Linshan shook his head. "I'll go out alone this time. Xianxia needs to get the transformation soon. Otherwise, she would be left behind sooner or later." Yun Xianxia frowned. "But it's too dangerous. You're only the first level of Essence Profound Realm right now. What if you encountered some Earth Profound practitioners?" Yun Linshan smiled. "Don't worry, I will find a suitable place to stay first and I will lay a high-level formation to cover up." Yun Xianxia was about to refute, but Yun Linshan interrupted her. "This is a necessary risk. You also know that, if we want to advance further, taking risks is necessary. After all, the practitioner is bound to go against heaven. We cannot simply take safety route all the time." Yun Xianxia went silent after hearing this. She was agreed with Yun Linshan's words deep down. In the past, people regarded her as a heaven-chosen genius, but no one knew how hard she worked behind the facade of genius. There were countless moments she took the risk of losing her life to gain a small reward in return. It was because of this she could become the snow cloud fairy that was known by everyone. Yun Xianxia gave in. "Then let Xianxia send you to the place first. I'll stay here and wait for you. If it's possible, you should come back here every day." Yun Linshan smiled. "Deal." Following that, Yun Linshan started practicing by jumping onto the boulder beneath the waterfall as he did before. However, this time he could withstand longer than when he was at the Foundation Profound Realm. This made him ecstatic for a while. "Awesome." Yun Linshan was blasted away by the waterfall's pressure, but the smile on his face never faded away. He didn't expect the difference between the Essence Profound Realm and the Foundation Profound Realm would be this huge. It was a whole new level when he first broke through to the Essence Profound Realm back then. "Weird, there is no snow here." Yun Linshan looked around in puzzlement. He just arrived at the perimeter of the Spring Wind Nation with Yun Xianxia and found this place did not have snow at all. On the contrary, there was a gentle spring breeze from time to time. "So it's really spring wind, huh?" Yun Linshan didn't expect this place would be true as its name. Yun Xianxia was wondered as well. This was the first time she came across the Spring Wind Nation. Hence, she didn't know anything about this place at all. The place they were currently standing right now was a plain area with some ancient trees. The ground was entirely filled with rock, but it wasn't hard for a carriage to move along. Yun Linshan could hear a gurgling sound drifting along with the wind from time to time. Without a doubt, there must be a river nearby. Roar. Just as Yun Linshan and Yun Xianxia were about to move, suddenly, a loud roar came from afar along with a huge shadow running toward them. "Stone Rhino, peak essence profound beast." Yun Xianxia used her spiritual sense to check the identity of the incoming figure. Yun Linshan's eyes fixated on the 3 meters long rhino with stone skins and said, "Leave it to me. I want to test my strength a bit." Yun Xianxia retracted her hand that was about to take a shot at the rhino and spread her spiritual sense out to check the surroundings in case there were others nearby. Roar! The stone rhino roared angrily and charged at Yun Linshan, aiming its horn at him. Yun Linshan stomped one foot on the ground to stabilize his body firmly while gathering profound energy on his right fist. When the stone rhino was about to hit him, Yun Linshan let out a battle cry and executed the dragon fist at the stone rhino's head. Boom! Yun Linshan's fist collided with the stone rhino's head and immediately sent it away several meters with a long trail of blood flowing out of its head. Meanwhile, Yun Linshan didn't even move an inch from the spot. Yun Huangxin was surprised when she saw this. The stone rhino was famous for its defensive ability, but Yun Linshan only used a small portion of his strength to send it away. It was clear Yun Linshan's current strength had already reached the peak of Essence Profound Realm. Yun Linshan did not just stand still on the place. He quickly used the shadow step to approach the stone rhino and sent another dragon fist on its head. This time, Yun Linshan didn't stop as one punch. He continued to hit one after another until the stone rhino's head was shattered into pieces, lying motionless on the ground. Yun Linshan retracted his fist and exhaled. He looked at the stone rhino's remains with doubt before he said, "If I remember correctly, the stone rhino has a mild personality in nature. Why would it attack us as if its life is on the line?" Typically, the profound beasts were extremely frenzied in nature. If they saw a human, they would pounce and assault that person as if they were enemies who could never coexist under the same sky. However, there were also some profound beasts with a mild personalities, and the stone rhino was one of them. "This is probably the profound beast tide that Yi Xiaolong said." Yun Huangxin arrived at his side and checked on the stone rhino's remains. Yun Linshan squat down to find a clue on the stone rhino's remains, but he found nothing in the end. He thought for a moment and decided to try with the eyes of heaven. Yun Linshan closed his eyes for a moment, and when he opened them again, his pupils had turned entirely golden. He stared at the stone rhino and suddenly found a small black dot within the stone rhino's heart. "What is this?" Yun Linshan said after picking the stone rhino's heart out. He used a silver knife in his hand to poke the small dot he saw. In the next moment, a terrifying scene occurred as the silver knife suddenly turned red before it melted, causing Yun Linshan to throw it away. "What the hell?" Yun Linshan was shocked. One had to know the silver knife was made of essence iron, easily withstand high temperature and acid, but this small black dot managed to melt it so easily. "What did you see?" Yun Huangxin asked as she didn't see the tiny black dot like Yun Linshan. However, she could feel a terrifying power within the stone rhino's heart earlier. Yun Linshan shook his head and said, "I don't know as well. There is a trace of unknown energy within this heart. It's too strange. While it could melt the essence iron, it didn't harm the stone rhino's heart at all." Yun Huangxin frowned and used her spiritual sense to recheck the heart, but she could not find anything at all. "What kind of energy is this?" "My spiritual sense actually could not detect it." Yun Linshan hesitated for a moment before he stored the stone rhino remains away along with its heart. "We will find out later. Let's find a secluded place first," Yun Linshan said and immediately set off in the river's direction. Along the way, Yun Linshan and Yun Huangxin were constantly attacked by several profound beasts, but all of them were only the peak essence profound beast, which Yun Linshan had no problem dealing with them. The small black energy could be seen in every single one of the profound beast, causing Yun Linshan to frown deeper. It was a pity. Back then, he didn't have the eyes of heaven ability. Otherwise, he would know whether there was this black energy within those wilted crops. As they continued to move forward, the number of profound beasts were gradually increased, and not a single person could be seen around this place. "Strange, we haven't met anyone so far. Where are they going?" Yun Linshan was confused. Although the nation's size was enormous, Yun Linshan didn't believe he won't encounter a single person around this place. Significantly, the profound beast in this place wasn't strong. It could be a paradise for some practitioners if they wanted to earn money. Yun Huangxin didn't detect anyone either. She said, "Maybe they're suffering from the profound beast tide somewhere. If we want to know, we need to go to the city." Yun Linshan looked around for a moment, then shook his head. "Forget it. Our purpose here is to find profound beast's meat, but I wonder if it could be eaten." He didn't want to take risks after discovering the strange black energy within the profound beast. "It might be the same as the wilted crop that could harm people after consuming. We will find a secluded place first. I need to enter the land of beyond heaven to check with Lin." Yun Linshan made a decision. Both of them traveled for hours before arriving at a 3-meter-wide river with a waterfall falling from a small hill. Yun Linshan quickly decided to make this place his base, as profound beasts would definitely come to drink water, and he could use this chance to kill them. "Please help me make a cave behind the waterfall. I will lay a formation around here first." Yun Linshan told Yun Huangxin and started inscribing ancient runes on the formation stones he brought out. while Yun Huangxin used her sword to open a cave behind the waterfall's curtain. An hour later, Yun Linshan had entirely laid a ruler-level killing formation with an alarm formation covering 200 square meters. With this, even the ruler profound practitioner wouldn't be a threat to Yun Linshan. We will go back first. It's time to transform your profound vein now, Yun Linshan said, and brought Yun Huangxin to the cave before he activated a high-level conceal formation and entered the land of beyond heaven with her. Are you sure? I would take a long time to regain my power, Yun Huangxin asked worriedly. Without her power, Yun Linshan might not be able to travel or escape when facing a powerful enemy. Yun Linshan firmly said, I can't delay you further. When you start practicing a new profound art, your strength would be increased by leaps and bounds. At that time, even facing a saint would be no problem, and this is the right time to do it. After all, I will stay in the place for a long time until I reach the spirit profound realm. Yun Huangxin said nothing further and calmly accepted Yun Linshan's transformation power. 30 minutes later, her profound vein had wholly transformed, and she immediately understood how powerful it was. Yun Linshan took a deep breath to recover his mental strength before he said, Go to the library and pick the Void God's secret art to practice. I think it is the most powerful space-related profound art. Yun Huangxin nodded and walked toward the library. After sending Yun Huangxin away, Yun Linshan went to the villa's basement and skillfully laid an isolation formation before taking out the stone rhino's heart and placing it on a long table. Lin, have you detected the black energy within this? Yun Linshan asked. Lin immediately replied, Master, I cannot detect it. Just as Yun Linshan was disappointed, Lin said further, but listening to Master's explanation, I found a piece of information that might be related to it. Master can take a look at this book. Yun Linshan turned to the screen on the wall and saw the book called The Record of Abyssal Energy on it. Abyssal Energy? Yun Linshan was puzzled. He didn't linger further and quickly retrieved the book before returning to the basement and started reading. Page by page, Yun Linshan skimmed through it and found interesting information. The abyssal energy was born from the creature called Abyssal Overlord, who reigns supreme in the abyssal world. This abyssal energy could cause a negative impact on one's mind. It could make people or profound beasts enter the frenzy state and ultimately lost their consciousness. Yun Linshan was stunned upon reading this because he seemed to recall something. The blazing sun monarch, Yan Qi, had told him before about the incident 4,000 years ago. It was said at that time there were countless profound beasts appeared in the azure world. Their skins were dark as ink and they would emit a deadly poison aura. Later, these profound beasts had become the Poison Valley. Could it be this is genuinely the Poison Valley's deeds? Then, do they come from the abyssal world? Yun Linshan thought. He suddenly felt as though he just discovered the truth behind the incident 4,000 years ago. However, everything was merely his own guess for now. He did not have evidence to prove it. Yun Linshan hurriedly flipped through the book to find the Abyssal Overlord and the Abyssal World information. Unfortunately, there was no further detail regarding the Abyssal World or the Abyssal Overlord within the book. Lin, is there any book related to this Abyssal World? Yun Linshan asked. This is the only book, Master. Lin replied. Yun Linshan frowned and was slightly agitated. He hated this feeling when he was about to figure something, but he lacked information in the end. Since he couldn't do anything at the moment, Yun Linshan continued to read the Abyssal Energy's information. So that's how it is, Yun Linshan muttered to himself. He had figured out how to deal with the Abyssal Energy after reading for a full hour. Yun Linshan couldn't help smiling because the cure of this Abyssal Energy was actually the highest quality profound spirit liquid, and he happened to have the entire lake with him. What a coincidence, my plot armor is too strong, Yun Linshan exclaimed delightfully. At first, he was worried whether he could eat the meat of these profound beasts as they were infected with abyssal energy. However, with the profound spirit liquid, the abyssal energy was not a threat to him anymore. Yun Linshan didn't wait further and quickly went to retrieve a bucket of profound spirit liquid. He then cut the stone rhino's heart open and soaked it in the bucket while activating the eyes of heaven. A moment later, the abyssal energy that could melt the essence iron pouring out of the stone rhino's heart before it collided with the profound spirit liquid fiercely, producing a sizzling noise. It did not take too long before the abyssal energy vanished entirely. Amazing, Yun Linshan exclaimed and took several profound beasts' remains out, cleaning them with the profound spirit liquid. What are you doing? While Yun Linshan was busy cleaning the meat, Yun Qiangsu had arrived beside him. Yun Linshan tilted his head slightly and explained shortly, after I and Huangxin arriving in the Spring Wind Nation, we encountered the profound beast tide and found strange black energy within its body. Later, I understood it is abyssal energy. The profound spirit liquid can erase them. Yun Kaingsu quickly got the point and asked, "This energy is the cause of the profound beast tide?" Yun Linshan nodded, "Yes. However, we still didn't know where did it come from." Yun Kaingsu said nothing further and helped Yun Linshan cleaned all the profound beast's remains. Several minutes later, Yun Linshan went to the cafeteria with Yun Kaingsu and made a simple dish. "I'll taste it first," Yun Linshan spoke and quickly stuffed a piece of meat into his mouth. Its intense flavor immediately exploded, causing Yun Linshan to have an urge to moan uncomfortable. At the same time, he could feel vigorous energy spread to every corner of his body as his profound vein greedily absorbed it. Seeing this, Yun Kaingsu also took a bite and was surprised by the potent energy within the meat. "Perhaps it is because we clean them with the profound spirit liquid," Yun Kaingsu said after taking a mouthful of pristine jade rice, a new product recently cultivated within the land of beyond heaven. Yun Linshan nodded in agreement and continued to devour everything in front of him. A while later, he leaned on the chair, rubbing his bulging stomach with a satisfied smile. Suddenly, a powerful aura burst out from Yun Kaingsu's body, and she hurriedly went straight to the misty lake, submerging into it and closed her eyes. Yun Linshan followed out and saw Yun Kaingsu was about to make a breakthrough. He was slightly surprised, as he didn't expect the profound beast's meat to be this effective. Yun Linshan did not stand there further and went back to the cafeteria to meet with Kang Zio. After instructing her to clean the profound beast's meat with the profound spirit liquid before using it to make food, he immediately left the land of beyond heaven and appeared in the cave. Yun Linshan looked around for a while and continued to absorb the high-grade profound stones under the waterfall. He also paid attention to the alarm formation in case a profound beast was appearing nearby. Plop. All of a sudden, Yun Linshan heard a loud noise as though something had fallen into the river. He abruptly opened his eyes and was dumbfounded as he saw a small white rabbit swimming toward him anxiously. "How did it appear here without triggering my alarm formation?" Yun Linshan found it strange and prepared to make a move. However, he felt something was not right. This seemingly ordinary rabbit did not have any profound energy within it, but it could easily swim against the strong river's flow with no problem. Yun Linshan did not relax his vigilance while jumping off to the shore and stared at the rabbit. The rabbit saw Yun Linshan went to the shore and hurriedly swam toward him with all its might. Yun Linshan discovered its speed was terrifying that there was no way he could outrun it. "What do you want?" He didn't know if the rabbit understands his words. He just wanted to test it out, as he believed this was not an ordinary beast. The rabbit stopped for a moment before it rushed at Yun Linshan with even more terrifying speed. With a flash, the rabbit arrived beside Yun Linshan and took a bite at the hem of his robe with an anxious expression, as if it wanted him to go with it somewhere. Yun Linshan did not launch an attack on the rabbit. He used this chance to examine the rabbit and found nothing out of the ordinary in its appearance. This rabbit was no different from a typical rabbit, except for its terrifying movement speed. "You want me to go with you?" Yun Linshan asked after figuring out its intention. The rabbit nodded its head vigorously and used its tiny paw to point in the west direction. Yun Linshan frowned slightly, pondering for a moment before he decided to follow it. However, he would never step out of the killing formation. "Lead the way," Yun Linshan said. The rabbit was overjoyed and set off in the direction. Yun Linshan followed the rabbit for 200 meters and wanted to stop because it had already reached the boundary of the killing formation. When he was about to say something to the rabbit, his eyes caught a glimpse of a figure on the ground 3 meters away from him. The rabbit went to the figure's side and turned to Yun Linshan with pleading eyes. Yun Linshan's brows creased together while he was observing the figure carefully. This figure was a woman dressed in an exquisite purple robe with a purple veil covering her face entirely. He could not determine her strength, but she should not be weaker than him. The rabbit saw Yun Linshan went silent. It quickly arrived before him and performed a kowtow action, making Yun Linshan startled for a moment. "What are you doing? You want me to help her?" Yun Linshan clearly saw the rabbit's anxiousness, but he did not intend to lend a hand until he understands the situation first. The rabbit nodded its head vigorously and clutched its paws together as though it was begging him. Yun Linshan's heart softened a little upon seeing this. The rabbit somehow reminded him of the cat he raised when he was on Earth. However, his rationale had won over his emotion as he asked, "Why should I help her? And how do you know I am a good person?"